father of the quintuplets. Oh my god, it's him. I said before that he, a cultivator in the late stage of key training, could actually marry a female cultivator of foundation building. I was thinking that he won by his looks, but I didn't expect that it was because the master behind him was so awesome. Queen Yama is a mid-stage Jinden cultivator. Yifan's master even makes Queen Yama afraid of him. Doesn't that mean his cultivation must be at least in the late Jinden stage? No matter they were key cultivating cultivators, foundation building cultivators, or even the Jinden cultivators in the city, they all began to pay attention to the name, Yifan again. Before, Yifan was famous in King Long Immortal City because of the father of quintuplets, and everyone was just curious about him. Now, Yifan is famous in the Immortal City as the disciple of a great master in the late Jinden period. While everyone respects him, they also want to make friends with him. At this moment, Yifan, who was trading monster materials with Sun Guangda and Wai Iniyuju, also heard what Su Changwu and Chen Xuaner said at the city gate. When he heard Su Changwu's words, he knew that his wife had already told Chen Xuaner about the fake Queen Yama, and Chen Xuaner had taken action. Hearing what Chen Xuaner said, his eyebrow twitched slightly. I guess everyone in the Immortal City knows me, Yifan. But it's not bad. At least, others who want to suppress Yu Yangshuan will have to think twice. I guess it was Chen Xuaner who informed Su Longyu about Yu Yangshuan's difficulties, and Su Longyu asked Chen Xuaner to build momentum for her. Otherwise, with Chen Xuaner's stupid brain, she wouldn't be able to think of such words to build momentum. Thinking of this, Yifan felt warm in his heart. Even though his wife was thousands of miles away, she still cared about her husband. I am already the man in the heart of the empress. Sun Guangda, who was just about to leave, heard Chen Xuaner's words. He immediately widened his eyes and looked at Yifan in shock. He had just come with Song Nanyan to see Yifan and sold the monster materials to Yifan. He was grateful to Yifan in his heart, but he also only regarded Yifan as an ordinary cultivator. And now, Yifan actually has an awesome master. Moreover, even Queen Yama would be a little afraid. He was still impressed by the scene where Queen Yama easily killed the fake Queen Yama. So it was conceivable how awesome Yifan's master was. No wonder so few people dared to purchase their monster materials when the Zhu family was suppressing their unsigned monster hunting teams, but Yifan dared to do so. It turns out there is someone behind Yifan. Moreover, some of them have very powerful backers. Fellow Taoist Yi, Sun Guangda naturally did not want to miss this opportunity to get to know Yifan better. So he told Yifan about how they encountered the fake Queen Yama on the outskirts of Lagu Mountains today, and were then rescued by the real Queen Yama. His attitude was gentler than before, even a little deliberately flattering. Manager Fan in the Moonlight Pavilion felt a chill down his spine after his eyebrows were lifted. In my heart, sure enough, the master behind Yifan is awesome. Even Queen Yama is afraid of him. Last time when I was protecting Yifan in King Shufang, I actually dared to attack Yifan. Fortunately, Yifan left quickly and I was lucky enough not to attack him. Now that I think about it, it's really the blessing of my ancestors that smoke is coming out of my graves. Otherwise, I would have been dead by now. Master Yifan's strength is even more awesome than I thought. Manager Fan wiped the sweat from his forehead and breathed a sigh of relief when he thought back over the past few days and realized that he had always been diligent and loyal to Yifan. Afterwards, he immediately went to warn the women he had chosen, including Song Qiao, Zhi and Yun Yun, not to allow any of them to have the slightest rebellious intention. In the evening, Chen Xuaner came back. As soon as she came back, she threw something to Yifan and said arrogantly, "You are tired of playing. This thing is for you. Make me a delicious meal. You need braised chicken. Remember to add a chicken rumstick." After saying that, Chen Xuaner went into her room. Yifan looked at the thing in his hand. It was a mask. He probed his spiritual sense into it, and then he was slightly surprised. Wearing this mask, one can not only change one's appearance, but also completely simulate the other person, no matter the other person's age, face, voice, height, etc., even the other person's cultivation, or it can be simulated exactly. The most important thing is that you can simulate a cultivation level that is higher than your own. The longevity skills and body refining secrets he practiced before also have the function of changing appearance, but they can only be simulated at will and cannot deliberately simulate a certain person. Moreover, there are restrictions on cultivation, and he can only suppress his own cultivation. For example, if he is now at the 9th level of key training, then the cultivation level of the simulated person will definitely not be higher than the 9th level of key training. However, with this versatile mask in his hand, he has reached the 9th level of key training and can simulate the late Jindan stage at the highest. It's definitely a wonderful tool. Chapter 101 Father-in-law returns. After getting the magic tool, Yifan entered the kitchen for the first time in more than a month. Ever since he started practicing, he no longer cooks. Because the babies are still young, they don't need to eat complementary foods, they only need to drink milk. Once he starts practicing, he will forget about food and sleep and just take fasting pills. In addition, he is busy with the affairs of Yu Yangxuan and has no time to cook. Yifan cooked 6 dishes and a soup, including the braised chicken that Chen Xuan'er ordered, with 2 chicken legs. Chen Xuan'er picked up half of the meal on a bowling plate, then took it into the room to eat herself. Her mouth was full of oil after eating. He murmured, "This Yifan, if Yu doesn't come back, he won't cook. The chicken thighs are so delicious. It would be better if Yu came back earlier. I don't know when I can eat such delicious food next time." As for Su Longyu, she has already arrived at the Lanyu sect and has reproduced many esoteric books related to naming babies in the sect's sutra library. On the way back to Lanyu sect, she also studied the Xuanmen books that Yifan bought. After studying these books again this time, I can pick out good names for my babies. In addition, she asked the sect's treasury to dispatch the resources she needed, which were dispatched today and exchanged for points. These resources were prepared by her for Yifan to cultivate the Kingmu spirit body. If an individual were to collect them, it would take at least several years. But with the sect's huge resource library, the collection could be completed quickly. She has been busy these past 2 days. She visited the main peaks to pay her respects to the peak masters, making her presence felt, and then spent time in the sutra library. Search inside for the secret techniques used by mortals to practice. She found some clues, but the risk was too great, so she copied the clues she found and planned to discuss them with Yifan after returning to King Long Immortal City. After arriving at the sect's mission hall and receiving several missions near King Long Immortal City, Su Longyu prepared to return to King Long Immortal City. Suddenly her communication jade talisman vibrated. When she took it out and looked at it, her expression changed slightly. It was a message from her father Su Changming. "Su Changming, Yu, Daddy will arrive at the sect in 3 days. I have good news to tell you. We will meet in 3 days. Su Longyu replied, "Okay." After replying, she had no choice but to send another message to Yifan. "I have an urgent matter and cannot return today." Yifan, "What's the matter?" Su Longyu, "My father will be back in 3 days." Yifan, "Okay, no rush." Su Longyu, "Well, my mother hasn't returned yet. She is still near King Long Immortal City. Please be careful." Yifan, "Okay." The next day, Yifan called manager Fan to Yuju to be in charge of reception and other matters. Sure enough, around 9 o'clock in the morning, guests who had heard yesterday that Yifan had a powerful master behind him came to visit Yifan in an endless stream, carrying gifts. All of them were led by manager Fan to the tea room for reception. Yifan did not show up. He went into the training room to practice. "A father-in-law and mother-in-law to huge mountains pressing down on me, and the pressure is huge. For the past 2 days, the number of guests coming to Yuju has increased instead of decreased. Manager Fan has been overwhelmed with gifts, but he dare not neglect them. After all, those who come here are at least cultivators in the early stage of foundation building. Cultivators in the key training stage do not dare to come. Today, a green-robed male cultivator came. Although he had suppressed the golden core spiritual pressure, the aura of the golden core power still made Manager Fan, who was only at the 9th level of key training, tense all over and his legs and feet weak. "Senior, please wait a moment. I will go and ask my master to come out." The golden elixir master was a giant whom he could not receive. "I have to go and inform Yifan." After a while, a handsome man in a white elegant robe walked out of the room. It was Yifan. Seeing the green-robed male cultivator, Yifan bowed and performed an ancient ritual. "Senior, fellow Taoist Yi, there's no need to be so formal. I'm Jizi, the 38th, the disciple of Taoist King Long of King Long Immortal City. I'm in the early stage of the golden elixir," Jizi said with a gentle smile. The green-robed male cultivator who chased Chen Xuan'er out of King Long Immortal City a few days ago was him. "Senior Ji, please take a seat." Yifan invited Jizi to sit down. The King Long Fairy City is ruled by the golden elixir Taoist King Long, although it is under the jurisdiction of Emperor Yingzong. It is under the jurisdiction of Taoist King Long. Taoist King Long is a very famous independent cultivator in this area. He has 99 disciples, including many Jinn and disciples. Yifan didn't expect that Chen Xuan'er's message at the city gate that day would attract the Jinn and disciples from King Long Immortal City to visit him. "I heard that a while ago. A sun pavilion opened opposite to fellow Taoist Yi's moon pavilion, and the robes they sold were the same as those of fellow Taoist Yi's moon pavilion. We have received the news and sent the law enforcement hall to deal with this malicious plagiarism today. They fined the sun pavilion 10,000 spirit stones, confiscated all the robes they displayed that were plagiarized from the moon pavilion, and closed their store." As he spoke, Jizi handed Yifan a storage bag and said with a gentle smile, "The ropes that Sun Pavilion maliciously copied in the fine of 10,000 spirit stones are all here. Give them to fellow Taoist yet. His is a small compensation for the recent damage to Yu Yangxuan's business." Yifan took the storage bag, scanned the spirit stone into it, and saw hundreds of various imitations of Yu Yangxuan's robes inside. They are all middle grade and high grade robes. The robe alone is worth tens of thousands of spirit stones. Plus a fine of 10,000 spirit stones, the total is more than 20,000 spirit stones. Sun Pavilion doesn't make that much money these days. This compensation is good. However, he knew that King Long Immortal City could not have known now that the Sun Pavilion had maliciously plagiarized his Yuliang Pavilion. And this kind of thing was common in the Immortal City and even in the entire southern region's immortal cultivation world. Before, no one in King Long Immortal City came forward to reorganize the Sun Pavilion, but now it has been reorganized. He knew that it was because of what Chen Xuaner said in King Long Immortal City that day. The people in King Long Immortal City knew that he had a powerful master in the late Jin Dan stage behind him. He was not an ordinary casual cultivator and should not be offended easily. This led to the swift and decisive closure of the Sun Pavilion shops, disposal of the Sun Pavilion, and compensation to him. After all, the Zhu family is behind the Sun Pavilion. There was no need for King Long Immortal City to offend the Zhu family for an ordinary casual cultivator. But now there was no need for them to offend a powerful disciple in the late Jin Dan stage for the Zhu family. He fancied inwardly that the world of cultivating immortals was indeed a world with strict hierarchy and where martial arts was respected. Thank you, Senior Ji, for your understanding. On behalf of our Yuliangzhuan, I would like to thank you for your impartial law enforcement, Yifan said with a bow. Jizi waved his hand gently, and then the two chatted about some irrelevant topics, and Jizi laughed. As soon as the Golden Core Master left, Manager Fan sat down on the ground, then got up excitedly and said, Master, that's great, the Sun Pavilion has been closed, and they were asked to pay such a large amount of spiritual stones as compensation. It's really great. It makes people happy. Fan engraved an inscription on the robe confiscated from the Sun Pavilion, and asked Manager Fan to send it to the Moon Pavilion for sale. Another day passed, and Yifan discovered that his cultivation had reached a bottleneck. He stopped meditating and went to the baby's room to see them. Chapter 102, My wife and children are my lucky stars. The little ones were fed by Chen's water and became plump and white. But their clothes were a little dirty. Yifan changed their clothes and diapers one by one. Then slowly and carefully cut the new nails that have grown out of them. Before we knew it, the babies were already over 3 months old. Even more cuter. Hebao and Sanbao are chubby and fat boys. The 3 daughters, Erbiao, Siba and Wubao, are fair, tender, lovely and adorable. As soon as I finished cutting Wubao's fingernails, the little guy put his fingers into his mouth and started sucking his thumb with gusto. Didn't you eat enough before going to bed? Yifan smiled lovingly and did not take out her thumb, because he knew that the little one just loved to suck her fingers at this moment. Even if you take it out, she will still continue to eat it. As long as your hands are clean and not dirty. Looking at the 5 little babies, Yifan became more motivated. It's really beautiful. After Erbao, Sibao, and Wubao grew up, they started to look a bit like Su Longyu. In the future, they will all be stunning beauties. The Babao and Sanbao have perfectly inherited their father's handsome looks. They will definitely be handsome men in the future. It is detected that the host has accompanied the baby for 2,000 hours, and the host is rewarded with a breakthrough to the great perfection of key training. Experience points are being sent. Suddenly, Yifan felt that the bottleneck of cultivation he had encountered before was instantly broken through by a powerful spiritual energy. Then, his body automatically and quickly absorbed the huge spiritual power. The meridians expand and spiritual energy fills the body. Yifan immediately sat down cross-legged and regulated his breathing. After a cup of tea, Yifan opened his eyes. The training is perfect. It's time to build the foundation. Excited, Yifan immediately sent a message to Su Longyu to share the good news with her. He originally thought that since Su Longyu was not around, his spiritual roots could not grow, and his cultivation speed slowed down. It might take him several more years to build his foundation. Unexpectedly, I have reached the bottleneck of foundation building now. You can break through to build your foundation at any time. It's great to have a system. Your wife and children are your lucky stars. Yifan, wife, I have reached the great perfection of key training and will be preparing to attack the foundation establishment in the near future. Building a foundation is a big deal. Many cultivators build their foundation without foundation building pills. Only a few succeed, and those who fail either die or suffer serious physical injuries and do not live long. A cultivator needs to build a foundation before the age of 60. Otherwise, if he is over 60, which is considered old age, he will not be able to pass the test of Qi and blood, and there is a 99.99% chance that he will die. Therefore, many cultivators who are over 60 years old and find that they have not yet reached the conditions for building a foundation will choose to marry and have children to leave offspring. Some will even choose to go to the mortal dynasty and enjoy life. Even if there is a foundation building pill, there is a possibility of failure in foundation building, but there will be no danger to life. If you fail to build the foundation once, you can try building the foundation twice or 3 times. Su Longyu left 3 top-grade foundation building pills for even each foundation building pill can increase the probability of successful foundation building by 30. Su Longyu replied, okay. Afterwards, Chen Chuaner, who received the message from Su Longyu, came to find Yi Fan and looked at him with a strange expression. She had witnessed Yi Fan's initial entry into the 9th level of key training. It had only been over 3 months. But with Yi Fan's aptitude of a mid-grade with spiritual root, he had actually reached the great perfection of key training. Just over a month ago, she had used her spiritual eyes to look at Yi Fan and saw that his cultivation had not improved. She had urged him to practice well now. He had already cultivated to the great perfection of key training. Did you leave some pills for you to take? She couldn't help but ask. Yi Fan, I didn't take the pill. Chen Chuaner felt that she was being despised. Of her natural spiritual talent, although practicing cultivation is as easy as drinking water, she does not like to practice and relies entirely on taking pills to improve her cultivation. Even though she took pills, it took her 2 months to go from the 9th level of key training to the great perfection of key training. This Yi Fan, who practiced diligently from the 9th level of key training to the great perfection, actually only took him more than a month. So infuriating. Comparing yourself to others really makes you angry. This Yi Fan is a delicious cook, handsome, but at taking care of children, and can design robes and engrave inscriptions that would be fine, but now even his cultivation speed is about to surpass hers. I feel sad. Fortunately, she had something that Yi Fan couldn't compare to thinking of this. She straightened her proud pair of big grapefruits and said to Yi Fan, bring the babies and follow me to my mansion. The spiritual vein here is only a 2nd level spiritual vein, and my mansion is built on a 3rd level spiritual vein. When building a foundation, cultivators need to absorb a large amount of spiritual energy from heaven and earth, and it is safer to build a foundation on a 3rd level spiritual vein. When building their foundation, many cultivators would choose to rent a cave on the 3rd order spiritual vein in King Long Immortal City to break through. Yi Fan was originally planning to rent a cave to break through, but he didn't expect Chen Chuaner to come. Because there were still chickens, ducks, geese, fish and other spiritual animals to feed in Yinyu, Yi Fan kept Xiaogan, Chai Colin and Li Chun, and took Yu Shuai, Jing Zihe, Chun Fan and King Ming to Chen Chuaner's residence. Chun Fan and King Ming are 1st-grade low-grade puppets that Yi Fan refined some time ago. You can do some simple work of taking care of the babies. Chen Chuaner had already sent away Chishu, Qi Yushuang and other sword servants and maids in advance. Now, there was only one living creature, a cow, in her mansion. After arriving at Chen Chuaner's residence, Chen Chuaner took Yi Fan to her training room. There is a spirit gathering array in the training room, and there is more spiritual energy inside than outside. Yi Fan, you break through here, and I will take good care of the babies. Don't be anxious when you are trying to build the foundation. It doesn't matter if you fail to build the foundation, but you can't die or be injured or disabled, understand? Chen Chuaner said in a serious tone. If Yi Fan Idor became disabled while building his foundation, she would definitely be crippled by Su Longyu. Yi Fan's eyebrows twitched. He would definitely not be in a hurry. He still has a wife and children to take care of, so he naturally would not allow himself to become disabled, let alone die while building his foundation. Yi Fan. Okay, I'll leave the babies in your care. Chen Chuaner, come in. After you finish eating the foundation building pill you gave you, call me, I have more here. Don't stress. Yi Fan. He took 3 foundation building pills but still failed to build his foundation. How bad is he? But this witch is thoughtful. As for Su Longyu, she was in the lobby, frowning, worried about Yi Fan's foundation building. Suddenly, a hearty laugh came from outside the door. Immediately afterwards, a tall and handsome figure strode in from outside the door. The man saw Su Longyu sitting on the chair and laughed loudly. You, I heard from your Uncle Meng that you have broken through to the late Jindan stage. So I rushed back immediately. Not bad, my daughter. Su Changming is amazing. She is 19 years old and, in the late Jindan stage, there is not even one like her in the entire southern region. My daughter is a natural talent. Chapter 103, Foundation Building. Father, Su Longyu stood up. Su Changming smiled and waved his hand, asking Su Longyu to sit down. After the father and daughter sat down, Su Changming asked Su Longyu about her experience outside over the past year. What Su Longyu said was exactly the same as what Wen Chan King said. When Su Changming heard that Su Longyu had been seriously injured, he immediately asked how she was doing now. Father, everything is fine now, Su Longyu said. That's good, I told you before that I had good news to tell you. I got news that in the Tianzu secret realm that is about to open, there are medicinal ingredients for the 9-turn spiritual ginseng pill that can increase the success rate of forming a baby, including thousands of years old spiritual ginseng, agate branches, and 10,000 leaf dew. When Su Changming said this, he activated the soundproof barrier. Pills that can increase the success rate of forming a fetus are extremely rare resources even among the three major sects in the southern region. Especially the 9-turn spiritual ginseng pill. If a genuine pill is refined, it can increase the probability of successfully forming a fetus by 10. In the past, Huan Chan King and the people in the sect all used Dingling pills to achieve the infant-forming state. The Dingling pill does not increase the probability of successfully forming a fetus, but it can reduce the invasion of inner demons by calming the mind and soul. The inner demon level is a big obstacle in the impact of forming a fetus. Many cultivators in the late Jin dynasty survived 16 thunder tribulations, but were ultimately defeated by the inner demons. Therefore, the Dingling pill is also a treasure that is fought over by major sects and independent cultivators who have reached the Jin dynasty stage. The 9-turn spiritual ginseng pill is a more precious pill than the Dingling pill. People had only heard of it before, and it was recorded in the history of immortal cultivation in the southern region. No one has seen the 9-turn spiritual ginseng pill in the past 5,000 years. It was only in the last 10 years or so that information about the 9-transformation spiritual ginseng pill came into being, followed by news about the Tianzu secret realm. However, to open the Tianzu secret realm, you need to find all the keys. Su Changming has been busy with this matter for more than 10 years, and now it finally has results. All the keys have been collected and the Tianzu secret realm is about to open. Coincidentally, his daughter had reached the late stage of golden elixir in her cultivation, which was truly a blessing from heaven. Su Lanyu, father, the Tianzu secret realm has never been opened in the past 5,000 years. It will be extremely dangerous when it is opened this time, father. Even without the 9-transformation spiritual ginseng pill, my daughter is confident that she can reach the nascent soul realm. Su Changming laughed and said, "Don't worry. I will be careful. This trip to the Tianzu secret realm is not just for the 9-transformation spiritual ginseng pill. There are many secret treasures in it." Su Changming was determined to marry Yanzu's secret realm. Seeing that she couldn't persuade him, Su Layu stopped trying to persuade him, and her beautiful eyes became a little unfocused. Su Changming, you, what are you thinking about? Why do your eyes start to wander while you're chatting? What are you thinking about? Is there anyone or any event that is more attractive than him as a father? Su Layu came back to her senses and said, "I'm not thinking about anything, father. Where were we talking about just now?" Su Changming laughed and said, "My Yu also has her moments of distraction. He had a hard time training this year. Take a good rest at home for a while and consolidate your cultivation on Tirush for success." Su Lanyu, father, I'm fine, I've rested well, I'm ready. She was about to say that she was going to leave the sect tomorrow and continue to go out for training. But just as the words came to her lips, Su Changming interrupted her and said, "Don't work so hard. Training is important. But you also need to relax when you form your infant. You will have to go through the mental test, so don't go out for training this year. Just cultivate your mind and cultivate your character in the sect." Su Lanyu, father, I can't stay idle. I will stay in the sect for 2 more days. Su Changming, 2 days is too short. It will take at least half a month for your father to come back. Okay, it's settled. Father has important matters to discuss with the elders, so I'll leave first. After saying that, Su Changming left. Su Lanyu was worried. I have to wait another half a month. I wonder if Yifan has started to build his foundation. I don't know if he can succeed in building his foundation. Have no idea. She grabbed a handful of hair and felt a little rebellious. She wanted to leave the sect immediately and return to King Long Immortal City to see Yifan. As for Yifan, after entering the training room, he did not immediately sit down cross-legged to break through the foundation building stage. Instead, he burned incense, bathed, and prayed first, and then sat cross-legged on the cushion with his mind calmed and focused. There are 3 levels for a cultivator to reach the foundation building stage. The first level is the Qi and blood level. Yifan is now 17 years old, a time when he is young and full of energy. In addition, he has reached the second level of using man as a tool to cultivate his body, and his physique is extremely strong. In addition, he did not fight often, which resulted in hidden injuries on his body. Therefore, the first level will be relatively easy for him. The second level is the mana level. The mana of a cultivator in the Qi reigning stage is in the form of Qi, while the mana of a cultivator in the foundation building stage is condensed into a liquid, which is called mana condensate. Only by compressing the magic power into liquid can one be considered to have successfully reached the second level. The experience rewarded by the system this time made Yifan's meridians wider than those of ordinary Qi reigning cultivators, and the magic power in the meridians was compressed, very condensed. There is already a tendency for a liquid to condense. The third level, which is also the final level, requires the birth of spiritual consciousness. Divine consciousness is the hallmark function of a cultivator who has established his foundation. When Yifan was practicing the longevity technique, he had already cultivated his spiritual consciousness. After reviewing the key points of impacting the foundation building, And with the help of the top-grade foundation building pill, Yifan is very confident of successfully building the foundation. Even if he fails, it doesn't matter, he is only 17 years old now, and there are still several decades before he reaches the age of 60 to build his foundation. Just thinking about his future father-in-law and mother-in-law, Yifan still felt a little pressured. Don't think too much if it works. Undo it if it doesn't, try again. Throwing aside this psychological burden, Yifan solemnly took a top-grade foundation building pill and began to regulate his breathing to impact the foundation. Time flies, and 3 days have passed. The spiritual energy above Yifan's training room began to sweep towards the training room frantically. Chen Chuaner, who was playing with the babies on the grass, looked up and murmured, "It's started. Da Bao, Bao, San Bao, Si Bao. Wu Bao, your father has begun to build his foundation. If your father fails to build his foundation later, how about you go and give him a kiss?" There is no bottleneck for her in building the foundation, but for Yifan, who only has middle-grade spiritual roots, it is like an insurmountable chasm. It's normal to fail once. Da Bao looked at Chen Chuaner blankly, then grabbed the tail of the cow crawling on the ground in front of him and pulled it hard with his chubby little hands. The cow immediately turned around and widened its eyes, wanting to kick away the naughty child who dared to pull its tail. But when it saw the look in Chen Chuaner's eyes, it backed off again. Bao grabbed the cow's tail and laughed non-stop. Bao grabbed with his little hands, grabbed a handful of the cow's milk, pulled a long piece, and pulled it in front of himself, and lowered his head and bit it, smiling like an angel. The cow took one look and closed its eyes resignedly. Chisha then had been keeping an eye on the Qinglong Immortal City, and saw a large amount of spiritual energy fluctuations above the city. And these spiritual energy fluctuations were above her daughter's residence. She leapt into the air and overlooked the entire Qinglong Fairy City. His eyes were fixed on Chen Chuaner's residence. Who is building a foundation in Chuaner's residence? Chapter 100. For Shisha then was shocked. The mother of the quintuplets was actually. Shisha then entered Qinglong Fairy City and came to Chen Chuaner's mansion. When she entered the mansion, what she saw was Chen Chuaner and Da Bao playing on the grass. What's going on? Where did 5 such tiny babies come from? Shisha then's mind was a little confused. She coughed and called out, "Chuaner?" Chen Chuaner turned around and saw her mother, who had come in at some point. "Mother?" Chen Chuaner's heart skipped a beat. Why did her mother come here suddenly? I didn't even say hello to her in advance. Shisha then was next to Chen Chuaner in an instant, and the 5 babies who were playing just now turned their heads and looked at Shisha then. The black, big, beautiful eyes are full of curiosity and so cute. Wu Bao was a little timid after being confused for a few seconds. His little mouth immediately flattened and he was about to cry. Chen Chuaner quickly picked her up and coaxed her softly. "Wu Bao, don't cry." Shisha then carefully looked at the 5 little ones. 3 girls and 2 boys. The bone age is the same, more than 3 months old. Quintuplets? This reminded her of the story of the quintuplets that had been circulating in Qinglong Fairy City. "Chuaner, what's going on? Who is building a foundation in your mansion?" Shisha then asked. No matter what she thought, she would never consider that these 5 children were her own daughters. Because the 3 girls don't look like my own daughter at all. It's a bit like. Thinking of this, her expression froze. She instantly thought of the inexplicable words when Chan King had said to her not long ago, asking her if she liked babies, and ask her how she would feel if she suddenly had a grandson or granddaughter. Could it be that? She was deeply shocked. Look at the 5 little babies seriously, especially looking at the 5 treasures in Chen Chuaner's arms. The more I look at her, the more I feel that she looks a bit like Su Longyu when she was a child. No way? She couldn't believe it. Chen Chuaner looked at the changing expression on her mother's face and was about to tell a lie when Shisha then looked at her with a serious look. "Don't try to hide it from me. I know everything." "Mother," Chen Chuaner bit her lip tightly, "you already know. So why are you asking?" She felt her mother was using her words to deceive her. Shisha then, "Whose child is it?" "Yifan's," Chen Chuaner said. "Anyway, the father of the quintuplets is Yifan. And this is something that everyone in the entire Qinglong Immortal City knows." Shisha then, "What I asked is who their mother is." Chen Chuaner blinked her big, ignorant eyes and said, "Mom, didn't you say you knew everything?" "I don't know. I'm also very curious about who their mother is. Yifan is building his foundation in the mansion. I made a deal with him, agreeing to let him build his foundation in my mansion. He made me a set of beautiful and unique robes." Chishaya then glanced at Chen Chuaner, then said, "I'm staying at your place tonight. Where are Chushu, Qiyu Shuang and the others? Why is there no one else in the mansion? I asked them to go do something. And they will be back in a while, Mom. Do you want to live with me?" Chen Chuaner asked while holding Wu Bao. Chisha then raised her eyes. "No?" Chen Chuaner. "Mom, there is a generation gap between us. Distance creates beauty. I think it will be better for our relationship if we don't live together." Chisha then glanced at Chen Chuaner for a few seconds, then said, I can't get used to living here with you either, I'm leaving. After saying that, Shisha then turned and left. Based on her understanding of her daughter, Chenjuaner was definitely lying this time. But it be that these 5 babies are really Su Longyu's children? Oh my god. She didn't even dare to think about it. No wonder when Chan King suddenly changed the topic she was talking about that day and asked her those questions. Chan King must have known about this a long time ago, right? Maybe she hasn't been sleeping well recently, right? The Saintess of the Lan Yu sect secretly gave birth to quintuplets with a casual cultivator who hadn't even established his foundation yet. Come to think of it, this is really exciting news. No wonder Chan King was so ruthless when hunting monsters recently. Maybe he was venting his anger? Oh, that's really unexpected. Mom! Chenjuaner thought of something and quickly called Shishaben. Shishaben turned around. Chenjuaner ran to Shishaben holding Wu Bao and said, Mom, don't tell anyone about the babies. At this point, Chenjuaner said, if you tell anyone, I will find a Taoist partner to have a baby with. Shishaben. Her daughter might actually do something like this. Shishaben. What's there to say? Doesn't everyone in King Long Immortal City know that Yifan is the father of the quintuplets? Chenjuaner stared into Shishaben's eyes. The eyes of mother and daughter met in the air. Then, Chenjuaner smiled and said, Mom, I know you are the best to me. From the eye contact just now, she knew that her mother would not tell when Chan King about the 5 babies. Mom, why do you and Aunt Wen stay near King Long Fairy City? How long will you stay here? Chenjuaner asked. It is still too dangerous for Yifan and his friends to live here. There is a possibility of being discovered at any time. Especially now that Wu Bao and Su Longyu are becoming more and more alike. Before, the 5 little guys were all cut from the same mold as Yifanru, and they didn't look like Su Longyu at all. But now, as the 3 baby girls' faces grow bigger, they look more and more like Su Longyu. Shisha then, are you meddling in your mother's affairs? Stop asking questions about adults' affairs. It could be as short as a few months or as long as several years. Leaving this sentence, Shisha then left. As soon as Shisha then left, Chenjuaner immediately sent a message to Su Longyu, asking her if it was convenient for her to send a video message. Su Longyu's message came. Chenjuaner brought the 5 babies back to the room and answered the video message. When the 5 little ones saw Su Longyu, they immediately started babbling excitedly. Da Bao reached out to grab it. Su Longyu, who was here, showed loving care on her face and wished she could rush over immediately and kiss the little ones one by one. Da Bao, Bao, San Bao, Si Bao, Wu Bao, Mother is here. Mother will be back soon. Mom will give you names when the time comes. After interacting with the babies, Su Longyu asked Chenjuaner if there was any urgent matter. I was worried, maybe something went wrong during Yifan's attempt to build his foundation? Chenjuaner told Su Longyu in detail about how her mother suddenly came over and saw the 5 babies, and how she knew that Yifan was building his foundation with her. Finally, she said, I think my mother knows that these 5 babies are yours, because they look more and more like you now. And from the way my mother sounded, it seemed like she knew. But don't worry, I have already threatened my mother. If she dares to tell anyone about this, I will find a male cultivator to be my Taoist partner and have a baby she won't tell anyone. Chapter 105 Father Su. My daughter is worried. Su Longyu, how is Yifan's foundation building going? Chenjuaner? Why aren't they on the same channel? She was saying that her mother had discovered their affair. In the face of such an important matter, her best friend actually asked Yifan how his foundation building was going. But the foundation establishment pill, I will definitely not die. Well, it seems that my best friend cares more about Yifan's life and death among all things. She couldn't help but roll her eyes inwardly, but she still didn't dare to show it on her face, so she said truthfully, today is the 3rd day. I should start to impact the Qi and blood barrier. Yifan has the top-grade foundation building pill you gave him, he will be fine. At most, he will fail in building his foundation. Su Longyu, I won't fail. Chenjuaner, okay, the foundation is established successfully, and it succeeded in one go. Su Longyu's expression finally eased, and then she said, it doesn't matter if my mother knows about it, they will know about it sooner or later. Chenjuaner was shocked. If Aunt Wen knew, I guess she would probably kill Yifan. Before, she had no objection to Aunt Wen killing Yifan, and she could even agree with it. However, after spending several months with Yifan, she couldn't bear to see him being killed. After all, Yifan has many shining points that others don't have. Moreover, although Yifan's spiritual roots are very poor, his cultivation speed is really fast. She can testify to this. As long as Yifan was given enough time, she thought, Yifan might really be able to achieve the golden elixir within 100 years. Su Longyu, I won't let my mother kill Yifan. I will leave for King Long Immortal City tomorrow. This time, no matter how her father tried to persuade her to stay, she was going to leave. Worried about Yifan, and also missing Yifan. Chen Chuaner, okay. After Su Changming and Wen Chanqing talked about things for a while, Su Changming said, Chanqing, I found that Yu's state is a little abnormal recently when I chat with her. She will lose her mind from time to time. Is she worried about something? It's inconvenient for her to tell me, her father, but has she told you? Her mother? Wen Chanqing, maybe she has been practicing to fast recently, which makes her a little confused. More than 2 months ago, I met Yu. Her cultivation had not improved at that time. It was the same as when she left the sect. In just over 2 months, she suddenly broke through to the late Jindan stage. It is indeed a bit strange. However, I checked her body before, and there was nothing wrong with her, and she didn't have any hidden injuries. I guess she got some kind of opportunity. And she herself didn't understand what that opportunity was, so she's distracted by this. Don't worry about Yu. She has never made us worry since she was a child. However, this time when you go to Tianzu's secret realm, while paying attention to your own safety, the key is to find all the medicinal materials for the 9-turn spiritual ginseng pill. We have tried many times to form an infant before we succeeded, which has caused some damage to our bodies. We don't know if we will have the chance to succeed in the transformation into a god in this lifetime. Yu is so talented. But the 9-turn spiritual god pill, she may succeed in forming an infant in one go and have a chance to transform into a god in the future. Su Changming, well, I know this time when I go to Tianzu's secret realm, I will definitely find all the medicinal materials for the 9 transformation spiritual ginseng pill for Yu. Wen Chanqing, how is mother? Su Changming, she hasn't come out of retreat yet, so she should be fine. Although my mother's aptitude is average, she has had incredible luck since she was a child. Although she only chooses to break through when the deadline comes, she always succeeds in advancing. Wen Chanqing, our Lanyu sect has one more god, and we have one more foundation. For 3 consecutive days, the spiritual energy fluctuations above Chen Chuaner became stronger and stronger. The momentum is as high as a rainbow. Finally, Yifan in the training room opened his eyes. His dark eyes were full of spirit. Foundation built successfully. The spiritual energy above the DNTN in my body has turned into liquid mana. The condensed liquid mana has reached 20 particles. For ordinary cultivators who have just established their foundation, the liquid mana in their bodies reaches 15 particles, which is already the limit. I am exceeding the limit. My lifespan has also increased. The maximum lifespan of a foundation building cultivator is 400 years. The longevity technique increases my lifespan by half, which means that I have a basic lifespan of 600 years. In addition, I have an additional 20 years for the first level of body refining with artificial tools, and an additional 60 years for the second level of body refining in addition. I have taken the longevity pill for 10 years before, minus the 5 years I spent on Xiaobai. My current maximum lifespan can reach 675 years. The maximum lifespan of the Jindan realm is only 700 years. I am in the early stage of foundation building, and my lifespan is already comparable to that of a Jindan cultivator. I can prevent Su Longyu from feeling lonely and cold in the long years to come. A range of my spiritual sense has also expanded. It was only 8 feet away before, but now it has expanded to 50 feet. This is equivalent to 166.6 meters in modern times. The range of ordinary foundation building spiritual sense can only reach 100 meters at most. I have exceeded the limit again. Awesome. When his spiritual consciousness spread out, he saw the babies in Chen Chuaner playing with a snow-white cow on the lawn. Chen Chuaner suddenly turned around, her eyes filled with surprise. Because Chen Chuaner sensed the spiritual consciousness emitted by Yifan. This means that Yifan has successfully established his foundation. Spiritual consciousness is something only the foundation building cultivators possess. Key cultivating cultivators don't have it at all. Yifan withdrew his spiritual sense, pushed open the door and came outside. Chen Chuaner immediately suppressed her shocked expression and said calmly, I took 3 foundation building pills and succeeded in building my foundation. Not bad. Yifan, I only ate 1. Chen Chuaner, you only ate 1? With an expression of disbelief on her face, Yifan thought her expression was funny, and he did not really take out the jade box to show Chen Chuaner the other 2 untouched foundation establishment pills. Instead, he walked up to the babies who had already seen him come out and were babbling excitedly. Bend down and pick up the babies one by one. My dears, Daddy has successfully established his foundation. You haven't seen Daddy for many days. Do you miss him a lot? Come on, give Daddy a kiss. 1 kiss each. 1 bite on the left, 1 bite on the left. You are so good. You are really Daddy's great son. With his face covered with the saliva of his sons and daughters, Yifan smiled very happily. Then he took out the communication talisman and sent a message to Su Longyu, informing her that he had successfully established his foundation. Su Longyu's video message came in seconds. Yifan received the message. Wife, I have successfully established my foundation. Su Longyu was very happy. Her face was no longer as plain as before. but had a rare smile on it, which made her beauty even more stunning. When the hibiscus blooms, all other flowers pale in comparison. Ifan was dazzled by what he saw, and the babies also stared with their eyes wide open in a dazed look on their faces, which was particularly adorable. "Wife, you look so beautiful when you smile." Su Longyu blushed, and then she put away the joy on her face and said, "It's good that the foundation building was successful, I'm on my way back." She left a letter yesterday and left the sect, taking a flying boat back to King Long Immortal City. Now that he knew that Yifan had successfully established his foundation, he finally put his mind at ease after being worried for several days. Chapter 106 Shocked. Yifan, you have established your foundation, because even with the foundation building pill, if the cultivator fails to build the foundation, coupled with bad luck, it will cause physical disability, or even damage the heart meridian, leaving indelible injuries. So she couldn't sleep these few days, tossing and turning. She had never been so anxious when she herself broke through to the golden core stage. But when she met Yifan who was building his foundation, she was very anxious. "Su Longyu, how many times have you succeeded in building your foundation?" Yifan said in front of his wife with a little bit of pride. "Of course it was successful in one try, I your husband, am a genius." Although in the fairy tale novels he had read before, the protagonists with the protagonist halo almost never used the foundation building pill to build the foundation, but that was too dangerous. Although the strength after building the foundation on one's own without taking the foundation building pill was stronger than that of taking the foundation building pill, the probability of death was too high. He now has a system, a beautiful wife and a baby. There is no need to risk his life for a little bit of power. Being alive is the most important thing. In particular, he practiced the Qinghui and longevity technique and lived a long life. Su Longyu was surprised. Yifan took a foundation building pill and succeeded in building his foundation. She said, "Very good." After chatting for a while, Yifan reluctantly hung up the message. Chenchuan ate a lot of dog food nearby, then thought of something and said to Yifan, "Yifan, help me make a realistic doll, according to this one-to-one refining appearance." As she spoke, Chenchuan took out a jade slip and handed it to Yifan. Yifan took the jade slip and probed into it with his spiritual sense. And he saw a man's handsome face in the jade slip. The man was handsome, but not as handsome as him. There was an oppressive feeling of a superior between his brows. Although the jade slip could not reveal the man's cultivation level, Yifan frowned when he saw it. This man looks a bit like Chen Xuaner. Moreover, it's obvious that his cultivation level is more than just the golden core stage. He took back his consciousness, and returned the jade slip to Chen Xuaner. "Sorry, I won't do it." If the other party was an old ancestor in the nascent soul stage, and he refined a lifelike doll of the other party, and the other party found out, he would definitely be dead. Moreover, the other party looked somewhat similar to Chen Xuaner, so he did not dare to refine it rashly. Chen Xuaner was stunned for a moment, then she forced the jade slip into Yifan's hand, squinted her eyes and said, "Yifan, you build your foundation these few days, and I help you take care of the baby. I asked you to refine a lifelike doll, but you refused me? Are you sure you want to reject me?" Yifan looked at Chen Xuaner with a strange expression. "Chen Xuaner. Yifan, what's that look in your eyes? The man in the jade slip is my father. This lifelike doll is for my mother." Yifan, "Oh, do you have any other requests?" Chen Xuaner rolled her eyes and said, "I don't know, just do as you did before. In short, do it well. When my mother is satisfied, you can smile with your eyes closed." Yifan was originally planning to go back to Yuju to refine it, but Chen Xuaner couldn't wait any longer and asked him to refine it here and quickly. After half a day's work, Yifan made a one-to-one lifelike doll of Chen Xuaner's father, Chen Jie Yushan. After Chen Xuaner got it, she immediately and happily sent Yifan and the others back to Yuju, and then left for important matters. After returning to Yuju, Manager Fan came to deliver a letter to Yifan. When he first saw Yifan, he was stunned. There was a faint aura of pressure from Yifan, a powerful foundation building expert. He immediately knelt on the ground in great joy. "Congratulations, Master, for successfully building your foundation." Yifan waved his hand, and a pile of low-grade spirit stones, a total of 20, appeared on the table next to him. He said, "Give them away." "Okay, Master." Manager Fan was very happy. Afterwards, Manager Fan handed the letter to Yifan and told him that this was a letter sent from the post station 3 days ago. Yifan opened the letter and the restriction on the letter disappeared. The letter was sent by Fatty Wang from Qiyu Valley. Because Qiyu Valley is far away from King Long Immortal City, the communication talisman cannot cover the distance, so they communicate through letters. This also led to the development of special post stations for delivering letters, similar to the post stations in ancient times. However, every letter here will have a personal restriction imprinted by the writer. If the letter is opened, the restriction will disappear. The recipient will then find out that the letter has been read by someone else, and the post station will have to pay compensation in spirits tones. And its reputation will be greatly reduced. So basically, correspondence is still safe, but for safety reasons, no one will write secrets in letters. In the letter, Fatty Wang said two things. One thing is that GZ Bing successfully established his foundation today. In half a month, a foundation building banquet will be held in the sect, and Yifan is invited to bring his wife, sons and daughters to attend. Another thing is that the 50 sets of magical instruments that Fatty Wang ordered when he came over to attend his child's full moon banquet last time can be delivered this time. Putting down the letter, Yifan thought for a while. It takes 10 days to travel from Qinglong Ferry City to Qiyu Valley by flying boat. The round trip would take at least 20 days. He needs to discuss this matter with Su Longyu. After putting down the letter, Manager Fan respectfully handed Yifan a gift list. Master, this is the gift list of the monks who came to visit and give gifts these days. I have placed all the gifts in the gift room. Yifan took the gift list and glanced at it. Manager Fan recorded it in great detail, including the gift giver's level of cultivation, age, identity, date of visit, specific contents of the gift, background, etc. Moreover, they are sorted according to the level of cultivation, which makes it clear at a glance. Manager Fan really puts his heart into managing things. Most of the people who came to visit were foundation building cultivators, ranging from the early to late stages of foundation building in the following few days. A cultivator at the 9th level of key training came to visit. Among them were some small family forces in Qinglong Immortal City, as well as business owners, second-level alchemists, second-level formation masters, second-level talisman masters and other cultivators of the 100 arts, as well as people from 3 of the 7 major immortal cultivation families. The Zhu family also said people, and the gift they brought was a second-level inferior grade boundary-breaking talisman. This is a big deal. A low-grade second-level boundary-breaking talisman that can break through a second-level formation. It is a good thing basically. It is not sold in the market and only appears in auctions. Although it is a second-level talisman, ordinary second-level low-grade talisman masters are unable to refine a boundary-breaking talisman. This is probably a gift of apology from the Zhu family. There is no reason not to accept it. As for the grudge, it was definitely formed, and he would not really reconcile with the Zhu family. Master, after the Zhu family hired someone to impersonate Queen Yama and kill people, they didn't strictly declare to the public that it had nothing to do with the fake Queen Yama. However, there were people who pushed them secretly, saying that the fake Queen Yama was a cultivator from Zongshu, and the Zhu family didn't recognize her and hired her as a guest of the family. What the fake Queen Yama did had nothing to do with the Zhu family. At this critical moment, the Zhu family publicly stated that they would provide burial expenses for the cultivators killed by the fake Queen Yama. Chapter 107 The Daring Daughter. Now those members of the monster hunting team who didn't sign a contract with the material company are polarized. Especially those who received the burial fee. They started to speak well of the Zhu family. Some of them were frightened by the Zhu family's incident and finally signed a contract with the Zhu family's material company. However, there are very few members of the monster hunting team who continue to resist the Zhu family and want to cause trouble with them. They can't win against the Zhu family at all. At this point, Manager Fan pouted and cursed. The Zhu family is so shameless. As a result, almost 90 of the demon hunting teams in Qinglong Immortal City have signed contracts with the material trading company, and the Sang family's living space has been squeezed again. At this point, Manager Fan looked at Yifan and said, "A few days ago, Sun Guangda and others came 3 times and wanted to meet you. Sun Guangda and his men are part of the demon hunting team that continues to oppose the Zhu family." Yifan took a sip of tea and said, "The people of the Zhu family have taken the word power to the extreme." "Master, do you want to start preparing for your foundation building banquet?" asked Manager Fan. "Yifan, let's talk about it later." Manager Fan went out, and Yifan called Su Longyu to send a message. "I told Su Longyu that Fatty Wang invited their whole family to go to Qiyu Valley to attend GZ Bing's foundation building banquet. Su Longyu, you can go. It will take her another 2 months to reach Qinglong Immortal City during this time. Yifan will go to Qiyu Valley and will not meet her mother again, so it will be safer." Yifan, okay. I'll go early and come back early. Su Longyu, you can stay for a while longer. Yifan, okay wife, I will hold my foundation building banquet after you come back. Su Longyu, okay. I have to prepare a special foundation building gift for Yifan. Chen Zhuaner is here. Chishavan looked at the thing Chen Zhuaner took out of the storage ring and was stunned for a moment. Then said seriously, "Chen Zhuaner, what are you doing? Your father is still alive. Why did you carve a statue of him? The carving is quite lifelike." Chen Zhuaner chuckled, "Mom, this is not a statue, this is a lifelike doll made of special materials. I specially asked someone to make it. It is made 1-to-1 based on Daddy's appearance. Give it to my mother as a gift?" As she spoke, Chen Xuaner leaned close to Shi Shaoven's ear and told her about the wonderful uses of this lifelike doll. After Shi Shaoven heard this, her face turned red, and she said to Chen Xuaner in a more serious manner, "You rebellious girl, you don't know how to practice all day, but only know how to tinker with these weird things. It's immoral, it's immoral. Get out of here." Chen Xuaner chuckled and said, "Mother, don't be so old-fashioned, you need to keep up with the times. Besides, you see, Daddy has been in seclusion for decades, or even hundreds of years. Isn't Mother lonely during this time? Don't you need to solve your problems? This lifelike doll is great, it's made based on Daddy's appearance. It has powerful functions and can definitely satisfy you, Mom." And then, before Chen Xuaner could finish her words, she was thrown out by Shi Shaoven. Get out with your stuff. How could I? Shi Shaoven, raise such a daughter like you." Chen Xuaner managed to steady herself in the air with great difficulty, then looked around and did not see the lifelike doll being thrown out. She smiled, then used the loudspeaker technique to transmit her voice to the courtyard where Shi Shaoven lived. "Mom, I was wrong. I won't send you next time." After saying that, she left in a good mood. Shi Shaoven looked at the Chenjie Yushan realistic doll standing next to her, and with a sweep of her bare hands, she put it into the storage ring. Feeling helpless, this little girl is getting more and more out of control. She dares to do anything, she is so bold. You came up with this gift for me. It must be because of Yifan and the quintuplets. I've received all the gifts. The next day, Song Nanyang learned that Yifan had returned, and brought Du Manman and his infant daughter to see Yifan. As soon as he saw Yifan, he was shocked. "Congratulations, fellow Taoist Yi. You have established your foundation." Du Manman looked at Yifan in surprise. "Congratulations, benefactor." "Congratulations, benefactor, the foundation has been successfully built." And she said to her daughter in her arms, "Wan, your Uncle Yi has successfully established his foundation, let us give him a gesture of congratulations." Du Manman put her daughter's two little hands together. A little girl was only 10 days old, she was so small that she looked at Yifan curiously with her big eyes. Yifan smiled and teased her, then invited Zhong Nanyang and Du Manman to sit down and have tea. Zhong Nanyang asked Yifan when the foundation building banquet would be held. Yifan said, 2 months later, I will post it to friend Zhong when the specific date is confirmed. Zhong Nanyang smiled and said, okay. Afterwards, Zhong Nanyang told Yifan about the monster hunting team. Sun Guangdai and others, monster hunting team still had not signed a contract with the material trading company. Because of the incident with the fake Queen Yama, and the fact that the King Long Immortal City Law Enforcement team also began patrolling the outskirts of the Lagu Mountains, there have been no more robberies during this period of time. Zhong Nanyang also led a team out and hunted some monsters. Together with the monster materials from the monster hunting team including Sun Guangda, there are more than 10,000 low-grade spirit stones in total. I want to ask Yifan if he wants to accept them. Yifan said, collect. Zhong Nanyang suggested. Fellow Taoist Yi, with your financial resources, you can actually open a monster material trading company. Yifan. The materials business is temporarily closed. He has just entered the foundation building stage, although he has Su Longyu, who is in the late Jindan stage. Behind him, he still has babies to care of, and Su Longyu may not always be with them. He didn't want to get involved in the struggle between the Zhu and Sang families. Yil Yangshuan is developing well slowly. Zhong Nanyang asked Yifan about parenting, and Du Manman listened attentively. The couple had just become new parents and didn't know many things. Yifan was very happy to talk about this. Not long after Zhong Nanyang and his wife left, Zhu Qingxi arrived with servants and gifts. Fellow Taoist Yi, I heard that you are back, so I came to visit you today, Zhu Qingxi said with a smile as he entered the courtyard. Then he waved his hand, and the servant behind him immediately handed the gift to Manager Fan. Zhu Qingxi smiled and said, it's just a small gift, not a token of respect. Yifan's gaze fell on Zhu Tianxi's right arm that had been chopped off by Zhu Changwu. Zhu Tianxi laughed, raised his right arm and said, fortunately, my uncle Wu cut the right place and used a good plaster to heal my arm. Fellow Taoist Yi, we didn't know each other until we fought. I didn't know that Yuliang Pavilion belonged to fellow Taoist Yi. If I had known that Yuliang Pavilion belonged to fellow Taoist Yi, I would definitely not have dared to open the Sun Pavilion and make a fool of myself. Yifan smiled faintly, but didn't take Zhu Tianxi's words seriously. Zhu Tianxi began to ask Yifan indirectly about which sect Yifan's master belonged to after learning that Yifan said he was a casual cultivator. Zhu Tianxi immediately invited him warmly, fellow Taoist Yi. Are you willing to come to our Zhu family as a guest official? The benefits are definitely better than other guest officials. Besides, our Zhu family specializes in producing stunning beauties. And fellow Taoist Yi can choose one or two. Chapter 100A Take Creepy Feeling. Just at this moment, Chen Xuaner walked in. The atmosphere suddenly became mysterious. She glanced at Zhu Tianxi. Her eyes fell on the broken arm that Zhu Tianxi had reconnected, then she looked away with a cold gaze, walked to Yifan, picked up the teapot and walked out. Throughout the whole process, Zhu Tianxi inexplicably felt a creepy feeling. Although the woman who came in was extremely beautiful, her cultivation level was only at the initial stage of foundation building. Why did the atmosphere at the scene suddenly become quiet as soon as she came in? Moreover, when the woman looked at his broken arm, he even felt his body shaking and trembling uncontrollably. My right arm instinctively wanted to hide behind my back. Only after the woman left did he come to his senses. He immediately adjusted his state and asked Yifan with a smile, "Fellow Taoist, who was that fairy just now?" Yifan. Friends. He hadn't expected that the timing was so coincidental. When Zhu Tianxi said that the Zhu family had some stunning beauties and asked him to pick one or two, Chen Chuaner happened to come back. You should know that this which killed Yifan outside King Shufang because Yifan was hugging two beauties. He definitely had no interest in the stunning beauties from the Zhu family. Just don't let Chen Chuaner misunderstand. Even though he had established his foundation now, he was no match for Chen Chuaner, a Jin and cultivator. He immediately said to Zhu Tianxi righteously, "Zhu Daoyu? I'm sorry, I like to live a free life and don't like to be constrained. Besides, I already have a Taoist partner and have no interest in other women." He knew that even though Chen Chuaner was not in the living room, she would be able to hear the conversation here with her spiritual sense. Originally, he had no feelings towards the Zhu family's guest. But when Chen Chuaner came back, he became full of righteousness and had the image of a stereotyped gentleman. Zhu Tianxi wanted to continue persuading him, but Yifan raised his hand and said, "Fellow Taoist Zhu, I have other things to do today." Zhu Tianxi didn't expect that Yifan would actually drive him away. He was angry inside, but still had a gentle smile on his face. After saying a few polite words to Yifan, he left with his servants. As soon as he got into the carriage of Ling Juma, his servant Su Mingfang said angrily, "This Yifan is so ungrateful. Young master, you took the initiative to win him over. He dared to refuse. If it weren't for his master's sake, would he, a mid-level spiritual root in the early stages of foundation building, be qualified to be a guest of our Zhu family? Which of our Zhu family's guest officials is not at least at the late stage of foundation building? He has just established his foundation, and he is already so arrogant. And that woman, she's only in the initial stage of foundation building. When she saw the young master, she didn't even say hello to him. She walked into the living room, took the teapot, and left without saying a word. He has no humility at all. She's really so bold. Do you think it's great to be a little pretty?" Zhu Tianxi waved his hand, "Shut up." According to the information we got before, Yifan was only a 9th level key training cultivator, but we didn't expect that when they met this time, Yifan had already successfully established his foundation. However, with Yifan's qualifications of middle grade spiritual roots, the middle stage of foundation building is his limit. Logically, at this time, Yifan should take advantage of his most advantageous time and choose a stable and powerful partner. For example, he came to their Zhu family as a guest official. Could it be that someone more powerful than their Zhu family invited Yifan? Suddenly he thought of the cold and aloof woman in the living room who had just made him feel creepy. I'm afraid she's not just Yifan's friend. Maybe she is a woman sent by another family to please Yifan. I have never heard of any family that has such a beautiful female cultivator in the early stage of foundation building. As for Yifan, he packed up and prepared to go to Qiyue Valley. Put the little seahorse that has signed the spirit pet contract into the spirit beast bag. Then he prepared to call Xiaobiye out. His spiritual consciousness swept the ground. Yifan said softly. Immediately, the ground began to tremble, and then a white jade centipede as big as a python crawled out from the ground, raising a cloud of dust. The white jade centipede stood upright on the ground, with its white jade head raised high in the sky, making a hissing sound. It vibrates the air around it, forming a ripple-shaped sound wave. The first-level spirit chickens, spirit ducks, spirit cows, etc. that had not yet been put into the spirit beast bags were immediately frightened and fell to the ground, trembling. Dao Bao, who was lying in the stroller, was stunned for a moment, then babbled excitedly and stretched out his chubby little hands towards the upright white jade centipede. The white jade centipede, which was in full swing, saw Dao Bao. It immediately became timid, as it had just been so proud and wanted to show off its majesty in front of its master. It transformed into a miniature white jade centipede as big as a small snake, fell to the ground, then crawled onto Yifan's arm, raised its little head and looked towards Yifan to ask for credit. Yifan smiled and touched its little head, saying, "Not bad. It has advanced to the first class upper grade. Practice well, and your master will give you the foundation building pill to help you break through to the second level." Humans can break through to the foundation building stage by eating foundation building pills. But I wonder if foundation building pills are useful for monsters. Anyway, he still has to top grade foundation building pills in his hand if Xiaobiye is really about to break through. It won't hurt to give it one. After all, it is his contracted spirit beast, and he has been feeding it with the power of longevity since it was young. Even if it breaks through to the second level, he can suppress it. Xiaobie's eyes lit up, and he immediately rubbed his little head against Yifan, making a baby sound. Yifan put it into the spirit beast bag. He left Xiaogan and Xiaoluir to take care of the magical birds, magical fish and magical vegetables. Because in Qinglong Immortal City, he learned that in the world of immortal cultivation, there are also various things that are not inferior to modern high-tech to promote the rapid growth and good-looking appearance of spiritual birds, spiritual fish, and spiritual vegetables, such as adding some high-tech spiritual feeding pills and fertilizers with erysipelas etc. For example, a child who originally had spiritual roots ate to many high-tech spiritual vegetables and birds, which led to the degeneration of his spiritual roots and excessive poison in his body, making him unable to practice. There was also an incident where there was a problem with the breeding of a batch of magical cows, which resulted in a group of babies who drank the fresh milk from these cows having big heads and eventually died young. Therefore, it is more reassuring to eat the spiritual vegetables that you grow yourself and the spiritual birds and fish that you raise yourself, because in a few months, babies will start eating complementary foods, and they will need to eat spiritual vegetables, spiritual birds, and spiritual fish, which must be pollution-free, harmless, and non-high-tech. He took the babies out of Qinglong Fairy City, and then took out the flying boat that Su Longyi left for him before she left. It is a huge and luxurious flying boat. As soon as he appeared, everyone around looked over. And when they sensed the pressure from Yifan, a powerful foundation-building being, they were so scared that they quickly withdrew their gazes. Yifan took the babies on the flying boat. The flying boat is very big as a cruise ship, and is divided into 2 floors. After getting on the flying boat, Yifan took out the map and let the boat fly towards Qiuyi Valley. Chapter 109, Encountering a Terrible Mother-in-Law. Then take the humanoid puppet and items out of the storage bag. During the beginning of spring, rain water, waking of insects, spring equinox and tomb sweeping day, they are responsible for entertaining the baby and categorizing items. Now that the babies are more than 3 months old, they stay awake for longer periods of time, play with more toys, and also need to practice crawling. Yifan specially prepared a storage bag to hold the things the babies need. This does not include diapers, milk powder, etc. used by babies. With the help of a humanoid puppet, my hands are freed. A humanoid puppet is made of first-level spiritual wood. It is a good helper for household chores. When it comes to fighting, a monster puppet made of monster bones is more useful. It just so happens that among the materials that Song Nanyang and his team sent last time, there are 3 complete first-grade superior demon beast wolves, which can be made into something. Now Yifan's puppetry has been upgraded to the first-class superior level. It usually makes small puppet toys for the babies, such as fish that move when you pat them, and various styles of little Ultraman and flower fairies etc. The toys alone could fill up a large cabinet. Really dote on your baby. At night, Zhu Qianxi brought Zhu Mingfang out of Miayan Fang. Suddenly, Zhu Qianxi and Zhu Mingfang's eyes went dark, and both were covered by a black net, and then taken into a dark alley. A scream like a pig being slaughtered was heard. But the sound didn't travel far before it was blocked by the soundproof cover. Outside the alley, there are bright lights and people coming and going. In the dark alley, the people were beaten so hard that they cried for their parents and had no way to fight back. After being beaten for a full incense stick of time, Zhu Qianxi cried out in fear, "My right arm! It hurts! Senior, spare my life! My life!" Zhu Mingfang was even more miserable. Not only was his face burned by the inexplicable corrosive liquid, corroding it beyond recognition, but his vocal cords were also cut off, so he could only make a hoarse woo-oh-oh sound. His chest was suddenly ripped open by a sharp weapon, and his liver and gallbladder were dug out and turned into powder in the air. Then, he covered his pants with his hands in pain, tears of blood and despair flowing out. And all the pressure was removed and the sound-promming cover was removed. Zhu Qianxi's screams of pain and despair attracted onlookers. Zhu Mingfang had already fainted from the pain. Oh my god! Isn't this the young master of the Zhu family? How come someone chopped off one of his arms in the city? His arm was cut off by the fake Danzan Ren and his family before after it was reattached. It was cut off again this time. His arm was gone. Looking at the wound on the broken part. I don't know what kind of poison he was infected with, however. If he doesn't find a precious medicine in the future, he probably won't be able to reattach his arm in his lifetime. Who's that person lying next to him? It should be his servant. That is the unique clothing of Zhu family servants. Oh my god. His face has completely ruined it. So scary. Don't look at it. It's not just his face. Look, there's a big hole in his chest and you can see his intestines. What was taken out of him? Oh my god. Hasn't the security in the inner city always been good? There haven't been any fights, robberies or murders in the past 100 years. How come this time the young master and servants of the Zhu family had their arms broken, their faces disfigured and their organs ripped out? Could it be that a high-level demon cultivator has entered the inner city? Otherwise, how could they dare to touch the young master of the Zhu family? In an instant, all the cultivators in the inner city of King Long Immortal City were in a panic, and the Immortal City War Enforcement Team and the Zhu family elders and guest officials were all mobilized. Chen Chuaner stood in the crowd and snorted coldly. You want to reattach your arm that was broken in front of me? You dare to say that I am so brave? Dare you say that this king is a bit good-looking? Dare to use a woman to win over Yifan? Forget about the 2 taels of meat. The next day, Yifan took the babies to bask in the sun at the bow of the boat. When suddenly, a beam of light flew over. Immediately a stunningly beautiful woman dressed in Dunhuan flying fairy costume floated like a rainbow, stepped on a flying sword, and flew parallel to Yifan's flying boat. Wu Bao discovered the other party, made a baby sound, and stretched out his white and tender little hands. Yifan also saw the other party and opened the flying boat's defense shield. The stunning beauty landed on the deck of the flying boat and put away her flying sword. The person who came was Chen Chuaner. Fairy Chen, is there something you need from me? Yifan asked. Before leaving King Long Immortal City, he sent a communication talisman to Chen Chuaner, telling her that he would take the baby away from King Long Immortal City for some time, because Chen Chuaner had been taking care of the baby before. He also told Chen Chuaner before leaving, as a sign of respect for her. Chen Chuaner, you asked me to escort you to Qiyu Valley. After that, she walked to Wu Bao's stroller with a loving face, smiled, bent down, picked up Wu Bao skillfully, then kissed Wu Bao on the face, and said with a smile, Wu Bao, do you miss your godmother? Wu Bao came close to Chen Chuaner's face, kissed her with a smack, and smeared his saliva on Chen Chuaner's face. Chen Chuaner was so amused that her big pomelo trembled in a beautiful arc. My Wu Bao is really my godmother's sweetheart. He is getting cuter and cuter and cuter. Hey. The other four babies protested in their little baby voices and also wanted Chen Chuaner to hug them. 3 days passed in a flash, and the flying boat flew above the hills and mountains in the danger zone. Because the hilly mountains span the southern region and central China, which is a sparsely populated area, many areas are occupied by monsters, including 3rd-level monster kings, and even 4th and 5th level monster kings. The 3rd-level monster corresponds to the golden elixir power. The 4th-level monster corresponds to Yuan Ying Zhenjun. The 5th-level monster corresponds to the true god of transformation. When heading from King Long Fairy City to Qiyu Valley, you will pass by one of the more dangerous areas where a 3rd-level demon king is entrenched. But they are just walking on the edge and will not really enter the territory of the 3rd-level demon king. However, every time a monk rode a flying boat past here, he would be extremely cautious. This is because there have been cultivators who have accidentally encountered birds and monsters that came out to look for food and died here. The flying boat that Su Longyu gave to Yifan was engraved with a 3rd-grade superior defense formation, which could easily cope with general 2nd-grade and ordinary 3rd-grade flying birds. However, for safety reasons, she still asked Chen Chuaner to escort Yifan and the others. Chen Chuaner also sent the babies into the cabin. After pasting several 3rd-level amulets in the cabin, she came to the deck with a serious face. Suddenly, in the far distance of the forest, flames shot up into the sky, and a huge ape figure that covered the sky and the sun stood upright in its huge hand like a mountain. It held a staff that it slammed into the ground. In an instant, the mountain was razed to the ground, and the birds and beasts fled for their lives, because it was too far away from Yifan and his team. The aftermath was already very small by the time it reached Yifan and his team. Yifan was shocked. What level of monster is that? So horrible. Even from such a distance, he was already frightened. It must be at least a 4th-level monster. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw the giant ape being attacked by a ball of purple-red flame that burned the entire sky red. Then the entire body of the giant ape was burning with purple-red flames, and finally the giant ape fell to the ground with a thud. Yifan was even more shocked. What kind of monster emitted that flame? I didn't see any other monsters. Could it be our human cultivators? Chen Chuaner looked at the iconic flame and the small spot of light above the giant ape that fell to the ground. Her expression a little strange. Chapter 110, Mother-in-Law. Without saying a word, she immediately injected spiritual power into the flying boat, increasing its speed and sending it whizzing through the area. Only after she could no longer see the huge battle scene did she speak to Yifan. Just now, the immortal cultivators were fighting with the 4th-level giant ape. The person who injured the 4th-level giant ape was Yu Yu's mother, Yifan. He had previously learned it from his neighbor Ji Penggang that the Yuan Ying ancestor of the Lan Yu sect had killed an evil Yuan Ying cultivator of the same realm with one hand, and then confirmed from Su Longyu that the Yuan Ying ancestor was Su Longyu's mother. That was the stunningly beautiful woman whom he met by chance at the entrance of Qianji Pavilion in King Shufang. When he heard Ji Panggang's description of the battle scene, he felt frightened. In addition, when he watched the original animation, he also saw how earth-shattering the battle scenes of the Yuanying Realm Masters were. Every battle would make the screen tremble, and the TV screens of lower quality might even have snow or even a black screen. Seeing with one's own eyes the grand scene of the battle between the nascent Soul Masters, even from a great distance, makes one's heart tremble. Suddenly, the joy brought by foundation building disappeared in an instant. I have successfully built my foundation these few days, and people from all walks of life have come to visit me. I am a little flattered. You can't drift, you absolutely can't drift. My future mother-in-law is so awesome. If she is not satisfied with me as a son-in-law, she will slap me to death. We still need to work hard to cultivate, be low-key, cautious and not be arrogant. 10 days later, Yifan and his friends arrived at Qiyu Valley. This was Yifan's first time to come to Autumn Leaf Valley, but when he was 12 years old, he came to Autumn Leaf Valley with Fatty Wang, and Fatty Wang wanted to introduce him to the valley at that time. However, the deacon in charge of receiving new disciples saw that Yifan only had low-grade spiritual roots and rejected him coldly. Yifan came here in a different body, but he also had an original body in this world of immortal cultivation. The system input all of the original body's information, cultivation level, items etc. into him at once. So, thinking carefully, Yifan could still remember what happened 5 years ago when his original body came to Qiyu Valley. Qiyu Valley is worthy of being a major sect in the southern region. Although it is only one of the 7 lower sects, it is also an immortal cultivation sect and cannot be compared with Qinglong Immortal City and immortal cultivation families. The entire immortal gate is shrouded in a huge strange array. Inside the array, there are densely packed buildings, including magnificent halls, towers, pavilions, and carved jade bricks. From time to time, there were disciples from the sect flying maple leaf-shaped flying instruments in the air, flying around at low altitudes. Occasionally, there was a group of cranes flying by with beautiful women wearing white robes sitting on the cranes. The women in the world of immortal cultivation have always been very beautiful, and there are basically no ugly ones. Because cultivating immortals can eliminate the turbid air in the human body, and there are also anti-aging pills that can make people grow in reverse. Many women who are hundreds of years old look only 18. At this moment, in the reception room of Qiyu Valley, a male cultivator dressed in the uniform of Qiyu Valley's outer disciple received a communication talisman. The communication talisman was sent by Fatty Wang, and the content was, "Brother Duan, my friend Yifan will be here today. Please let me know when the time comes." Duan Wenxiao just took a look, wrote Yifan's name on today's visitor list, and continued to do other things. Just at this moment, a male cultivator riding on an iron leaf boat landed on the reception desk. The male cultivator walked to the door of the reception room, bowed, and said, "Hello, fellow Taoist, I am Dui. I have come to attend the foundation building banquet of fellow Taoist Jizibing of your clan. This is the invitation." As he spoke, Dui handed the invitation to Duan Wenxiao with both hands. Duan Wenxiao opened it, checked Dui's appearance, and then checked the list of visitors today. Then he scanned Dui with a magic tool, and confirmed that Dui's appearance was not disguised by someone else. Then he nodded inferently, led him to the left, and said nothing. Dui was a little confused. He was a casual cultivator, and it was his first time visiting a large sect that didn't know the etiquette of a large sect. He didn't understand the meaning of the manager's gesture and was afraid that he had done something wrong and brought trouble to Jizibing. I could only smile humbly and ask, "Excuse me, what does this mean?" Duan Wenxiao didn't even raise his head. His expression was indifferent and somewhat impatient, just like the waiter with a bad attitude. Dui's expression changed several times, but he finally smiled and bowed with both hands. "Okay, thank you, fellow Taoist." And he went to the building on the left. As soon as Dui left and before he entered the building, he saw a luxurious flying boat crossing over. It was the first time he saw such a luxurious flying boat, and he couldn't help but look up at it. Duan Wenxiao also saw this luxurious flying boat. A smile immediately appeared on his originally indifferent face. He bowed slightly, patted his clothes, and walked out of the reception room. The flying boat docked at the reception desk. Yifan walked down from the flying boat with Chen Zhuaner and 5 babies who were sleeping in the strollers. Duan Wenxiao immediately stepped forward, respectfully walked in front of Yifan, cupped his hands, and said politely, "My fellow Taoist, may I ask if you have a visiting card for our Qiyu Valley?" The cultivation level Yifan displayed at this time was the 9th level of Qi training. This time he came to Qiyu Valley to attend Jizibing's foundation building banquet. If he did not hide his cultivation level and directly showed up as a foundation building person, he would steal the limelight from Jizibing, the host. No need. Chen Zhuaner also hid her cultivation at the 8th level of Qi training and served as a wet nurse in a low-key manner. However, even though Yifan's cultivation level at this moment was only the 9th level of Qi training, Duan Wenxiao who often stopped at the reception desk, could tell at a glance that the flying boat he was riding was a luxurious flying boat, and the owner must be at the Golden Core Patriarch level, so he didn't dare to neglect Yifan at all. Yifan took out the invitation letter that came with the letter sent by Fatty Wang and handed it to Duan Wenxiao. After reading it, Duan Wenxiao was a little surprised. I didn't expect that Wang Chengfeng, who came from a small mountain village, has such a powerful friend with such a strong background. Wang Chengfeng is Fatty Wang's real name. He took out the magic weapon that had just scanned Du Yi, and said to Yifan politely, "Fellow Taoist Yi, this is a scanner, used to scan whether a person has disguised their appearance. All cultivators who come to our sect need to go through this procedure. Our disciples who go out and come back also need to be scanned, so, I'm sorry for the offense." Yifan said, "It's okay." Yi was stunned watching from the side. It's not like he hasn't seen people with double standards before. But he didn't expect that the reception manager of a large sect was also a double standard person. He withdrew his gaze bitterly, turned around silently and walked into the reception hall. Background is everything. Strength is everything. They are both cultivators in the late stage of keep reigning, but they ride different magical instruments and their treatments are vastly different. Duan Wenxiao only used the magic weapon to scan Yifan. And after confirming that Yifan had no disguise on his appearance, he smiled and said, "Just now, Junior Brother Wang specifically asked me to let fellow Taoist Yi know when he arrives. I will send a message to Junior Brother Wang now to let him know that fellow Taoist Yi has arrived." As he spoke, Duan Wenxiao sent out a communication talisman. Then he personally took Yifan and others to the reception hall. Let Yifan rest first, Wang Chengfeng will come to pick him up later. Chapter 111 Foundation Building Banquet. After a while, two beams of light flew from the mountain towards the reception desk at the mountain gate. Fatty Wang and Ji Zibing have arrived. When they entered the reception hall, they saw Yifan and others. "Yifan." Fatty Wang walked over with a big smile, and even boasted a little, "Look, I've broken through to the 8th level of key training. I'm not holding you back, am I?" Ever since he attended the baby's full month ceremony last time, Fatty Wang had been stimulated and had been practicing very hard. After returning to the sect, he practiced even harder. Finally he broke through to the 8th level of keep reigning. He was just waiting for Yifan to come over so that he could show off in front of Yifan. "Not bad," Yifan said with a smile. Then he bowed his hands to Ji Zibing and said, "Congratulations, fellow Taoist Ji, you have successfully established your foundation." Ji Zibing smiled and said, "You're almost there too." Having said that, he looked at Fatty Wang mysteriously, and Fatty Wang also smiled mysteriously at Yifan. What secrets does this boy have? Yifan didn't ask either. After talking to Yifan, Ji Zibing walked up to Du Yi with a smile and said, "Brother Du, thank you for your hard work along the way." Yi didn't expect that Yifan, who came here on a luxurious flying boat, was also attending Ji Zibing's foundation building banquet. Yi smiled and said, "It's not hard." Then Ji Zibing introduced Yifan and Du Yi to each other. The Yi and Ji Zibing were in the same batch that came to take the entrance test for Q. Yi Valley. Ji Zibing was selected as a disciple, while the Yi was eliminated in the end because his score on 1x I was slightly low. Over the past few decades, the two have become friends. Ji Zibing's success in building his foundation this time was inseparable from Du Yi's help in collecting materials outside, exchanging them for good deeds at the sect, and advancing the time for queuing up to refine the foundation building pill. Yi Valley has a dedicated alchemist, but because there are too many disciples in the sect, they need to queue up according to their good deeds to apply to refine the foundation building pill. The more good deeds you do, the higher up the ranking you can be, and the sooner you can refine the foundation building pill and impact the foundation. Fellow Taoist Yi, Brother Du is a first-class upper-grade formation master. Other Du, fellow Taoist Yi is a second-level lower-grade weapon refiner. Fellow Taoist Yi, nice to meet you. Yi bowed with a smile. Yifan also smiled and bowed. Fellow Taoist Du, nice to meet you. He thought that Ji Zibing was a good person. He did not forget his old friend who was a wandering cultivator after he established his foundation. He has some conscience. After the introduction, Ji Zibing led everyone to Wushao Peak where their master was located. Along the way, Ji Zibing did not put on the airs of a great foundation building expert, and during the conversation, he took everyone's feelings into consideration. In addition, the Autumn Leaf Valley has a 4th grade lower level spiritual vein with abundant spiritual energy, which makes people feel relaxed and happy when walking in it. It feels so good to be full of spiritual energy. No wonder so many immortal cultivators want to join a sect. It would be hard to slow down your practice if you practice in such a place with abundant spiritual energy every day. On the way up the mountain, I happened to meet an elderly cultivator with gray hair. "Deacon Xia," Fatty Wang shouted. Deacon Xia first bowed to Ji Zibing. "Senior Ji." Then he looked at Fatty Wang and nodded slightly. He was at the 9th level of key training and had been here for more than 10 years when he saw the foundation building cultivator Ji Zibing. Even though Ji Zibing was younger than him, he had to address Ji Zibing as senior, according to the rules of the immortal cultivation world. As for Fatty Wang, who was only at the 8th level of key training, he naturally wouldn't be so polite. Fatty Wang chuckled, patted Yifan on the shoulder, and said to Deacon Xia, "Deacon Xia, do you still remember my brother?" Yifan. Deacon Xia looked at Yifan and was immediately startled. Immortal cultivators have powerful memories, even though he had only met Yifan once 5 years ago. However, when he saw Yifan now, he recognized him at a glance. However, what he didn't expect was that the kid who was only at the 2nd level of key training and had low-grade spiritual roots, was now at the 9th level of key training like himself. Moreover, he even felt that Yifan might be closer to the great perfection of key training than himself. This is shocking. It's only been 5 years. How great an opportunity did Yifan get? It's such an achievement. Fellow Taoist Yi, Deacon Xia cupped his hands and said to Yifan politely, "It seems that fellow Taoist Yi has had an opportunity. I was wrong about you back then, however. Perhaps your failure to enter Autumn Leaf Valley was also an opportunity for you." Then he smiled and said, "I wonder if fellow Taoist Yi has considered entering our Qiyume Valley again. It just so happens that there will be an entrance examination for new disciples in a while. But fellow Taoist Yi's current situation, he will definitely be able to pass the examination." Yifan, that's not necessary. I am used to being a casual cultivator. Thank you for your kindness, Deacon Xia. Deacon Xia said a few more words and left angrily. Fatty Wang raised his chin with a little pride. "I even want to say, you ignored me at first, but now I am out of your reach." When the group arrived at the mountain, Ji Zibing had already arranged accommodation for Yifan, Du Yi and the others. Each person has an independent yard. After being sent to the yard, Ji Zibing had something to do and left first, and Fatty Wang stayed in Yifan's yard. Just at this moment, the 5 little guys woke up one after another. He was looking at the unfamiliar environment with his big curious eyes. Wu Bao wanted to cry, but when he saw the familiar figures of Yifan and Chen Chuaner, he raised the corners of his flat mouth slightly, and then followed his brothers and sisters, looking around curiously. "Ding ding ding. Look at the little gifts Uncle Wang bought for you." As he spoke, Fatty Wang took out a bunch of children's plush toys from the storage space. After Yifan looked at it, he smiled and said, "This is for children over 1 year old. Our baby is only 4 months old." Fatty Wang rubbed the back of his head innocently. "Is that so?" Then, he thought of something and said, "It's okay. I can take them flying." As they spoke, they picked up Daba one by one and flew up into the sky on their swords. The little ones love playing this game. When they are at home, whenever Yifan takes them flying, they would giggle. After a while, Tiu and Mumu came over. Hearing the baby's little voices and laughter coming from the sky, Mumu said excitedly, "Fellow Taoist Yi, I never thought you gave birth to quintuplets. Congratulations. I was quite surprised when junior brother Wang mentioned this last time. I've never heard of quintuplets in the world of immortal cultivation." As she spoke, Mumu couldn't wait to fly up to the sky to see the 5 little babies being carried by Fatty Wang, followed by her exclamations. "The baby is so cute. So cute." Mumu is lively, and Kiyu is calm. She nodded at Yifan and Chen Zhuaner. 2 days later, Ji Zibing's foundation building banquet was held at Wuxiao Peak. Many people came, including disciples who had a good relationship with Qiyu Yigu and Ji Zibing, as well as disciples from other sects. Among the independent cultivators, there were only Yifan and Dufang. Fellow Taoist Yi, Bei Yunlong saw Yifan and walked over to him. Then he was surprised. "Fellow Taoist Yi, what level have you broken through to?" He couldn't see it. Chapter 112, The 3 Favorite Things of a Middle-Aged Female Cultivator. This time, Ji Zibing also invited Bei Yunlong from Fengjian sect. Yifan. 9th level of Qi training. Bei Yunlong's cultivation is still at the 6th level of Qi training. It seems that the spiritual roots have not mutated yet. Bei Yunlong's face was filled with shock. How long has it been? About a year. Yifan broke through from the 6th level of Qi training to the 9th level. And he had just broken through from the 5th level of Qi training to the 6th level. Before at King Shufang, when he saw Yifan break through to the 6th level of Qi training, he did not ask much, thinking that when he met Yifan had already achieved perfection in the 5th level of Qi training, and was about to break through to the 6th level of Qi training. Now Yifan patted Bei Yunlong on the shoulder and said solemnly, "Women will only affect the speed of our cultivation. So, you understand, right?" Bei Yunlong blinked in confusion. It seemed like I understood, but it also seemed like I understood nothing. Yifan raised his chin towards Fatty Wang and said, "Look, Fatty has also reached the 8th level of Qi training. Why are you still at the 6th level?" The fat man is devoted to Taoism and has no desire for women. Bei Yunlong's eyes widened. He has the lowest cultivation level among all the people here. He was a little depressed, sat down in a downcast mood and drank a glass of wine. Ifan sat down and said everything he needed to say to the biggest cuckold in the whole play. How to do it is up to Bailai Yunlong himself. Bailai Yunlong sighed. I have been troubled by emotional issues recently. A month ago, my fiancée suddenly told me that she had delayed me all these years, which resulted in my cultivation not making much progress. She wanted me to devote myself to the Tao. So she broke off the engagement with me first, and then we could get married after I succeeded in building my foundation. I'm very distressed. My cultivation hasn't improved. It has nothing to do with my fiancée. She hasn't held me back. I didn't want to break off the engagement with her, but she insisted on breaking off the engagement because she didn't want to delay me. Having said that, Bailai Yunlong took another sip of wine in annoyance. Ifan, last time at King Shufang, you borrowed spirit stones to buy Ning, and did you collect enough spirit stones in the end? Bailai Yunlong, yes, I bought it. Ifan, your fiancée has broken through to the late stage of key training? Talking about this, Bailai Yunlong regained some spirits, and said proudly, well, Wang Yun is now at the 7th level of key training. And there is hope for foundation building. Ifan called him a good guy in his heart. The dog licker really ends up with nothing. He is worthy of being the most dramatic and powerful cuckold king. He is really licking. Even after all this, you are still speaking well of Wang Yun? Can't you see that she has only broken through to the 7th level of key training? Do you want to get rid of you, the son of the concubine of the leader of the Fangjian sect who has no power, no influence, no money, and poor cultivation? Ifan picked up a piece of green vegetables with chopsticks and put it into Bailai Yunlong's bowl. Bailai Yunlong? Ifan, eat more green vegetables to stay healthy. Bailai Yunlong, fellow Taoist. That makes sense. Ifan, have you ever heard a saying? Advance to a higher level, get rich, and kill your husband. Bailai Yunlong. What are you talking about? Ifan, don't worry about where it comes from. What it means is that the 3 things that middle-aged female cultivators love most are breakthroughs in cultivation, getting rich, and the death of their husbands. It's easy to understand the breakthrough of cultivation. Right? Getting rich is easy to understand, right? Only with spirit stones can you buy more cultivation resources to continue to break through and advance. Dead husband. Having said this, Ifan looked at Bailai Yunlong, his blackness covered with a layer of mystery, which made Bailai Yunlong's anus tighten. He slowly moved his butt to the left, creating a safe distance between himself and Ifan. Ifan. Dead husband means abandoning husband and children. If she doesn't abandon husband and children, how can she prove her Tao and become a god? How can she kill her husband to prove her Tao? How can she practice without distraction? Or, how can she get her husband's inheritance and seduce a male cultivator who is more beneficial to her? At this point, Ifan patted Bailai Yunlong on the shoulder and said, Fatty is looking for me. I'll go to him. You should eat more green vegetables. After saying that, Ifan left. Bailai Yunlong took a bite of the green vegetable and said, it's quite delicious. Fellow Taoist Yi, you are crazy. Why do you keep saying such weird things? It seems that you have been deeply hurt by a woman. Fortunately, my Wang Yun has always been fond of me. Even after breaking through to the 7th level of key training, she did not look down on me. Instead, in order not to delay my cultivation, she would rather temporarily break off the engagement with me. Although my cultivation progress is slow, I am happier than fellow Taoist Yi. I have love. I must work hard to cultivate and strive to build my foundation as soon as possible so that I can marry Wang Yun. Fatty Wang called Yifan over, and then introduced Yifan to his fellow foundation building cultivators. Although Fatty Wang's cultivation level is only the 8th level of key training, he is very versatile and has a talent for business. Just a few words highlighted Yifan's image as a master of weapon refining. Then it is introduced that although Yifan can only refine 2nd order low-grade spiritual weapons now, he can engrave inscriptions on the spiritual weapons, which are comparable to 2nd order medium-grade spiritual weapons. The function of the inscriptions is to enhance the power of the spiritual weapons without consuming too much mana of the user. All of a sudden, he captured the hearts of this group of cultivators in the middle stage of foundation building. Although they can use 2nd order medium-grade spiritual weapons in the middle stage of foundation building, the mana consumption is too great and they can only be used many times. Therefore, when they really fight or kill each other outside, they still use 2nd order low-grade spiritual weapons. Having laid the groundwork here, when Fatty Wang saw his fellow disciples, starting to get excited, he immediately threw out the hunger marketing trick at the right time. It is said that Yifan is now at the 9th level of key training. It is preparing to break through to the foundation building stage, so he does not have much energy to refine a 2nd level spiritual weapon. However, considering that they are all his fellow disciples, they will give him some face and allow him to refine 1 or 2. 2 more reservation places have been made available, but these 2 reservation places still require bidding. The group of hard-working cultivators in the middle stage of foundation building were stunned by the various tricks before they could react. They were already bidding at the top of their voices to reserve the spots. Moreover, when the bidding started, the monks who had been drinking together like good brothers before now started bidding fiercely and refused to give in at all. And he is also good at talking. This allowed Yifan to witness the elegant verbal fights among the big sects, without any swear words at all. In the end, the 2 spots were bought by Yan Zichai, who had just broken through to the middle stage of foundation building, and had the support of an immortal cultivation family, for 300 low-grade spirit stones, and by Zles Huang, the most beloved granddaughter of an elder of Qiuyue Valley, for 450 low-grade spirit stones. Yan Zichai reserved a broadsword spiritual weapon, and Zles Huang reserved a lotus spiritual weapon, both of which were engraved with whirlwind inscriptions, ice-breaking inscriptions, and flame inscriptions. Yifan offered a price of 100 medium-grade spirit stones. The price of a second-level spiritual weapon is much more expensive than that of a first-level magic weapon, while the price of an ordinary second-level low-grade spiritual weapon is in the range of 70 to 80 medium-grade spirit stones. In addition, it is more difficult to engrave an inscription on a second-level spiritual weapon than on a first-level magic weapon, so the price of 100 medium-grade spirit stones offered by Yifan was not a rip-off. Instead, he gave a suitable price for Fatty Wang's sake. The 2 of them agreed immediately and each paid 20 medium-grade spirit stones as a down payment. Chapter 113 The War is Coming. I also heard about Fatty Wang selling magic weapons in the sect, and confirmed Yifan's weapon refining ability from Jizibing. They also learned it from Qiu that Yifan had lent her 20 medium-grade spirit stones, so the 2 were not afraid that Yifan would swallow up their 40 medium-grade spirit stones. After the foundation building banquet, Fatty Wang came to the yard to find Yifan. As soon as he saw Yifan, he smiled and handed Yifan a storage bag. Inside is the spirit stone money for 50 magic weapons. Then Fatty Wang took out another jade box, smiled mysteriously, and handed it to Yifan. See what's inside. Yifan opened it. It turned out to be a foundation building pill with 3 lines on it, although this was not a genuine foundation building pill but a defective one that could only increase the success rate of foundation building by 15. For a key cultivating cultivator, this defective foundation building pill was also extremely precious. It was not enough for their own use, and they would even go to rob and kill others. Yet Fatty Wang actually gave him one directly. Fatty Wang chuckled and said, "This time, senior brother G made 3 foundation building pills. 1 genuine one and 2 inferior ones. This one is a better inferior one, so he gave it to me. You are almost at the stage of building your foundation, so you can use it first. Although it is not as good as the genuine foundation establishment pill, it is better to have it than not to have it. Then moreover, with 1 more foundation establishment pill, the probability of success in foundation establishment is higher." Yifan took this inferior foundation building pill. Although he still had to top-grade foundation building pills and had successfully built his foundation, this was all out of Fatty Wang's kindness. Moreover, Fatty Wang refused to accept his spirit stones, saying that he was already making a lot of money from the commissions he got from helping him sell magic tools, and if he were to give him more money, it would mean he was looking down on Fatty Wang. Yifan had no choice but to give up. Afterwards, Fatty Wang told Yifan about many foundation building experiences, which were the summaries of experiences he had learned from various foundation building masters in the sect. Laying the foundation is very important for low-level cultivators. It's a big threshold. Once you break through, you will enter another vast world. Jizibing invited Yifan to stay in Qiuyue Valley for a few more days. During these days, Fatty Wang and Mumu came to the courtyard, where Yifan lived every day. Mumu came purely to play with the babies. She especially liked the little guys. After staying in Qiuyue Valley for 5 days, Yifan said goodbye to Fatty Wang. Fatty Wang was very reluctant to leave, and Yifan smiled and said, "See you soon," because his foundation building banquet will be held soon. After leaving Qiuyue Valley, Yifan did not return to King Long Immortal City immediately, because Su Longyu had confirmed with him the time to return to King Long Immortal City and asked him to play outside for more time. There is a foundation building market near Qiuyue Valley, called Maple Leaf Market. Yifan changed to an ordinary flying boat midway to keep a low profile. Maple Leaf Square is larger than Green Bamboo Square. It is covered by a second-order green light formation, and has a second-order mid-grade spiritual vein underneath. The scenery is different from King's Wangshipending is famous for its lush bamboo forest, while Feng Yifeng is famous for its top-quality maple trees. Entering Maple Leaf Square, Yifan felt like he was taking his children on a vacation. The main roads of Feng's High are lined with maple trees, which bring great coolness when the summer breeze blows. Yifan estimated the time and decided that he would live here for a month, so he rented a yard facing the lake and backed by a maple forest. Genchuaner planted a simple battle flag in the yard. Genchuaner doesn't know how to use complicated formation flags. but she is okay with simple ones. Yifan took out the little seahorse from the spirit beast bag, and the little seahorse immediately conveyed a message to Yifan that it wanted to go to the lake. Go, Yifan said, throwing the little seahorse into the Tianlang lake in front. Then Xiaobiei was released as well. Xiaobiei immediately crawled underground, fearing that Dabao and the others would find out that it had come out, and then it would have to live the miserable life of raising a naughty child, being pinched, pulled, bitten, and thrown. The babies are sleeping at this moment. Yifan takes out Li Chan and other puppets and gives them the tasks of cleaning and tidying up. He entered the room, sat on the futon, and took out the unfinished monster wolf puppet from the storage bag. 2 hours later, Yifan placed a low-grade spirit stone on the puppet's drive, and then the monster wolf puppet's eyes lit up. He exudes the aura of a top-grade first-class talent. Moreover, its appearance is exactly the same as that of a real demon wolf, because the exterior and internal bones are made of the original material of the monster wolf. Yes, it took me half a month to finally refine this demon wolf puppet. Offensive puppets are much harder to refine than alien life puppets. Fortunately, the refining was successful. I'll find an opportunity to test its combat power next time. After putting the puppet into the storage bag, Yifan saw a gift list in the storage bag. Take out the gift list. His eyes fell on the gift list sent by the Yan family. What of the 7 major immortal cultivation families? 6 300-year-old heavenly spiritual fruits. Heavenly spirit fruit, this is the main ingredient for refining the longevity pill. As expected of a family of immortal cultivators, they are generous when they spend money. Because he met Yan Zhie from the Yan family at Xi Jinping's foundation building banquet this time, when he looked at the gift list, he deliberately took a closer look at the Yan family. When leaving King Long Immortal City, Yifan put all the gifts into his storage bag. He took out a jade box with the words Yan family on it from the storage bag. When the jade box was opened, a rich fragrance overflowed, and 6 fruits emitting white light were inside the jade box. This is the 300-year-old Yanling fruit. Is there a jade slip inside? He took out the jade slip, wiped off the restriction on it, and stuck it on his forehead. Yifan heard a voice, "Fellow Taoist Yi, I am Yan Yuanzhang of the Yan family. The Zhu family has acted without regard for morality and their fate is coming to an end. 6 heavenly spirit fruits are just a small gift. I hope fellow Taoist Yi will not despise it." Yifan put down the jade slip with a strange look on his face. It looks like a good show is about to begin. Anyway, I'm not in the game, so I can just watch. Looking at the Tianling fruit, Yifan prepared to try to refine a furnace of longevity pills. After saying something to Chen Chuaner, he went out to buy a set of fire control array plates, because there was no underground fire in the rented yard, so he needed a fire control array. When he arrived at the main road of Fangshai, he saw someone removing the plaque at the door of Lingbao Pavilion and replacing it with the plaque of Fubao Hall. Fellow Taoist Yi, this Lingbao Pavilion has been sold to Fubao Ang recently. The Sang family has sold many shops in the market, including those in King Long's Yancheng. The Sang family is working hard to recover funds. Yifan turned around and saw Yi walking towards him. Yifan, friend Du. Yi told Yifan that the Sang family was inviting talented cultivators of all arts and combat skills to the Sang family's base. Twin Peaks. She was a first-class, top-grade formation master and was ready to go and take a look. It is said that Master Zhu Tianxi, the most likely candidate of the Zhu family to attack the young master, had his arm permanently broken and his family lineage cut off in Qinglong Fairy City. He believed that it was revenge from the Sang family and that they, the Zhu family, wanted to retaliate. They directly threatened to attack the Sang family in a month. When Yifan heard this, he felt that what happened to Zhu Tianxi was definitely not done by the Sang family, but this did not prevent the Zhu family from finding an excuse to attack the Sang family. After all, the Zhu family is a Jindan family. If they want to attack the Jiadan family, they must have a legitimate reason so that no one will interfere. Du Yi said, in this battle, the Sang family has a great chance of winning. Fellow Taoist Yi, would you like to go to Twin Peaks with me to try our luck? Chapter 114. Mother-in-law stopped Yifan. Then, Yi explained to Yifan why the Sang family, whose highest combat power was only at the fake elixir level, had a greater chance of winning. First, the Sang family has hidden a genius in the late foundation building stage. Now, the Sang family has sold almost all of their assets in exchange for spirit stones, one of which is to purchase golden elixir spiritual objects, preparing to let this genius in the late foundation building stage fight to the death and impact the golden elixir realm. Anyway, the Zhu family is coming to attack, and if they lose, all the property of the Sang family will be lost. It is better to sell everything and try to get the golden elixir. As long as the Sang family has a Jindan cultivator, even if he is only in the early Jindan stage, they will have the ability to fight the Zhu family. And even if they lose, they will not be exterminated. Secondly, although the Zhu family used various means to cover up the fact that they sent the fake Queen Yama to kill the demon hunting team in King Long Immortal City, It still aroused the anger of a group of cultivators, especially those who had a grudge against the Zhu family this time. Almost all of them will go to the Seng family to assist the Seng family in resisting the Zhu family. After all, when the nest is destroyed, how can the eggs remain intact? After the Seng family was wiped out by the Zhu family, the entire King Long Fairy City, including the monster hunting teams and other surrounding mountains, were all under the control of the Zhu family, like fish on a chopping board, at the mercy of others. After listening to this, Yifan said, "I won't go." He can just watch the battle between the two great families from the other side of the river. Yi felt a little regretful after all, although this battle between the two great immortal cultivation families was extremely dangerous for independent cultivators like them. It was also the time with the most opportunities. Because of this kind of war, the two cultivators will definitely bring everything they have and fight to the death. You can make a fortune by picking up the corpse of a powerful foundation building person. Not to mention, if by any chance you were lucky enough to find the body of the fake Dan Zhen Ren, your ancestors' graves would be filled with grief. However, when Di thought of the luxurious flying boat that Yifan took in Qiuyue Valley, he felt relieved. It seems that although Yifan is a casual cultivator, he has someone behind him. In addition, Yifan really made money from refining equipment at Jizi Bing's foundation building banquet. He saw Fatty Wang make to reserved spots, which allowed Yifan to earn a full 750 spirit stone. She was extremely envious at the time. Yi smiled and said, "Okay? Fellow Taoist Yi, if you have anything you want to sell, it's best to sell it to the Lingbao Pavilion of the Seng family on Shimen Street." The Seng family didn't sell the Lingbao Pavilion, and now they specialize in buying talismans, magic tools, elixirs, array plates and other items at high prices. The price they offer is much higher than other places. Yifan, okay. Then Yifan asked Yi if he had any fire control array plates for sale, as he was planning to buy one. Yi happened to have a set of first-grade top-grade fire control array plates, and he sold it to Yifan at a friendly price. 2 days later, Yifan put on the mask of 100 changes. This is the name Yifan gave to the mask that Chen Xuaner gave him, which can simulate a cultivator with a higher cultivation level than herself. He had tested it and found that this versatile mask could record the facial appearance and magical aura for people in total. Now one of the positions in it has been used, and it contains Chen Xuaner's appearance as Queen Yama and her cultivation level in the middle stage of the golden core. There are still 3 empty positions. This time I am going to Lingbao Pavilion to sell things and stab the Zhu family in the back. So I definitely cannot use the too famous image of Queen Yama. Yifan pondered for a while, and finally set the face of an old man with a thin body, gray hair, and a beard on his chin, and his cultivation level was set to the fake pill level. The fake pill realm can make it easier for him to do things, and make him more convincing when selling things in his hands. Lingbao Pavilion on Shimen Street. At this moment, a stunningly beautiful woman, who had reached the 9th level of key training, was standing in front of the counter, bargaining with a female clerk from Lingbao Pavilion. "Fairy, my inner elixir of this 2nd level demon beast has very pure properties, and is a water-attributed demon elixir. It can be sold for 40 medium-grade spirit stones. In King Long Fairy City they said that your purchase price is too high. So I came to you to sell it. You only gave me 38 medium-grade spirit stones for it. It's too cheap. I don't want you to add more. That's 3 more medium-grade spirit stones." The female clerk said, "Fairy, 38 middle-grade spirit stones is really the highest price we can estimate. We also have a store in King Long Fairy City. Because of the suppression by the Zhu family, the price of inner pills has also dropped for inner pills of this quality. It will only offer 30 middle-grade spirit stones. The price we have given is very high." The number 38 sounds nice to good luck. Stunningly beautiful woman. 38 doesn't sound good. 38. It's insulting. 41 sounds good. I don't care about the current price in King Long's Yancheng before. The purchase price in King Long's Yancheng was indeed 40. At this time, a white-haired old man walked in. The spiritual pressure emanating from the fake Dan Zhen Ren instantly shocked the entire Lingbao Pavilion. Except for the stunningly beautiful woman who was still bargaining. Everyone else held their breath and kept silent, especially the monk standing in front of the white-haired old man, who immediately moved away in awe. When the white-haired old man saw the stunningly beautiful woman bargaining, a hint of surprise flashed across his black eyes, but no one noticed. Who dares to look directly at the faked Dan ancestor at this time? Especially since this is just a foundation building market. The people in the store lobby have the highest cultivation level of only the great perfection of key training. This white-haired old man is Yifan. What Yifan didn't expect was that he would meet his future mother-in-law here. Moreover, my mother-in-law has suppressed her cultivation level at the 9th level of key training, and now she is bargaining with a little girl over 3 medium-grade spirit stones. It overturned his cognition. But no matter what, the scene of his mother-in-law slapping the Yuan Ying ancestor to death and burning the 4th level giant ape to the ground with a fire immediately appeared in his mind. Even though Su Longyu told him that her mother had not recognized him yet, the most important thing at the moment was to run away. He turned around and wanted to run. But unexpectedly, his mother-in-law stretched out her arms to stop him. Their eyes met. Yifan. I didn't check the almanac before going out today. I'm dead, I'm going to die. Haven't lived enough. If we summon the Empress's wife now, can she arrive at the scene in seconds? When Shan King, the mask that Schwanner got this time is quite interesting. It allows Yifan to pretend to have a cultivation level that exceeds his own and pretend to have reached the faked in realm. When Shan King, Dao Yu. You look familiar to me. Yifan remains silent. When Shan King, fellow Taoist. Please help me judge my second level demon beast inner elixir is extremely pure and is indeed worth 41 medium grade spirit stones, but they insisted on bargaining with me. The female clerk didn't dare to speak under the huge spiritual pressure. Because the stunningly beautiful woman really pulled Yifan, who was in the faked in realm, in front of her. Moreover, Master Jiadan was not averse to stunningly beautiful women and looked at him with a very serious expression. She was so frightened that she nearly fell to her knees. She trembled her lips and said, Senior, 441 middle grade spirit stones, yes, yes. A highest estimate given by the family was 41 medium grade spirit stones, but if she could buy it at a lower price, she would get more commission, so she kept bargaining with the beautiful woman. Chapter 115. The mother-in-law looked at Yifan and became more and more satisfied. Yifan picked up the demon pill and said, This second-level demon pill comes from a black turtle with water attributes. This black turtle has special blood. The demon pill contains rich and pure black yin attributes. It is very suitable for women with water attributes to take after refining the pill. Now that your Seng family and the Zhu family are about to go to war, you are in urgent need of foundation building pills. This second-level demon pill is the main ingredient for refining foundation building pills. Although the price of the second-level demon pills in King Long Immortal City has been lowered, things are valuable because they are rare. Even if you go to King Long Immortal City to buy demon pills now, it will take at least a month to go back and forth by then. Even if you buy second-level demon pills, will you still have extra time to refine foundation building pills? Will you have extra time for your Sang family's key training great perfection cultivators to break through to the foundation building stage? Besides, how could you think that the purchase price of the second-level demon pills in King Long Immortal City would be low during this period? Your two great families are about to go to war, and the price of strategic resources like the main material of the foundation building pill will only go up and not down. The price of 41 middle-grade spirit stones is too little. It should be worth at least 45 middle-grade spirit stones. At this moment, if your Sang family improves one more foundation building strength, it may be the key to turning the tide of the battle. The Celestial lowered her head even lower. Because Yifan was right. Their Sang family really needs second-level demon pills to refine foundation building pills. Thus 41 pieces of mid-grade spirit stones were already the highest purchase price assessed by the family. Senior, the deal is 45 medium-grade spirit stones. A male cultivator in the early stage of foundation building walked out from the inner room with a smile. When Shan King looked at the 45 medium-grade spirit stones in her hand, then looked at Yifan in disguise with admiration in her eyes. Schwanner, this little girl has good taste in choosing men. When judging a person, you can't just look at his cultivation level or spiritual aptitude. This kid Yifan doesn't use his power to bully others, but he is very smart. Know a lot too. Are you an alchemist? But isn't Yifan the boss of Yuliang Xuan, the one who refines magical instruments? Not only can he refine magical instruments, he can also simplify third-order inscriptions into second-order inscriptions and engrave them on magical instruments. A second-level weapon refiner and inscription master, he now also understands medicinal materials. In addition, with Yifan's qualifications of middle-grade spiritual roots, he successfully established his foundation at the age of 17. Even if we look at the 7 sects, he is considered a potential stock. His aptitude of only middle-grade spiritual roots prevented him from going far in the path of cultivating immortals. However, Yifan's major practice is wood-based skills, and wood attributed spiritual roots are the best. She thought of the King Mu's spirit body secret technique that she had obtained in the Qi Yushan secret realm some time ago. Given the relationship between the Su family and the Chen family, if Yifan is recognized by the Chen family at that time, it is not impossible for her to use the King Mu's spirit body secret technique to exchange some precious treasures with Shisha Ven. Thinking of this, she was already thinking about which of Shisha Ven's treasures she valued the most. The more she thought about it, the more satisfied she was with Yifan. The more Yifan looked at his mother-in-law, the more he felt something was wrong. He coughed lightly. When Shan King, my fellow Taoist, you have good vision, young man. You are good. See you next time. After saying this, When Shan King put the spirit stone into the storage ring and left in a good mood. Yifan didn't dare to use his spiritual sense to observe whether Wen King had left completely, but if he really turned around and left at this moment, Wen King would definitely suspect him. I felt something was wrong with him. So I decided to stick to my original route. Senior, I am the shopkeeper of the Lingbao Pavilion here, shopkeeper sang. A male cultivator in the early stage of foundation building, respectfully and politely invited Yifan. Come to the inner hall. Shopkeeper Sang served carefully and asked Yifan if he had anything to sell. Yifan took out a peachwood sword that he had refined in the past 2 days. Shopkeeper Sang took the peachwood sword respectfully with both hands, and then his eyes widened. Second level inferior spiritual weapon. In particular, there is a very rare inscription engraved on it. As the magic power was poured into it, Shopkeeper Sang's eyes immediately became brighter. This inscription is not simple. It was not an ordinary inscription, but with his experience, he could not tell why. However, his eyes dimmed again. This is not a standard spiritual weapon, but a spiritual weapon that can only be used once. After use, it will be useless. However, this was something that the fake Dan Zenren took out to sell. So he naturally would not refuse. He smiled and asked respectfully, Senior, what is your name? Yifan, Taoist Shanian. Shopkeeper Sang, Senior. What is the price you would like to sell it for? Yifan, 500 medium-grade spirit stones. Shopkeeper Sang almost fainted from anger. And the look he gave Yifan was a little less respectful. After hearing what Yifan said outside, he gave Yifan a thumbs up in his heart. But now, hearing that Yifan dared to offer a sky price of 500 medium-grade spirit stones for a disposable second-level low-grade spirit weapon, he really wanted to roll his eyes. But the identity of the fake Dan Zenren was there, and even if he was dissatisfied in his heart, he did not dare to have any contemptuous attitude. He had to put on a smile, choose his words carefully, and rehearse in his mind. After he felt that there was no problem, he said, Senior, thank you for choosing our Lingbao Pavilion. However, our Lingbao Pavilion is short of funds recently and cannot afford such a high price. Please find another store. Yifan. It seems that shopkeeper Sang didn't realize the power of this spiritual weapon well. It's hard for you, although this peachwood sword is a disposable second-level low-grade spiritual weapon. The inscription engraved on it is the Broken Blade inscription, which has the special effect of ignoring the defense of early Jindan cultivators. Shopkeeper Sang was shocked. The hand holding the peachwood sword was shaking. Ignoring the defense of the early Jindan cultivator is crucial for them as they are about to go to war with the Zhu family. Moreover, this is a second-level lower-grade spiritual weapon, which means it can be used as a trump card. It can even be controlled by a foundation-building cultivator. But shopkeeper Sang immediately adjusted his attitude and returned to his previous respectfulness. Senior, I cannot make the decision regarding such a valuable magical instrument. Please wait a moment. I will notify our Sang family's elder Jiadan to come and talk to you in person. Ever since the Sang family conquered the Han family and swallowed up the Han family's assets, the Sang family has also been generating revenue rapidly. There are now for fake Dan Zenren. Before the annexation of the Han family, the Sang family had only one ancestor in the late stage of Falstan who was about to reach the end of his life. Now there are 3 more elders who had just entered the realm of Jiadan. The combat power has been greatly improved compared to the past, but it is still not comparable to the Zhu family with the Golden Pill ancestor after all. The Zhu family has been firmly seated in the 7 great immortal cultivation families in the southern region for hundreds of years, and it is still ranked in the middle level. The foundation is not ordinary, there are also fake Dan guests. Because the Sang family was purchasing materials from Maple Leaf Workshop, there was a fake Dan Zenren in charge. In the time it took to drink a cup of tea, Sang Liyuan, the fake Dan Zenren of the Sang family, arrived at the inner hall of Lingbao Pavilion. Because this is a disposable spiritual weapon and cannot be tested, Sang Liyuan is somewhat undecided. However, the person who came to sell this spiritual weapon was a fake. It was just that he had never heard of the name of Taoist Shanyan. It might be because he had just entered the realm of false elixir and knew to few cultivators at the false elixir level. Chapter 116 The Baby's Different Changes. Sang Liyuan. Fellow Taoist Shanian. This inscription is indeed the Broken Blade inscription, but as far as I know, only the Third Order Broken Blade inscription has appeared on the market. The power of the Third Order Broken Blade inscription is indeed amazing and can ignore defense. However, fellow Taoist, I am not sure whether your simplified version of the Second Order Broken Blade inscription can ignore the defense of an early Jindan cultivator. In addition, this is a Watan spiritual treasure and cannot be tested. The price of 500 mid-grade spirit stones is too high. Yifan, since I dare to say it, I must be able to do it, so 300 medium-grade spirit stones plus a treasure. This is the final price. Sang Liyuan was a little conflicted, and then said he wanted to message the ancestor to discuss it. Not long after, Sang Liyuan came back and offered 300 medium-grade spirit stones, plus 2 third-level rare inscription rings, and asked Yi Fan if he agreed. This is the highest price they can offer. In fact, they all felt that they had lost money by offering 300 medium-grade spirit stones. But what if this Peachwood sword can really ignore the defense of an early Jindan cultivator? Now they can only take a chance. It would be great if this Peachwood sword was a standard second-level spiritual weapon. Not only could it be tested, but it could also be passed down. A disposable spiritual weapon is a loss no matter how you buy it. Yi Fan, okay. It took him only 2 days to refine this disposable spiritual weapon. The most important thing is that he came to sell this spiritual weapon in order to stab the Zhu family in the back during the battle between the Sang family and the Zhu family, causing serious injury to the Zhu family's Jindan master. This can be regarded as revenge for the Zhu family's use of their power to force others to open the Sun Pavilion and imitate his Moon Pavilion robe in the past in King Long Fairy City. After all, if he didn't have the system and Su Longyu's support, Yu Yangzhuan would definitely be forced into bankruptcy by the ruthless Zhu family. There was even a great possibility that he himself would be captured by the Zhu family and locked up in a dark cage to refine weapons every day. He now has a family to support, and his cultivation level is only at the foundation building stage. He cannot directly seek revenge on the huge Zhu family, but he can still stab the Zhu family in the back. As for why he didn't sell a standard broken blade inscription spiritual weapon to the Sang family, it was because that was too dangerous and it was very likely that this spiritual weapon would turn around and hurt him in the future. So the disposable spiritual weapon happened to be everywhere, and when the Sang family used it up, there was no more spiritual weapon. The broken blade inscription is one of his trump cards. With the exception of Chen Xuaner, he will not engrave the broken blade inscription on magical weapons or spiritual weapons for sale. After getting the spirit stone and 2 drawings of third-level rare inscriptions, Yi Fan left. Sang Liyuan looked at the Peachwood sword in his hand with a painful look on his face. Why do I always feel like I've been cheated? If I can't bring out the power of the broken blade inscription and break the defense of the Zhu family's golden core patriarch, this is 300 mid-grade spirit stones. As for the drawings of the 2 third-level rare inscriptions, he didn't care much about them, because their Sang family still had a backup of the drawings. Moreover, no one in their Sang family had been able to comprehend these 2 third-level inscriptions so far, so they could only put them aside and pass them down as treasures at the bottom of the box. Yi Fan returned to the yard and called Su Longyu to send a message. He told Su Longyu in detail about what happened when he met Wen Chanqing in Lingbao Pavilion just now. Su Longyu, yes, my mother does occasionally lower her cultivation level and go to the market to sell monster materials. Bargaining with people is one of her biggest hobbies. She enjoys the joy of a successful bargain. Of course, she didn't tell Yi Fan that her mother was stingy. Just tell Yi Fan. You let her in for more middle-grade spirit stones, she will be very happy. Yi Fan, your mother is indeed very happy. But the way she looks at me always makes me feel a little weird. It seemed like the more I looked at him, the more satisfied I became. In the end, he still felt that he seemed to have become a treasure in Wen Chanqing's eyes. As for the treasure, he didn't know if it was just his illusion. Su Longyu, don't worry, my mother doesn't know about the relationship between us yet, maybe? Speaking of this, Su Longyu's expression looked a little strange, and we changed the topic and started talking about babies. Yi Fan brought the babies into the room. When the little ones saw Su Longyu in the video, they were all delighted and babbled, some even screamed in surprise. It was very lively. Su Longyu was a little confused when she saw 5 babies. In the blink of an eye, I've grown so big. They were so young when she left. It's so big now. Yi Fan, their hair, why are they all growing straight up? Fried lion head. The second baby with the hairy sea urchin head. Grandparents, please give a thumbs up and delete if infringement. Yi Fan explained with a smile. We haven't shaved their hair yet. Their hair won't grow down smoothly when you come back. We'll shave their hair. Shaving their hair is very ceremonial. By then, they'll be able to sit up, and their hair will grow down. Su Longyu smiled and said, so that's how it is. Well, use the photo stone to take a photo of them so that they can see their frizzy hair when they grow up. Yi Fan. Okay. And Yi Fan told Su Longyu the characteristics of each baby. For example, Da Bao can sit and crawl now, and has started to play tricks. He also likes to poke people's faces and eyes. Every time Chen Xuaner is poked, she loses her temper. But she can't bear to hit him. Instead, she says a few words to Da Bao, and Da Bao laughs even more happily. The second baby cannot sit alone yet, but can sit against a chair. Although he cannot crawl, he can move forward, backward, change direction, and even stick his butt out and shake it back and forth. He is very cute. Yi Fan immediately asked Turbio to perform for his mother. Turbio excitedly stuck his butt out and shook it around in circles, which made Su Longyu's heart melt. So cute. It would be cuter if this afro was cut off. San Bao can't crawl yet, but he likes to roll over. He performed somersaults for his mother on the spot. Sibao has recently loved eating her feet and fingers. She has eaten her fingers so much that the skin is broken, and now she eats her feet. At this point, Yifan said, I plan to take good care of her finger-sucking problem, otherwise her fingers will be easily deformed in the future. Su Longyu looked over and saw Sibao holding his legs and gnawing on pig's trotters happily. His mouth full of saliva, he was so happy while gnawing. So cute. Su Longyu? Well, it needs to be managed. I didn't have this habit when I was a child. Yifan. Me, don't have it either. Anyway, he doesn't remember anything. He doesn't remember eating his toes and fingers. Su Longyu asked Wu Bao. Wu Bao still control over. Don't you want to practice lifting your head? At this moment, Wu Bao was lying on the blanket. When he saw Su Longyu, he grinned at her, which was very cute. 5 babies are so cute. Please give a thumbs up. Please delete if infringement. Through the treatment of King Cao Dan, Wu Bao is now a normal baby. Yifan. Well, don't look at her as lazy, she is smart. As he spoke, Yifan told Su Longyu about the cleverness of the little Wu Bao. For example, every time when it was time to feed, and then be the first to feed. When she saw the beautiful toys, before her brothers and sisters could react, she started crying loudly, and then she was the first to choose. Speaking of this, Yifan, the old father, smiled helplessly. Chapter 117 The Empress Gift. On Su Longyu's side, after reluctantly hanging up the message, her beautiful eyes sparkled. She had already thought of what foundation building gift to give Yifan. Yifan will definitely be very happy at that time. When I'm happy, then, her little face turned red. At night, after coaxing the babies to sleep, Yifan took out the 2 rare inscription drawings he earned from Lingbao Pavilion today. His eyes fell on one of the thunderstorm inscriptions. Thunderstorm inscription. Now I have ice-breaking inscription and cyclone inscription. If I master the thunderstorm inscription, can I combine these 3 inscriptions into one and create a more powerful inscription? Because he used the skill of enlightenment on the inscription technique, his mind is very active in the art of inscription and he can think of things that others dare not think of. In the world of immortal cultivation, the 3 attributes of wind, ice and thunder can be combined into the 3 wonders of the earth. Although weaker than the 5 elements of gold, wood, water, fire and earth, it is much stronger than any single one. Because he has mastered 2 rare inscriptions, Yifan has broken through to the 2nd level mid-grade level in inscription attainments. So, it took him 5 days to comprehend this thunderstorm inscription. And he spent another 2 days simplifying the 3rd level thunderstorm inscription into a 2nd level low-grade inscription. Although his current attainment in refining equipment has reached the middle level of the 2nd order, he is just beginning to build his foundation, so it would be more convenient for him to use a lower grade 2nd order spiritual weapon. When using a 2nd level mid-grade spiritual weapon, the magic power used in the battle is too great, and it will be a bit strenuous. Most cultivators in the middle stage of foundation building also use 2nd order low-grade spiritual tools. Only cultivators in the late stage of foundation building will choose 2nd order mid-grade spiritual tools. Yifan did not immediately engrave the thunderstorm inscription on his main spiritual weapon, the Dayan Wuji sword. Instead, he was on the ground, thinking about how to combine the thunderstorm inscription, ice-breaking inscription and whirlwind inscription into one inscription. This took Yifan 10 days. On this day, a golden light flashed in the room, and a very complicated inscription was shining with golden light. Yifan showed a look of joy. It's done. What shall we name you? The 3-in-1 inscriptions must be distinguished from ordinary inscriptions. I'll give you a new category called spiritual patterns. The spiritual patterns composed of thunderstorm, ice-breaking, and whirlwind are called the 3 wonderful spiritual patterns of the earth. Because it was the first time that Yifan conceived the spiritual pattern, he went out and went to the bathroom, took a bath, burned incense, and prayed. After stabilizing his mind, he returned to the room. And he took out his main spiritual weapon, the Dayan Wuji sword. Because he had acquired a lot of 2nd level monster materials some time ago, he forged 4 Dayan Wuji swords. This is the advantage of being a wealthy weapon refiner. One can create multiple natal spiritual weapons. Other cultivators, who had just entered the foundation building stage, would be proud of it. For a long time, if they had a 2nd grade low-grade spiritual weapon, most of them are in the early stages of foundation building, and are still using 1st grade high-grade magical weapons from the key training stage. The Dayan Wuji sword that Yifan took out now had no inscriptions engraved on the sword. Half a day later, Yifan looked at the spiritual patterns flashing on the sword, and then the flashing light faded away. He breathed a sigh of relief with a look of joy on his face. After carving and exploding to great evolution infinite swords, I finally succeeded in carving the 3 wonderful spiritual patterns of the earth on the last sword. It's worthy of being the spiritual pattern I created. It's extraordinary. I have never failed in carving inscriptions before, but I failed twice this time fortunately. I am a wealthy weapon refiner otherwise. Other weapon refiners would have to clear their bankroll to not be able to carve such an inscription. Because a second-level low-grade magic weapon requires 70 or 80 medium-grade spirit stones. This means that he wasted more than 150 medium-grade spirit stones this time. But Yifen didn't feel any pain at all, because the Great Evolution Wuji sword, which was successfully engraved with the 3 wonders of the earth, was incredibly powerful. It was totally worth it. Magic power was poured into it, and the whole sword glowed with blue-purple light. And lightning flashed on the sword, which was very ferocious. With this sword, plus my second-level bodybuilders physique and the Great Evolution sword technique, killing a cultivator in the middle stage of foundation building will be as easy as cutting vegetables. Cool. After refining the spiritual weapon, Yifen prepared to refine the longevity pill. The longevity pill does not exist on the market at all, and only appears occasionally at auctions. He had only seen the longevity pill at the King Shufang auction before, but when the longevity pill appeared at that time, it was for the foundation building stage, and had nothing to do with key cultivating cultivators. When Dee sold him a top-grade first-grade fire control array disc, he also gave him an operating manual for installing the array. Yifen had no basic knowledge of formations. After following the instructions in the manual and placing the formation plate, he still failed to successfully activate the formation. He was helpless. I learned it by watching, but I didn't expect that it would be useless when I put it into practice. No wonder formation ranks first among the 4 arts of cultivating immortals. It is really difficult. You can make money by selling array plates, and you can collect labor fees for setting up array plates. You can also continue to earn labor fees for array maintenance in the future. TSK. It's the same as selling a product in modern times and earning product maintenance fees every year. It's very profitable. After putting away the formation plate, Yifen gave up the idea of refining the longevity elixir here. I left the room and went to see the babies. After Yifen taught Sibao the method of wearing finger gloves for some time, Sibao finally stopped sucking his fingers. If it were in modern times, if you wore the finger gloves, there was a high probability that they would be torn off by Sibao, rendering them useless. But here, Yifen used a small confinement spell to confine the finger gloves to Sibao's thumbs. Sibao couldn't pull them off no matter how hard he tried, so he refused to eat them. Seeing this, Yifen immediately informed Su Longyu of the good news. The new dads and moms all expressed their warm celebration. Time passed quickly, and another 5 days went by. The little seahorse that had not appeared since the last time we entered Tianlang Lake has returned. When they came back, they created a huge wave in Tianlang Lake, like an airship speeding across the lake. Looking at the little seahorse flying back across the lake, Yifen almost didn't recognize this guy. Grown up a lot. It was only about 20 centimeters long before. Very mini. Now, it is as big as a large sea whale, and is estimated to be more than 30 meters long. Huge size. The dragon head and tail became more and more obvious. Break through to the lower level of the second stage. It seems that I got a great opportunity in the lake this time. No wonder I sent a message to go to the lake as soon as I got here. Not bad, not bad. With the second level low-grade underwater monster, I have an extra fighting force. And this monster has Earth-grade bloodline. I wonder if Brother Zon will regret it and want to take the little seahorse back after he finds out about this. Since it was given to me, it belongs to me. Yifen. 10 days later, Yifen received a communication token from Duyi. Tell him that the Zhu family's Jindan ancestor is personally leading the Zhu family's army to the border, and that the hidden genius of the Sang family, who is in the late foundation building stage, has obtained the Jind and spiritual object, the Jindan, and is starting to impact the Jindan realm. The war is about to begin. Chapter 118, Reversal in Fierce Battle. In the following days, Dee sent news intermittently. When the man from the Sang family was trying to reach the golden elixir stage, the Zhu family began to attack the Sang family and break the formation first. Originally, the Zhu family instigated a member of the Sang family to rebel, and used a third-level forbidden breaking talisman inside the Sang family's third-level formation, trying to break the third-level formation from the inside. But it didn't work. And the Zhu family then found out that the Sang family had quietly replaced the clan protection formation and upgraded it to a third-level forbidden formation. This formation can block the terrain of the mountain. Even if someone uses a talisman to break the ban inside, they will not be able to break the formation. It seems that the Sang family also knows that in this situation, someone will become a traitor and turn against them. After failing to dismantle the formation from within, the Zhu family began to break the formation by force. The Zhu family's golden ancestor did not take action immediately, but asked the family's fake Dan Zenren to fight the Sang family's fake Dan Zenli's fake Dan first. The Zhu family has 8 fake Dan masters, and the Sang family, including the Sang family ancestor, has only 4 fake Dan masters in total. However, with the help of 4 foreign players, they can barely compete with the Zhu family in terms of combat power. 16 fake Dans and Ren fought above the Sang family's twin peaks, causing the sky to collapse and the earth to split. The battle between the fake Dans and Ren did not affect the foundation building cultivators and key cultivating cultivators. When the ancestor of the Zhu family saw that the main forces of the Sang family had all been dispatched, he did not kill the ancestor of the Sang family, because he wanted to command the troops to break the Sang family's third-level forbidden formation and stop the genius of the Sang family from breaking through to the golden elixir. As long as the Sang family does not produce a Jindan cultivator, there is no possibility for the Sang family to rise again. The Zhu family also made preparations this time and brought a lot of formation masters. They broke the formation for 3 days and 3 nights. The fake Dans and Ren from both sides also fought for 3 days and 3 nights. Finally, the Zhu family's formation master broke a hole in the Sang family's forbidden formation. In an instant, the Zhu family's momentum soared, and everyone's eyes turned red with excitement. Kill! Most of the Sang family's disciples, hired for an aid, and a small group of monks from the demon hunting team who were rebelling against the Zhu family rushed forward. Both sides started killing indiscriminately. At the same time, there are also those who take advantage of the situation. For example, some of the foreign players, seeing that the Zhu family was powerful and wavering, immediately switched sides and helped the Zhu family kill the Sang family, and their slogans were even louder than those of the Zhu family. As soon as the formation was broken, an Jindan ancestor of the Zhu family immediately located the cave where the genius of the Sang family in the late foundation building stage who was trying to reach the Jindan stage was, and slapped it directly, razing the place to the ground. A cultivator from the Sang family who was trying to reach the golden core stage is dead. Kill! The ancestor of the Zhu family shouted. At this critical moment, suddenly a powerful golden elixir pressure swept in from far away like a tornado. Who dares to act so presumptuously in my Sang family's territory? Pure golden elixir pressure. And he came from outside the Twin Peaks. Not inside the Twin Peaks. All of a sudden, the people of the Zhu family were stunned for a few seconds, and then they saw a ray of light that had been cutting through the sky stop, revealing the true face of a beautiful woman. The woman looked somewhat like Sang Xianyu, but she was more aloof and had an elegant aura like an orchid in a valley. It's Sang Xianyu's great aunt Sang Yan. The Zhu family then realized that the Sang family's previous momentum of striving for the golden core was actually fake. And the genius in the late foundation establishment stage, who was striving for the golden core, was also fake. Everything was just to confuse the Zhu family's golden core ancestor and buy time for the Sang family members, who were really striving for the golden core. A person in the Sang family who was truly striving for the golden core realm was Sang Yan. It was obvious that Sang Yan had successfully formed the golden core outside. As Sang Yan's golden elixir pressure came out, the entire Sang family, who had originally thought that they were going to die this time, as well as the Sang families for an aid and the monks of the demon hunting team, all became more motivated. My Sang family also has a Jindan cultivator. Ancestor Yun Na successfully formed the golden elixir. God bless our Sang family. The Zhu family's Jindan ancestor realized that he had been tricked, and became furious and humiliated. Immediately the two Jindan pressures collided with each other in an instant. Clank, 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 clang. The two Jindan ancestors soared straight into the sky. In addition, along with Sang Yun Na came a group of foreign aides in foundation building and key training. Seeing this, many of the defectors quietly changed into robes and headed towards the Zhu family, shouting, "Zhu thief, die!" The scene was extremely chaotic. Yi sent a message to Yi Fan, "Fellow Taoist Yi, the Zhu family and the Sang family are evenly matched. This is the best time for us casual cultivators to fish in troubled waters. I sincerely suggest that you come over. You will definitely reap a great harvest." After Yi sent this message, he never sent any more messages. I guess he has no time to slack off. Yi Fan looked at the time and said, "The fight is almost over now, let's go take a look." The babies were left to Chen Xuaner's care, and he stepped on the seahorse and headed towards the Twin Peaks where the Sang family was. Jianglang Lake is a very large lake, and it is connected to the Mojiang River, which stretches for tens of thousands of miles and flows through the Twin Peaks. The seahorse, which was already a second-level monster, was galloping swiftly across the Tianlang Lake, scaring the monsters under the water so that they retreated in panic. Yi Fan did not let I go to the Twin Peaks immediately, but stopped at another mountain which was close to the Twin Peaks. Even though he was far away from the Twin Peaks, he could see flames rising to the sky over there, all kinds of magic weapons and spiritual tools colliding, mountains being raised to the ground and so on. When watching fantasy animations, Yi Fan had seen many battle scenes, but nothing could have made the chaos of this war as real as seeing it in person. He left the seahorse behind and climbed to the top of the mountain alone. The scene seen at the top of the mountain is more intuitive. The Twin Peaks have been beaten to pieces. The Sang family has suffered heavy losses this time. However, the Sang family actually changed to a better third-order forbidden formation at this time, and another family member formed a golden elixir, And there is also a powerful external aid of the level of fake elixir. It should be the Yan family who is helping them in secret. Otherwise at this time, the casual cultivator Jiadan would not openly help the Sang family fight against the Zhu family. The Sang family has done a good job. At such a critical moment, someone really formed a golden elixir. At the Zhu family camp, Zhu Changwu, who had come back from a halftime break after being exhausted from the battle, called over 3 members of the Zhu family who were in the middle to late stages of foundation building. Zhu Chanxi poured tea for Zhu Changwu. Uncle Wu, have some tea. Zhu Changwu took a sip of tea, and then said to the other 3 disciples in the middle and late stages of foundation building seriously, the Sang family has changed from being a soft bone to a hard bone. There must be other immortal cultivation families who have a grudge against our Zhu family behind this. But this time we must conquer the Sang family, otherwise, how can our Zhu family keep its dignity? Xiao Hong, Zhennan, Cheng Chao, the 3 of you go and kill Sang Xianyu. A new generation genius of the Sang family, he was do it in secret. Sang Xianyu is now an inner disciple of the Li Huo sect. If we fail to capture the Sang family this time, she is very likely to become the second person in the Sang family to form a golden elixir. Now is the best time to kill her. They cannot kill Sang Xianyu at normal times, but after this battle, no matter the Sang family is there or not, they cannot openly kill Sang Xianyu, otherwise they will be hunted down by the Li Huo sect. As long as Sang Xianyu is alive, she is a time bomb for their Zhu family, but now is the best time to kill Sang Xianyu in a melee. As long as it is done secretly, even if the Li Huo sect knows that Sang Xianyu died in the war between the 2 clans, they will not be able to say anything, because the sect has never cared about the conflicts between the aristocratic families. Zhu Tianxi immediately volunteered, Uncle Wu, let me go. A female cultivator in the early stage of foundation building, I am capable of killing her by myself. Chapter 119 Shocked. This peachwood sword is really awesome. After Zhu Tianxi's arm was cut off by Chen Xuaner, he was unable to recover and his blood and qi were greatly depleted. He had no hope of achieving the golden elixir in this life. In addition, he was unable to leave offspring, and had long been kicked out of the competition for the young master of the Zhu family. Now, he just wanted to make a contribution. If he could make great contributions in this battle and kill Sang Xianyu, he would be very likely to obtain the 3rd level demon pill given by his family and break through to the fake pill realm. Since there was no hope of making the golden elixir, he also wanted to make the fake elixir. As for Yi Fan, he changed his appearance and turned into an ordinary male cultivator at the 9th level of key training. Although now, killing ordinary mid-stage foundation building warriors is as easy as cutting vegetables for him, the mid-stage foundation building warriors of the Zhu family may have a trump card, so it will be a bit difficult to kill them. If that's the case, why bother fighting against the foundation building cultivators? It would be good enough to kill the key training cultivators. He transformed into a streak of light and fled towards the key training bureau. Soon he saw a man from the Zhu family who had reached the peak of key training, chasing after 5 independent cultivators. The months of the Zhu family wear the same Zhu family robes and are easy to identify. Yi Fan picked up a first-grade, top-quality broadsword engraved with a thunderstorm inscription and slashed forward. In an instant, a bolt of thunder fell from the sky. The Zhu family's weapon-refining cultivator who had reached the great perfection was so frightened that he immediately used his defensive magic weapon. However, before he could see clearly who was attacking him, he was killed by Yi Fan with a single blow. Yi Fan looked at the charred hole that was cut in half by the big knife. He used his magic power to suck the storage bag of the cultivator from the Zhu family into his palm. It feels so good to kill the enemy with one move. It feels like one hit 999 when playing games. Yi Fan was about to leave when suddenly, 5 figures turned back and stopped him. These 5 people were the 5 wandering cultivators who had just been hunted down by the cultivator from the Zhu family. 2 of them were at the 8th level of key training, and 3 were at the middle stage of key training. Leading the group was a burly man. He looked at Yi Fan, frowned and said unhappily, "My fellow Taoist, we deliberately led the Zhu family cultivator here to kill him. If you kill him, can you each take half of this storage bag?" The reason why each of them gets half is because Yi Fan is at the 9th level of key training. Otherwise, they would just kill people and steal the treasure. As the Zhu family and the Sang family were evenly matched in the fight, many casual cultivators nearby transformed themselves into robbery cultivators and sneaked in here to fish in troubled waters. Some wore cologne, while others fight in small gangs. As to whether the small gangs will unite or kill each other in the end, it all depends on God's will. Every big melee is like the door to a treasure trove opening wide. A cultivator who has no chance to build a foundation may even get an incredible opportunity in this battle. Build a foundation successfully and start a large foundation building family from then on. Yi Fan, get lost. A burly man and another female cultivator at the 8th level of key training looked at each other and instantly rushed towards Yi Fan. There are 2 of them at the 8th level of key training and 3 at the middle stage of key training. They still don't believe that they can't kill a man at the 9th level of key training. And the result is, they really can't kill it. Not only could he not kill them, the burly big man and the female cultivator at the 8th level of key training were both killed on the spot by Yi Fan with just one sword. The 3 mid-stage key training monks were so frightened when they saw this that they immediately knelt on the ground and voluntarily handed over all their spoils. Please spare my life, senior. This is definitely a great foundation building expert who concealed his strength and sneaked into their key training bureau. Wipe. I was wrong. The 2 bosses were dead, and the 3 of them could only kneel down and beg for mercy. Yi Fan, get lost. He has no homicidal habit. The 3 of them immediately rolled out of Yi Fan's sight with urine and buttocks streaming down their backs, and then ran away wildly. After putting away the 5 storage bags, Yi Fan wiped off the restrictions on the storage bags and probed his spiritual sense into the 5 storage bags. TSK. No wonder DE keeps sending messages asking me to come over, he's really fat. These 5 people are just casual cultivators at the key training stage normally. If they have 3 spirit stones in their storage bags, they are considered wealthy. Now with 5 storage bags, they have harvested a total of 100 low-grade spirit stones, 10 storage bags, and a small pile of elixirs, talismans, and formation plates. It seems that this small group has killed many monks from the 2 clans. Because the robes in the storage bag include those from the Zhu family and the Sang family. It's easier to become rich by becoming a tribulation cultivator. No wonder all the casual cultivators can switch to tribulation cultivator in an instant. After throwing the 5 storage bags into the storage ring, he probed his spiritual sense into the storage bag of the Zhu family member who had reached the great perfection of key training. TSK. There's actually a second grade foundation building pill in there. I'm rich. No wonder this small group dared to plot against the Zhu family's key training perfection. Although there are only 10 spirit stones, there are actually 3 second-level talismans. There are more pills to replenish tea and blood. It seems that the Zhu family has distributed very generous supplies to a group of family elites in order to destroy the Sang family this time. It's so cool to kill people and steal treasures. Bah! I'm just doing justice for the heavens. Yi Shuji, who was doing justice for the heavens, was having a great time killing people in the key training bureau. Suddenly, the entire sky seemed to be stained with blood, and a cry of pain that pierced the sky exploded above the heads of the monks. No, it's impossible. This is the voice of the Zhu family's Jindan ancestor. Yi Fan jumped to the highest hill nearby in an instant, and saw in the distant sky that there was a bloody hole as big as a fist on the chest of the Zhu family's Jindan ancestor. And blood was dripping continuously. The ancestor of the Zhu family covered his wound in pain, trying to repair the bloody hole. His face was full of disbelief. Sang Yun Na, who was standing opposite the Zhu family's golden core patriarch and floating in the air, looked holy and radiant. Her voice was transmitted through a special spell so that people fighting everywhere could hear it. How can you guys know the background of my Sang family? Inwardly, I didn't expect that this disposable peachwood sword, which my family had bought with 300 mid-grade spirit stones and to 3rd-tier rare inscriptions, could actually have the effect of ignoring the defense of the Zhu family's Jindan ancestor. When I suddenly attacked Zhu Xuandi, the ancestor of the Zhu family, I ignored the 3rd-level defensive robe that Zhu Xuandi was wearing and the defensive shield surrounding his body, and directly pierced Zhu Xuandi's chest with one sword. Deal a heavy blow to Zhu Xuandi. Unfortunately, this is a disposable spiritual weapon. If it was a complete spiritual weapon, she would definitely be able to kill the bullying old thief Su this time. And he asked Sang Liuan to find the fellow Taoist who sold this peachwood sword. There is a high probability that the other party has valuables on him. Moreover, he must have a grudge against the Zhu family, otherwise he would not sell such a powerful disposable spiritual weapon to the Sang family at such a mysterious time. At this moment, above the clouds at a certain distance from the Twin Peaks, a 4th-order flying boat is hovering here. On the flying boat, Wen Chan King and Shi Shaaben were drinking tea. Wen Chan King let out a soft sound. Then, Wen Chan King curled her lips and smiled slightly. Interesting. That 2nd-grade inferior peachwood sword was able to hit Zhu's golden elixir hard and ignore the defense of Zhu's golden elixir. This reminded her of the robe engraved with the broken blade inscription that Chen Chuaner gave her last time. Then, he swept his spiritual sense. She laughed again. Sure enough, Yi Xiaoyu was present. Chapter 120. Yi Fan, when did I get a concubine? When Chan King looked at Shi Shaaben, who was sitting opposite her, and said, Shaaben, what do you want from Chuaner's future husband? Shi Shaaben? I haven't thought about it yet. Suddenly she thought of something and asked Wen Chan King with a strange look on her face, Chan King, what do you want from your Yuyu's husband? If you think about it carefully, Yi Fan is a handsome man that is rare to see. It's the kind that will leave a deep impression on her even after she sees it. In addition, her fertility is very strong just by practicing key cultivation. Su Lonyu, who has reached the golden core stage, and give birth to 5 treasures in one pregnancy, This has never been seen before even in the entire southern region's immortal cultivation world. And those 5 little babies look really cute. Although Yifan's qualifications are a bit poor. He only has the qualifications of a middle-grade spiritual root, but their Lanyu sect has an outstanding successor, Sulongyu, so it is not a big deal if the son-in-law's qualifications are a little poor. What's more, since Yifan could make Sulongyu pregnant and give birth to a child, he must have a special position in Sulongyu's heart. If the Su family forcibly separates the two, it might affect Sulongyu's advancement to the nascent soul stage and her state of mind. When Chan King was stunned for a moment, then laughed and said, "My Yuyu's husband? I have never thought about it either. Yuyu is devoted to Taoism and has never been interested in the mundane affairs of fellow Taoists. Shisha then, well, I really have no interest in it. I have already secretly found a Taoist partner and given birth to quintuplets. I just want to ask you if you are surprised or not." When she learned this secret, she was really shocked. "It seems that you really can't judge people by appearances. Look, how good is your own daughter? Although she seems to be playful and mischievous, at least she didn't find herself a son-in-law who is at the key training stage and has poor spiritual root aptitude. And she didn't secretly give birth to a child outside." Thinking of this, Shisha then, who had been suppressed by Wen Chan King for 19 years, finally stood up. Feeling superior. Seeing the sense of superiority revealed by Shisha then, Wen Chan King moved her lips, but finally thought about it and decided to give up and not say anything. After all, Chuan'er gave herself a set of robes. Yi Xiaoyu helped me earn for more medium-grade spirit stones. What a wonderful couple they are. It would be such a bad scene to let Shisha then break them up at this time. With Yi Xiaoyu's clever brain, given some time, he might be able to break through to the golden core stage. Or even become a third-rank weapon refiner or inscription master. Even with Chen Chuan'er, that's possible. Give this little guy some time to build up his strength. Who knows, it might lead to a happy marriage. When the two of them become Taoist partners in the future, Chen Chuan'er will invite her, a considerate elder, to sit in the chairman's seat. Yifan sensed a powerful spiritual consciousness sweeping past him. I don't know who it is. Maybe some Jindan? It looks like there's a powerful person watching the fight nearby. Then Yifan sneezed again and touched his nose. Who is talking about me? Could it be that you are dissatisfied with the comfortable life I am having in the Key Training Bureau? Yifan knew when to stop and left the Key Training Bureau. After all, one strike of 999 swords was boring after chopping for a long time. So he prepared to find a hilltop to observe the situation. Now that the Zhu family's Jindan ancestor had been successfully backstabbed by him with a peachwood sword, the Sang family was in high spirits. The Zhu family will inevitably counterattack more fiercely. When Yifan was flying his flying sword low over a forest, he happened to see a woman in an emerald green flying Dunhuang robe covering her chest and spitting blood on the ground not far away. After taking a look, Yifan withdrew his gaze and continued walking forward. "Fellow Taoist, wait a minute," the woman called out to Yifan. "Yifan, what's the matter?" The woman was none other than the green fairy Sangxianyu. "Sangxianyu, my fellow Taoist. I am an inner sect disciple of the Li Chual sect. Can you give me a hand? I will definitely reward you handsomely after you successfully escape from the pursuit." Yifan did not reply, but instead made a spell to increase the speed of the flying sword. It turned into a beam of light and flew away to the west, quickly leaving the battlefield. Sangxianyu spat out blood again. Zhu Tianxi, who had rushed to the scene, was in a good mood when he saw that a key training level 9 cultivator did not save Sangxianyu but chose to escape instead. Otherwise, he wouldn't mind killing one more person. However, not long after Yifan escaped, 2 beams of light, one green and one blue, chased after him at a high speed in the direction he left. The sound of wind rushing by. Immediately afterwards, the Sangxian jade fell in front of Yifan. The blue escape light also intercepted in front of Sangxianyu, revealing the figure of Zhu Tianxi. "Sangxianyu, don't run away, it's useless. Today, you will definitely die." The ancestor of the Sang family who had just entered the golden elixir stage actually seriously injured the ancestor of their Zhu family if he killed Sangxianyu, the future golden elixir of the Sang family. Today, it would definitely be a great achievement. Yifan received the message from Sangxianyu. "Sangxianyu, Daoyu, you are so cruel. I am so seriously injured, and you don't have the slightest sympathy for me. Fellow Taoist, as long as you help me escape from danger today, I will owe you another favor. In total, I owe you 2 favors. The sachet on your waist is very unique." Yifan. Wipe. Sangxianyu recognized him. He looked down at the sachet Sulongyu had given him, which was pinned to his as they hadn't taken it off when he changed into his robes. "Sangxianyu, Daoyu, in addition to owing you 2 favors, I will also give you 2 drawings of the Sang family's secret treasure. The 3rd-level rare inscriptions. How about that?" Yifan, not really. He had already comprehended one of the 2 inscriptions. Zhang Jianyu looked at Zhu Tianxi. Her beautiful face was as cold as snow. Zhu Tianxi. It seems you don't know that I am Yifan's concubine. If you dare to kill me today, Yifan will definitely help me avenge and kill you in the future. Even destroy your entire Zhu family. Even Queen Yama is afraid of Yifan's master, so I ask you if you are afraid. Have you forgotten who cut off your arm? How dare you come and kill me? Who gave you the guts? Yifan. It turned out to be the scheming woman he knew. Never changed. Playing tricks again. No wonder the Zhu family fell into such a big trap this time. In addition to their own peachwood sword, it is also closely related to the scheming of the Sang family from top to bottom. How could the Zhu family have imagined that the Sang family not only quietly changed the clan protection formation, but also staged a fake foundation building inside to impact the golden elixir? When the real foundation building outside to form the golden elixir. Sang Xianyu sent a message to Yifan again. Sang Xianyu, Dao Yu, how about the second level talisman inheritance? Yifan didn't reply. Sang Xianyu, a special puppet control technique that can turn monsters, plants, and even cultivators into puppets. This secret technique can be practiced to the third level. Yifan, special puppet control technique, plus the secret method used by your Sang family's ancestor to form a golden elixir. Yi told him that the cultivator in the late foundation building stage hidden by the Sang family had a top-grade spiritual root. But the qualifications of the above-grade spiritual roots, the probability of successfully forming a golden elixir is extremely low in the world of immortal cultivation in the southern region, so Sang Yunna was to have some unique secret techniques or experiences, and these must be secrets that are not passed on to outsiders. However, as a seed genius of the future generation of the Sang family, Sang Jingyu should have no problem getting this secret method. Chapter 121. Sang Xianyu is shocked. Yifan, you have established your foundation. Sang Xianyu, okay? Yifan, give me the special puppet control technique first. Sang Xianyu threw a jade slip to Yifan. Yifan's consciousness invaded the jade slip and confirmed that the inheritance was intact and there was nothing wrong with it. Then he transmitted the message. Secret method. Sang Xianyu, I don't have it now, but the new Jindan ancestor of our Sang family is my great aunt. It will be no problem for me to get this secret method of Jindan. As long as fellow Taoist Yi helps me get rid of Zhu Tianxi's pursuit, I can swear to my inner demon that I will send this secret method to you within 2 years. Yifan, 2 months. Sang Xianyu, okay? And Sang Xianyu made a vow to her inner demon. Zhu Tianxi did not take any action at this time, as he was also weighing the pros and cons. From the information about Yifan obtained before, it does show that Lingbao Pavilion has a good relationship with Yifan. When Lingbao Pavilion and Wanqi Pavilion were fighting, they publicly announced that they were on good terms with Yifan. Now Sang Xianyu actually said that she was Yifan's concubine. A dignified inner sect disciple of the Lihuo sect openly said that she was Yifan's concubine. Which should be 99 true. While feeling jealous of Yifan in his heart, Zhu Tianxi slapped the back of his head again. In this melee, even the Lihuo sect is not afraid of killing Sang Xianyu, so why should they be afraid of Yifan? I was really shocked by Sang Xianyu. He immediately snorted coldly. Yifan is nothing, he is only in the early stage of foundation building, although he may have a master in the late Jindan stage behind him. But who among these Jindan ancestors is not hundreds of years old? Who doesn't have hundreds of disciples under him? Yifan is just a disciple under his master. No matter how favored he is, will his master still care about his disciples' concubines? Stop bluffing, Sang Xianyu, you are destined to die in my hands today. Our Zhu family has already set up a spiritual consciousness isolation formation in this area. So don't even think about sending a communication talisman flying out. If you die here today, neither Yifan nor the Lihuo sect will know who killed you. After all, it's normal for a cultivator in the early stage of foundation building to die in a war between two clans. Zhu Tianxi did not delay any longer and immediately rushed towards Sang Xianyu with the Liu Guang knife in his hand. As for Yifan next to him, he did not take him seriously as just a 9th level key training cultivator. Sang Xianyu had seen Yifan, who was only in the middle stage of key training, kill Black Evil, one of the 3 evils who was half a step away from building a foundation. Now that Yifan's cultivation has reached the 9th level of key training, with his assistance, it would not be a problem for him to kill Zhu Tianxi, who is in the late stage of foundation building, and escape from Zhu Tianxi. But the experience of fighting against the enemy before, Sang Xianyu did not hide his strength to trick Yifan. This time he immediately took a pill, and his blood and energy instantly surged. He controlled the flying sword to attack Zhu Tianxi, and quickly retreated himself. Create some distance between yourself and Zhu Tianxi. Yifan flashed to a distance 1 step ahead and released the first-grade top-grade blue wolf monster puppet that he had refined some time ago. Sang Xianyu took the lead in the attack, while Yifan and King Lang restrained Zhu Tianxi. Yifan fought very easily, and while fighting he observed the situation of the green wolf puppet. This was the first time he made a monster puppet that could participate in battle. Write down the advantages and disadvantages of the green wolf in combat one by one, so that you can make the best use of its strengths and avoid its weaknesses the next time you refine a green wolf puppet. It is true that practice makes perfect. As for killing Zhu Tianxi, he can do it alone, because there is a first-grade top-quality white jade centipede lurking underground. And in the Mo River not far away, there is also a second-grade seahorse that can't wait to join the battle, and he has many treasures given to him by Su Longyu in his hands. However, he would not be so impulsive as to take the lead and expose all his cards. The experimental data of the paddling recording puppet is quite good. Anyway, he is just a cultivator of the 9th level of key training now. Being able to restrain Zhu Tianxi, who was in the late stage of foundation building, was already a great effort. As for the rest, we'll talk about it after that scheming woman, Sang Xianyu, has used up all her cards. Although Zhu Tianxi is in the late stage of foundation building, because Chen Chuaner broke one of his arms, he suffered a serious loss of energy and blood, and because he lost an arm, he was not as swift as before in fighting. The combat power is roughly equal to the middle and late stages of foundation building. After the explosion of ki and blood, Sang Xianyu's aura suddenly improved to the middle stage of foundation building at the cost of losing his lifespan, and he was assisted by Yifan in a first-grade top-grade blue wolf monster puppet. There is a faint trend of gaining the upper hand. Seeing this, Sang Xianyu became more and more courageous. She immediately sent a message to Yifan and added 10 Zero Spirit Stones, asking Yifan to stop slacking off and to assist her, so that they could work together to kill Zhu Tianxi. Yifan. The woman changes so quickly. Before she just wanted to escape, but now she wants to kill Zhu Tianxi. It just so happened that he had almost finished observing the blue wolf monster. Besides, Zhu Tianxi had always had a grudge against him over a shop in high-end imitation robes. Immediately, Yifan stopped slacking off and used the second-grade inferior rate needle technique. Zhu Tianxi, who was fighting fiercely with Sang Xianyu, only heard the sound of breaking air. He first blocked Sang Xianyu's attack, and then tried to block the long needles coming from 8 places. There was a long needle that he failed to block, but he didn't care. After all, it was just a hidden weapon thrown by a 9th level key training cultivator, not to mention hurting him. It couldn't even break his defense. However, what he didn't know was that Yifan's 8-needle not only had the blade-breaking inscription that ignored the mid-stage Jindan cultivators, but also had the thunderstorm inscription, and was also coated with Xiaobie's venom. Xiaobie's venom, which has advanced to the first-grade superior quality, can poison the foundation building cultivators. Although the impact on the middle and late stages of foundation building will be reduced, it will still have a certain stun effect. After Zhu Tianxi was hit by a needle, he screamed. He didn't expect that the needle hit him, and he was bounced out by his defensive magic shield before he got close. Immediately afterwards, the place where the needle was injected felt like it was struck by lightning, and the skin and flesh were torn apart. The wound was charred black. While feeling the pain, Zhu Tianxi also felt dizzy. The next moment, an obsidian soul-binding net covered him. How is that possible? What the hell is this magic weapon? No, this is a spiritual weapon. Zhu Tianxi, whose whole body was burning from the corroded dark green aura of the soul-binding net, had a face twisted in pain, and his eyes, as big as copper bells, stared at the male cultivator who was only at the 9th level of key training and whom he had always looked down upon. This male cultivator is actually a foundation building cultivator. Otherwise it would be impossible to have enough magic power to control the spiritual weapon. Spiritual weapons can only be used by monks who have established their foundation. Sang Xianyu was also extremely shocked. She never thought that Yifan had already established his foundation. It has only been 1 year since Yifan reached the 6th level of key training. Once again, she secretly thanked her lucky stars that she and Yifan did not become enemies. Immediately her face lit up with joy, and she tried to take advantage of the situation by throwing all her second-level fireball tailmisnums, ice tailmisnums, thunderstorm tailmisnums, and other offensive tailmisnums and spells at Zhu Tianxi, who was caught in the obsidian soul binding. Zhu Tianxi let out a wild roar that made his scalp numb. His entire body was glowing with blood. His aura instantly surged, burning with the power of his soul. His cultivation quickly reached the great perfection of the late stage of foundation building. The black net was instantly torn apart by his hand and thrown aside. A pair of bloodshot eyes filled with black energy stared at Yifan intently. You've pushed me to this point. You can die gloriously. Yifan, really? Chapter 122. A slightly weird woman. Just when Yifan was about to take action, Sang Xianyu floated in front of him and sent him a message. Sang Xianyu, fellow Taoist Yi, I miscalculated. I didn't expect Zhu Tianxi to have such a powerful backup plan. My strength in the middle stage of foundation building can no longer be maintained. You should leave immediately. If I die here, this is a token of my love. If the Sang family is still around, you can take it to them and they will honor their promise. As she spoke, Sang Xianyu handed Yifan a jade tablet with a picture on it. Then, he knocked Yifan away with a palm and rushed towards Zhu Tianxi, who was attacking him. Clank clank clang. Want one of you to escape? No way, both of you will die here today. Zhu Tianxi snorted angrily and threw out a talisman in his hand. There was a small sword drawn on the talisman under the guidance of his magic power. The small sword on the talisman flew out from the talisman in an instant, turned into a stream of light, and chased after Yifan. This is a talisman. It was created by Jindan Zhenreng using his own life magic weapon, and it has some of the power of a magic weapon. Upon seeing this, Sang Xianyu roared, quickly made hand gestures, and moved as fast as a ghost to catch up with Fu Bao and intercept him. If she had not been too risky at the time and changed her plan of escaping to killing Zhu Tianxi, with Yifan's strength in the early stage of foundation building, the two of them would have escaped. Yifan also has 5 babies in King Long Immortal City. Thinking of the 5 cute little guys she saw at first sight, and Yifan who always surprised her, she suddenly felt a little guilty and didn't want Yifan to die here with her. Sang Xianyu's strength in the middle stage of foundation building was weakening. Finally, the talisman penetrated Sang Xianyu's defense, pierced Sang Xianyu's left chest, turned around, and flew back to the talisman in front of Zhu Tianxi. Mulberry Fairy Jade Battle damaged Green Fairy infringement deleted. Zhu Tianxi, Sang Xianyu, as Yifan's concubine. You are doing this for another man. Aren't you afraid that Yifan will be sad if he sees you? I think the one who would like you to die the most is Yifan. You must have cheated on him. And I'll help you. I'll kill you first, then kill your lover. And let the two of you go to hell together, and become a pair of ghostly lovebirds. I think when Brother Yi learns this news, not only will he not blame me, but he will also thank me for helping him get revenge. Sang Xianyu spat out several mouthfuls of blood and smiled. Zhu Tianxi, you will never feel the taste of love in your life, because you are already a disabled person. Zhu Tianxi was furious. Ever since he was cut off from having any children or grandchildren, he hated people mentioning this matter the most. Immediately, he focused all his attention on Sang Xianyu, and confronted the dying Sang Xianyu again with the Liu Guang knife in hand. In the distance, Yifan watched this scene. Yifan, why is it so sensational? Isn't this scheming woman very selfish? But at hiding her cards, and always thinking about taking advantage of others. Is this a sign of conscience? He also deliberately attracted Zhu Tianxi's firepower to buy him time to escape. But when did he ever say he wanted to escape? And this Zhu Tianxi, damn it. Naturally, he would not spare the life of someone who wanted to kill him, especially when there was an opportunity. After Zhu Tianxi killed Sang Xianyu, the time for burning the power of his soul ended. And his cultivation level fell back to the middle and late stages of foundation building. Moreover, due to the burning of his soul, his blood and energy were even more depleted. However, it was still more than enough for him to kill someone in the early stage of foundation building. After spitting out a mouthful of blood, he was about to chase in the direction where Yifan left. Suddenly, a powerful spiritual pressure of the middle stage of the golden core came over, and then a figure came from afar and appeared in front of him in an instant. He had just used his defensive magic weapon when the opponent swung his sword at him from above. Suddenly a strong wind swept up with purple thunder, bringing with it an icy chill, and a sword split his defensive light shield and spiritual weapon. A golden line appeared on his body, from the top of his head, to the center of his eyebrows, to his lips, to his neck. Then he was split in half. Until his death, he couldn't believe that he actually saw the Queen of Hell. When he could have made a great contribution by killing Sang Xianyu, he was killed by Queen Yama with a single sword. I'm not willing to accept this. Even though he was extremely unwilling, he could only close his eyes and die. This Queen of Hell is Yifan. After using the Mask of Change, Yifan chose to kill Zhu Tianxi by cutting him in half to prevent Zhu Tianxi from doing anything wrong again. The cultivator was split into 2 halves from the top of his head, and his soul C and DNTN were both severed unless he was a Jindan or Yuan Ying cultivator. Even with all kinds of secret techniques, he would be powerless to save the situation, and the only result would be death. After killing Zhu Tianxi, Yifan picked up the talisman that had lost its owner's control and fell to the side, and threw Zhu Tianxi, his body, the Liu Guang knife and other things into an empty storage bag. Corpses are the main material for making human puppets. When he was about to throw the Sang Xian jade into another storage bag, he found that he couldn't throw it in. Suddenly, his consciousness sensed the Orish of the Fakeden realm approaching. He picked up the Sang Xianyu and quickly fled. He had just escaped for a few breaths when Zhu Chengwu, who was at the Fakeden realm, arrived at the scene. He discovered the fighting spirit of Zhu Tianxi left here, but did not see Zhu Tianxi. Suddenly, he looked in the direction where Yifan escaped and was about to chase him. He sensed a powerful pressure from a middle Jindan realm and saw a frighteningly familiar figure. He braked immediately. Queen Yama. Why is she here? It's better not to offend this Yama. Suddenly he turned around and fled quickly in the direction away from Yifan. He was afraid that if he was late, he would violate the taboo of Queen Yama for some inexplicable reason and be killed by her. Seeing that the fake Dan behind him did not catch up, Yifan quickly fled the battlefield with Sang Xianyu, who was dead but could not be thrown into the storage bag. However, when he reached the outskirts of the battlefield, he sensed that there was a second-level enemy trapping formation covering an area of hundreds of miles. Unable to get out, he directly used the second-level forbidden breaking talisman given to him by the Zhu family, broke a gap, and quickly left the battlefield. In this battle between the Sang and Zhu families, it seems that more than half of the independent cultivators who entered to fish in troubled waters will die. He rode his flying sword hundreds of miles away from the Sang family twin peaks and stopped at a canyon beside the Mo River. Throw the Sang's Jade on the ground. The seahorse emerged from the river. Xiaobiye also crawled out from the ground, and then spit out 5 or 6 storage bags towards Yifan, and then turned into a white jade centipede the size of a small snake, and crawled onto Yifan's arm, acting cute to Yifan to see credit. Yifan touched its little head lovingly and fed it to soul-feeding pills. After Xiaobiye took the soul-feeding pill, he looked provocatively at the seahorse that was drooling on the surface of the river. The seahorse was stunned at first, and was provoked to the point of rolling around on the surface of the river, stirring up the thousands of waves. It seemed to be saying, "Master, I want to fight too and help you grab the storage bag." Yifan was amused by its childish nature. In fact, the seahorse was not very old, just 1 or 2 years older than Xiaobiye. For a monster, this lifespan still meant that it was just a monster cub, similar to a 2 or 3-year-old baby in the human race. After Yifan fed the seahorse a soul-feeding pill, he let the 2 little creatures play by themselves. Then he examined Sang Xianyu's body. There's something strange about this woman. Chapter 123, A Rich Harvest, Becoming Rich Overnight. According to the severity of his previous injuries, Sang Xianyu should have been dead. There was no heartbeat or breathing, but I couldn't throw it into the storage bag many times. Yifan used his spiritual sense to carefully scan Sang Xianyu's body and found that her spiritual sense had not dissipated yet. And now, this woman actually has a heartbeat. Although the heartbeat is weak, it is indeed beating and breathing. A body with all the internal organs severely damaged was actually recovering quietly. There is something strange in this woman's sea of consciousness. Yifan watched Sang Xianyu's body gradually recovering its vitality. He immediately stood up and left quickly. If you are a little more adventurous, you can use your spiritual sense to probe into Sang Xianyu's sea of consciousness and see what is in her sea of consciousness. However, this is too risky, especially since his consciousness is very fragile. If he is not careful, his soul may be wiped out by the powerful soul hidden by the opponent, or he may even be possessed by another body. He had read a lot of fantasy novels before, and there was one novel in which a Yuan Ying demon king wanted to take over the protagonist's body and break into the protagonist's sea of soul, but in the end he was controlled by the protagonist who had a cheat and became a demon servant. Therefore, to be on the safe side, it is better to stay away from Sang Xianyu. That opportunity might be a huge pitfall. He might even lose his life because of it. He now has a wife and children, and life is more important than anything else. As for the transaction with Sang Xianyu, he had killed Zhu Tianxi. After moving to a place far away from the Twin Peaks, Yifan opened up a simple cave and then pasted several amulets on the cave. Then he began to check the spoils. The spoils of war this time were extremely rich in the Key Training Bureau alone. A rough estimate showed that there were items worth more than 20,000 spirit stones. However, most of them were supplies for key cultivating cultivators. Except for the second-level talismans and key and blood pills of the Zhu family's key cultivating master, and the second-level divine movement technique of another key cultivating master he killed. The rest were useless to him, who had already established his foundation. He would find a black market to exchange all these unusable items for spirit stones later. The big boss this time is Zhu Tianxi, a direct descendant of the Zhu family who is in the late foundation building stage. Not only did he pick up Zhu Tianxi's body, but also all the treasures on Zhu Tianxi's body. Take out all of Zhu Tianxi's spoils. A talisman that contains a sword with ice attributes. This is a talisman created by the magic weapon of the Zhu family's ancestor. It still has half of its power. Good. Su Lonyu had given Yifan a talisman before he used the talisman to kill the evil spirit, so he naturally knew how powerful the talisman was. At that time, he was only in the middle stage of key training, and the power of the talisman he exerted was limited. Now he is in the early stage of foundation building, and his liquid magic power and spiritual awareness are close to those of an ordinary middle stage of foundation building. Using talismans can further unleash their power. Then, Yifan picked up Zhu Tianxi's flowing knife. A second-level, mid-grade spiritual weapon, just average. Give it to Zhu Tianxi for his own use when the time comes. Then he opened Zhu Tianxi's storage bag, and a smile appeared on Yifan's lips. Second-level talisman inheritance. second level alchemy inheritance, second level weapon refining inheritance, second level formation inheritance. Hey, isn't this the second level technique divine movement and changes? Ifan flipped through the martial arts manual, then his face looked a little strange, and he took out the book Divine Movement and 100 Changes that he had received from the casual cultivator for comparison. Fuck. Ifan really said fuck. Even though these two books are both second-level body movement skills that allow practitioners to quickly dodge the opponent's attacks and fight more flexibly in battle, the contents of the two books are different. A divine movement and changes, in the hands of the casual cultivator is too simple, while the divine movement and changes, in Zhu Tianqi's hands is more systematic and complete. It is equivalent to the lowest-end version of BBA in the hands of casual practitioners. Whether in the speed of dodging attacks or improving one's own combat flexibility, it is far inferior to the one in Zhu Tianqi's hand. Damn, as expected, not only the modern world is rolling, but also the world of immortal cultivation is rolling. The truly perfect and good skills are all hidden in the immortal cultivation families. What is revealed are the deliberately simplified versions of the major families. How can ordinary cultivators be a match for cultivators from immortal cultivation families? This reminds Yifan of modern general education and elite education. Weakening the opponent makes you appear more powerful, and you can continue to enslave ordinary people. What a thief! If there is some hidden rick in the ordinary skills that are leaked, then ordinary casual cultivators are really miserable. No wonder so many cultivators are scrambling to join the sect. Even if they can't join the sect, they want to join the immortal family. Even if they can only be a son-in-law until 4 reproducing offspring, they are willing to do so. It's really a dimensionality reduction suppression. In addition to the divine movement and changes, Zhu Tianqi's storage bag also contains the secret technique of condensing fake pills. My spiritual roots have already broken through to the middle grade. When Su Lonyu comes back, I will work hard and it will be just around the corner for my spiritual roots to break through to the upper grade. I am still more interested in the secret method used by the Sang family to form a golden elixir with a top-grade spiritual root. Su Lonyu will be a powerful empress in the future. And I have a long lifespan, so my goal must be to condense the golden elixir. Only in this way will I have the opportunity to attack the nascent soul and reach a higher level of cultivation. This secret technique and experience of condensing fake pills are like chicken ribs to me. But it won't stop me from selling them on the black market in exchange for spirit stones. After all, condensing a fake pill is also the lifelong pursuit of many foundation building cultivators. It is difficult to make fake elixirs. And it is even more difficult to make real elixir. 7. The Zhu family, which ranks in the middle of the 7 great families in the southern region, has only one golden elixir ancestor. Ifan took out another book called The Secret Method of Burning Yuan. After opening it and taking a look, there was joy in his dark eyes. This is the secret method that Zhu Tianqi used to burn his lifespan and quickly reach the great perfection of foundation establishment. Moreover, this secret method can only be practiced by the direct descendants of the Zhu family. There is no such secret method of burning lifespan in the world. It seems that it has been controlled by the sects and aristocratic families. For ordinary cultivators, this secret method should never be used unless it is absolutely necessary. After all, cultivators spend their entire lives pursuing immortality. And their lifespan is limited unless it is absolutely necessary. Who would be willing to burn their own lifespan? They would rather extend their lifespan. But this secret method is really wonderful to me. Ifan practiced the King Yuan longevity technique. Every time he reached a higher level in his practice, he could increase his lifespan. He is now only in the initial stage of foundation building, but his lifespan is comparable to that of a Jindan cultivator. Earning a little bit of his lifespan in exchange for a huge increase in cultivation when in desperate situations is very suitable for him. This set of secret techniques can be practiced until the late stage of the golden elixir. Not bad, not bad. In addition to these, there are 200 medium-grade spirit stones, second-level talismans, magic tools, pills, spiritual medicines, spiritual materials, etc. in the storage bag, as well as several quasi-third-level attack and defense talismans, and a set of small second-level beast trapping formation plates that can trap an area of 100 meters. When counting the medicinal materials, Ifan discovered 300-year-old colorful grass, poria cocos and other materials for refining the golden elixir. Chapter 124. This method is more profitable than becoming a robbery cultivator. The golden pill is a spiritual substance that can be taken by a cultivator who has reached the great perfection of foundation establishment to increase the probability of forming a golden pill when he is striving for the golden pill. Zhu Tianqi actually collected 1/6 of the materials needed to refine the golden elixir. Kill the late foundation building cultivator and become rich overnight. However, This time it was also because of the melee between the two clans, and the Zhu family used formations to restrict divine consciousness and transmission tailwisdoms to secretly strangle Sang Jinyu as a result. Zhu Qianxi was unable to pass on any information to the Zhu family until his death. Otherwise, if he killed a late-stage foundation-building cultivator from the direct line of the Zhu family, he would definitely be hunted down by the entire Zhu family and the Zhu family's golden core patriarch. The risk is huge. After packing up, Yifan counted his belongings and found that although the obsidian soul binding net was violently torn apart by Zhu Qianxi, it could still be repaired. However, a first-grade, top-quality blue wolf puppet was completely scrapped and had to be remade. But it doesn't matter. I killed a late foundation building cultivator and only lost a green wolf puppet. It's a huge profit. Then, he took out the special puppet controlling technique given to him by Sang Jianyu, because the system had rewarded him with puppetry before. Although it only allowed him to comprehend the basic puppetry at that time, it stimulated his understanding of puppets. In addition, he has also comprehended weapon refining, inscriptions, Daiyun sword techniques, alchemy, etc., which greatly improved his learning ability and broadened his horizons. 2 hours later, he had comprehended the lower-grade second-order technique of the special puppet controlling technique. His main focus was on how to transform people into puppets, because there is a red-made corpse in hand. Originally, he wanted to pick up the corpse of Sang Jianyu, but Sang Jianyu was not dead and there was something strange about her. This special puppet control technique turns people into puppets. Ordinary people really can't do it. But I can. Because in order to refine a person into a puppet, not only a corpse is needed, but also the most important thing, which is the art of splitting the soul. The soul of the cultivator is split into pieces and injected into the human puppet. In this way, the human puppet can truly be no different from a human being. A method of splitting the soul and spirit is what Yifan happened to practice, and it is the Daiyun sword technique. He has already practiced this sword technique to the 3rd level. The 3rd level allows one to practice the art of splitting the spirit and soul. Now he could just split a piece of his soul and control a puppet. This control is different from the way he controlled puppets before. Before, he only needed to install spirit stones on the puppets and the puppets would operate on their own, which was a bit similar to the robots in science fiction movies. The current puppet control technique is to put one's own soul into the human puppet, so that the puppet not only has human characteristics, but also can practice, just like a living person. This is really fierce. As long as the refining is successful, the skills and techniques he knows can be used by this puppet as long as its body and cultivation level can support it. It's like having an extra clone of yourself. Awesome. Now Zhu Qianxi is a cultivator in the late foundation building stage. As long as he succeeds in refining Zhu Qianxi, he can fully use the skills and techniques he knows. He opened the system panel. His eyes fell on the attainments of puppetry. I found that I only needed to gain another 20,000 experience points to break through to the 2nd level low-grade puppeteer. Immediately, he began to refine skilled puppets for daily use. After 1 day, Yifan's puppetry finally broke through to the lower 2nd level. Take out the materials needed to refine people into puppets. If it were an ordinary day, he would definitely not have so many materials in his hands, but after he looted the key training bureau and killed Zhu Qianxi, he had a lot of materials in his hands, just happened to have all the materials to turn people into puppets. Although Zhu Qianxi was chopped into halves by him, it had no effect on the puppet refining. He could just sew them together. 3 days later, Yifan looked at the humanoid puppet in front of him, which looked exactly like the living Zhu Qianxi, and marveled at the magic of the world of cultivation. This special puppet control technique is truly magical. The Zhu Qianxi refined out of it is indistinguishable from a real person. As long as you are not a cultivator of the faked in level or above, you can't tell that this is a puppet. Afterwards, Yifan used his longevity skills to regrow the puppet's broken right arm at the cost of losing 5 years of his lifespan. Restoring the arm is to enhance the combat power of this puppet. As for the issue of cutting off the family line, Yifan didn't care. Since it won't be used there anyway, there's no point wasting your life. Who knows? In the future there might be some secret technique that requires one to castrate oneself before practicing it, that can be practiced with this puppet. After an instant's stick of time, Yifan controlled Zhu Qianxi to leave the cave and quickly fled towards the Twin Peaks. It was discovered that the battle between the Zhu and Sang families had become increasingly intense. Both sides fought fiercely and brutally, and the scene became even more chaotic. Yifan controlled Zhu Qianxi to blend in. Although the Zhu family had set up a large formation to trap the enemy on the periphery, this formation only allowed entry but not exit. So there was no problem at all for Yifan to enter the formation. After entering, Yifan did not rob or kill the monks. After all, there were better ways to make a fortune, so why bother fighting and killing? Yifan entered the Zhu family camp without any obstruction. Trying your best to avoid the fake elixir smell, you spent half a day figuring out the layout and situation of the Zhu family camp. At night, he went to the material distribution warehouse in Zoo's camp. At the halo of the Zoo family's direct descendant young master, he quickly entered the warehouse and quietly killed the 3 early Foundation building managers in the warehouse. Because there was a fake Dan's and Ren sitting near the warehouse, Fan did not make any big moves and did not stay there for too long. He quickly swept all the spiritual medicines in the warehouse into the storage ring and erased all traces of himself. He then left the warehouse, took a walk, and then walked quickly towards the camp gate. "Mr. Zhu, you just came back and went out again, don't you want to rest for a night?" A guard at the gate of Zoo's camp asked respectfully. Fan just said lightly, then walked away on the flying sword in a haughty manner. Soon afterwards, the Zhu family camp was in chaos. A fake Dan Zenren, who was in charge of guarding the warehouse, was furious. Someone had actually stolen all the elixirs in their Zhu family warehouse right under his nose. Immediately, the fake pill spiritual pressure swept across the area of several thousand meters, and with the family cultivators, quickly strangled all the cultivators who were not from the Zhu family in this range, confiscated all the storage bags. However, the storage bag did not contain the elixir worth more than 50 zero spirit stones that was stolen from their Zhu family. This fake Dan from the Zhu family was confused. Under the nose of this fake Dan Zenren, who was it that quietly killed the 4 early Foundation building managers of the warehouse and stole all the elixirs? The fake Dan Zenren who was in charge of guarding the warehouse was none other than Zhu Mingji, who married Han Kuang from the Han family as his 108th concubine. If the person responsible cannot be found, he must take responsibility. At this moment, Fan, who had swept up the light elixir, had already walked out openly at the exit of the enemy trapping formation where there was no fake Dan Zenren in charge. But the haughty look on his face. "Zhu family, did you see that? Young Master Zhu's broken right arm has grown back. It seems that he got a great opportunity in this battle. I'm so envious. I don't want to sit here and guard the door. I'd also want to go in and fight." Chapter 125 The Empress's Surprise. 3 days later, Fan received news in Maple Leaf Market that the war between the Zhu family and the Sang family ended as the Li Huo sect stepped in to mediate. As a result of the mediation, the Sang family gave up part of the Han family's spiritual vein minerals to the Zhu family and the Li Huo sect. Although the Sang family has produced a Jindan, he has just entered the Jindan stage, so his combat power is limited, and his foundation is not as rich as that of the Zhu family. If the Zhu family really fights a protracted war with the Sang family, the Sang family will be the loser in the end. Because the peachwood sword that the Sang family used to seriously injure the ancestor of the Zhu family was only a disposable magic weapon. However, the ancestor of the Zhu family was really seriously injured this time and needed to stay in seclusion for many years to recuperate. After weighing the pros and cons, he could not afford to continue to fight with the Sang family. In addition, since the Li Huo sect has stepped forward, we have to give them some face. As the mediator, the Li Huo sect did not work in vain and gained some benefits. However, the death rate of the independent cultivators who took advantage of the chaos in the battle between the Zhu and Sang families was extremely high, especially after the Zhu family lost spiritual medicine worth tens of thousands of spirit stones. Zhu Mingji began to send people to kill these independent cultivators. Because of the lost elixirs, Zhu Mingji was responsible for replenishing the corresponding spirit stones. Zhu Mingji naturally wouldn't pay this money, so he would have to draw a lot of money from the independent cultivators to fill this huge hole. The Zhu family was on the large arc returning to their base. Zhu Tianxi's father, Zhu Wanking, who was in the fake Den realm, had not seen Zhu Tianxi, so he went to find Zhu Changwu to ask about the situation. Zhu Changwu had previously sent people to kill Sang Zhenyu, the future golden elixir of the Sang family. Zhu Tianxi volunteered, so he gave this opportunity to Zhu Tianxi. There was no news from the Sang family as to whether Sang Zhenyu was dead or not, but the Li Huo sect did not cause any trouble, so it seemed that Sang Zhenyu was not dead. As for Zhu Tianxi, he always had a bad feeling in his heart. Second Elder. Young Master Zhu left the Twin Peaks 3 days ago, the Foundation establishment cultivator who came with Zhu Changwu reported. He was one of the guards at the exit of the enemy trapping formation when Fan left. The monk added. Before he left, Master Zhu's broken arm had regenerated. Zhu Wanking and Zhu Changwu were surprised when they heard this. Did Zhu Tianxi's broken arm regenerate? They had asked the family's Jindan ancestor to take a look before, but the ancestor shook his head and said that he was powerless unless they could find a Yuan Ying level strong man to help. The broken arm would not be able to grow again. Zhu Wanking is still very sad about this. Because Zhu Tianxi is the most talented, and the most likely to compete for the position of young master of the Zhu family among his many children. But he ended up like this, his broken arm could not regenerate. And there was no hope of achieving the golden elixir. Therefore, he worked very hard in this battle with the Sang family, and his military achievements in killing ranked first among all the fake Den cultivators. He just wanted to avenge his son's broken arm and the extinction of his family line. Zhu Wanking and Zhu Changwu looked at each other and understood the message from each other's eyes. Zhu Qianxi got a great opportunity in this battle and left the battlefield early. I think he went outside to find a spiritual vein temple to consolidate his foundation and prepare for the impact of the golden elixir. Zhu Changwu breathed a sigh of relief. He was also very worried that Zhu Qianxi was killed by Queen Yama, because when he found the place where Zhu Qianxi was fighting, he found Queen Yama who had just left. Fortunately, Zhu Qianxi is not dead and is still alive. Zhu Wanking was very excited and expectant, thinking that when his son came back next time, he would have completed his foundation building and would be able to strive for the golden elixir stage. He had to plan carefully for his son's breakthrough to the golden elixir, and he had to speed up the collection of materials for condensing the golden elixir. On Yifan's side, he called Su Longyu to send a message. Before, Su Longyu asked him to stay in Maple Leaf Market for a few more days, saying that she had to go somewhere on the way and might arrive at King Long Fairy City a few days later. "Wife, I'm going to set off back to King Long Fairy City today," Yifan said. "Su Longyu? Okay." A few days later, Yifan said to Chen Chuaner, who was driving the flying boat, "This is not the direction to King Long Immortal City." Chen Chuaner chuckled. "Your memory is pretty good. Yes, we are going to King Long Immortal City. You will know when you get there." Yifan frowned. What was this witch trying to do? He hadn't seen Su Longyu for several months. Now that he was returning and about to see Su Longyu, he could no longer wait. These past few nights, he lost count of how many times he had dreamed of playing with Su Longyu in bed. In particular, he had read the secret method of Shui's Dantian hundreds of times, and was waiting to meet Su Longyu so that he could discuss this secret method with Su Longyu. Now that he has taken off his pants, Chen Chuaner is driving the flying boat instead of returning to King Long Fairy City. But Chen Chuaner was a witch in the middle stage of the Golden Core realm, and he could not raise his had to send a message to Su Longyu to inform her of the situation. Su Longyu, yeah. When Yifan saw this word, he frowned slightly. This means that his wife knows that Chen Chuaner did not drive the flying boat back to King Long Fairy City? Since his wife knew about this, Yifan no longer had any worries. He immediately immersed himself in his daily life of practicing, accompanying the babies, and video messaging with Su Longyu. Soon, 5 days passed. Chen Chuaner's flashy luxury flying boat sailed across a sea area and stopped over an island. Looking down from above, the island is very vast, and from high altitude, it seems as if there is no end in sight. Below the flying boat was an extremely dazzling sea of flowers. Yifan was confused. Why did Chen Chuaner bring him here? Chen Chuaner, okay, we're her Yifan. You go down, I'll take care of the babies. Yifan, I'll take the babies downstairs. Chen Chuaner, no, you go down alone, hurry up. Don't let me kick you down. Yifan. This is an evil world of cultivating immortals where strength is respected. From chatting with Su Longyu these days, he knew that the great witch Chen Chuaner brought him here not to harm him or the babies. Yifan controlled the flying sword and left the flying boat, his spiritual awareness expanding downwards little by little. After all, it was an unknown area he had never been to, so he was very cautious. Who knows what Chen Chuaner is thinking? She is the famous queen of hell who never plays by the rules. However, he had already guessed it in his heart. Chen Chuaner stood under the flying boat, with her arms folded across her chest, looking at Yifan flying down on his sword with interest. Looking forward to it. I don't know if I can see the uncensored high-definition version. Suddenly, her face looked strange, and finally she turned around and controlled the flying boat, leaving the scene quickly and rushing towards the palace on the highest peak of the island. On Yifan's side, his spiritual sense did not detect any monsters or men-eating plants under the sea of flowers. It's safe below. And Chen Chuaner actually drove the flying boat away. It seems that his guess was correct. When the flying sword flew over the sea of flowers, he jumped off from the sword. It's true. The environment here is very beautiful, with large areas of roses, hydrangeas, crepe myrtles and many varieties he can't even name. The most important thing is that this sea of flowers did not grow randomly, but was probably arranged and cultivated by someone special. Because overall, this sea of flowers does not appear cluttered due to the variety of flowers, but is instead arranged very aesthetically. Walking on the cobblestone path in the sea of flowers, feeling the rich spiritual energy, Yifan felt relaxed and happy. Walking past a wall of flowers, suddenly, his eyes were filled with surprise. It is true. Chapter 126, Triple Surprises, one higher than the other. I saw a stunningly beautiful woman standing in front of the flower wall. The woman had long hair like a waterfall, skin as white as cream, eyes as bright as stars. She was tall with beautiful curves, wearing a gorgeous white fairy dress, light and elegant, like a pure and elegant flower, not like a human woman. The woman turned out to be Su Longyu, whom he hadn't seen for over 2 months. I haven't seen you for more than 2 months, and Su Longyu has become more beautiful again. Her noble and cool temperament, like an orchid in a valley, makes people dare not approach or touch her. Yifan's heart moved and he walked towards her. When Su Longyu saw Yifan, her eyes softened. Yifan, Su Longyu called out Yifan's name softly, her eyes revealing an affection that she herself was not aware of. Her pair of beautiful eyes were fixed on Yifan with a fiery gaze, her arms hanging down at her sides, but she could no longer hold back and wanted to pounce on Yifan. Just because she was afraid of scaring Yifan. She had been trying hard to restrain herself. They haven't seen each other for more than 2 months. Although she could see him through video calls on weekdays, it was not seeing him in person after all. And she couldn't kiss or hug him, but now, Yifan was really standing in front of her. "Wife!" Yifan shouted in his sonorous and powerful voice, then strode up to Su Longyu. He pulled her into his arms and hugged her tightly. "Wife! I miss you so much." Smelling the unique fragrance of Su Longyu, Yifan's voice was gentle. Su Longyu's body trembled slightly and became even stiffer. Yifan pulled Su Longyu away, then looked at Su Longyu with a pair of starry black eyes and said, "Wife, you are so bad. You waited for me here without telling me in advance. Did you want to give me a surprise?" Su Longyu didn't reply, her eyes were always on Yifan's face. Yifan couldn't help himself and reached out to pinch her cheek. Su Longyu came back to her senses. "What did you say?" "Yifan, do you miss me?" Su Longyu lowered her eyelids. Yifan smiled helplessly, put his handsome face in front of Su Longyu, smiled softly and said, "Here, let me kiss you." He has always known that Su Longyu has a reserved and introverted personality. So I cooperated with her very well. Su Longyu looked at Yifan with her watery eyes, and then bit her lower lip lightly. It's like making a big decision. Yifan closed his eyes, allowing Su Longyu to be more bold. Sure enough, the next moment, he felt his lips pressed against a soft pair of lips. The two hadn't seen each other for more than 2 months. They were both newlyweds and had tasted the sweetness of love when they met again. They were like dry firewood and dry wood. Originally, Yifan planned to be gentler and let Su Longyu take the initiative. After all, he knew that the Empress loved to take the initiative. However, after they really kissed, he could no longer control his inner desire for Su Longyu for more than 2 months. He took the initiative and pressed Su Longyu against the flower wall. He grabbed her hands with one hand and lifted them up so that he could kiss her better. Heavy rain. As for his original idea of exchanging the Taoist methods of water cave heaven, at this moment, he had already forgotten about it. Only the original thought remains. In a sea of pink flowers, petals float in the wind, sinking and floating in the air, following the pace of the summer breeze. Sometimes the wind sounds loud and sometimes it sounds gentle and low. The petals spun together one by one, forming a huge flower cocoon, gently and romantically wrapping Yifan and Su Longyu inside. When the flowers bloomed, Su Longyu leaned on the shoulder of Yifan, who was shirtless with a blushing face, and pink petals were flying around her. "Yifan, wife, I forgot to do one thing just now." Su Longyu looked at Yifan in confusion. "Yifan, I forgot to share the secret technique I just learned. Shuizhe Dongqian, the most advanced dual cultivation method in the original work." Su Longyu blushed. "Let's do it in the evening, don't keep everyone waiting for too long." "Yifan. Everyone?" Su Longyu, "Well, let's go." The two put on their clothes, left the sea of flowers, and flew towards the fairy residence on the highest peak of the island on their swords. On the way, Su Longyu asked, "Do you like this island?" Yifan, "Well, it looks good." Su Longyu, "For you." Yifan, "My wife is an empress, is she so rich and powerful? With one move, you give him an island?" When he came to this island, he discovered that the entire island was built on a third-grade superior spiritual vein. The spiritual energy on the island was very abundant. Even more abundant than the spiritual energy in Chenjuaner's mansion in King Long Fairy City, which was located on a third-grade spiritual vein. Such a big island, with inestimable value. Su Longyu just casually said that she would give it to herself? It feels so great to be kept by a rich woman. Su Longyu looked at Yifan. "Yifan, I'm really happy. From now on, he is also the owner of a third-level spiritual vein island." Yifan, "Wife, you said you were going to take care of some things these days. Are you here to buy this island?" Su Longyu, "Well, you have established your foundation. Here is a foundation building gift for you." Yifan, he likes this gift so much. When he builds his foundation, he is given an island. So when he achieves the golden elixir, what will the Empress give him? Looking forward to it. He suddenly thought of something else. When he was communicating Taoism with Su Longyu and the petals just now, he forgot to do one thing. Before, when Su Longyu left King Long Fairy City, he was still worried whether Su Longyu would get pregnant again, because during those days, he did not take any protective measures when communicating Taoism with Su Longyu. Later, after looking up some information, he discovered that women would not release eggs during the lactation period, which means they would not become pregnant. However, Su Longyu no longer breastfeeds and has successfully stopped producing milk. That just now. She's not pregnant, is she? The two soon arrived at a four-story, three-courtyard residence with the words Wenxinju written on it. Jeonju is surrounded by lush greenery and has a waterfall nearby, giving it an air of fairyland and a unique fairy-like charm. Yifan and the Empress's cozy home deleted after infringement. As soon as the sword flew, Yifan heard a familiar voice. Yifan, I never thought that you have already established your foundation. If my sister-in-law hadn't sent me the invitation, how long would you have kept it secret from me? Fatty Wang hadn't come out yet. But the voice arrived first. Then Fatty Wang walked out of the yard with a smile on his face. Following him were Ji Zibing, Diyu, Mumu, Yuzhan King, Lu Baoche, as well as Song Nanyang and his wife, who were holding a baby in swaddling clothes, and Ji Penggang and his wife. Afterwards, Manager Fan, along with Song Qiao Yun Yun, Lu Changhe, weapon refining apprentice Liu Ting Ting and others, stood aside with a smile, respectfully and reserved lie. Yifan previously thought that when Su Longyu said don't let everyone wait too long, she was referring to Chen Zhuaner and the babies. Unexpectedly, she was referring to some friends, neighbors, and employees of Yu Yangxuan whom he met after arriving in this world of immortal cultivation. Su Longyu was planning to hold a foundation building banquet for him on this island. The first surprise is the romance of the Sea of Flowers. The second surprise was to give him a luxurious island. The third surprise was to quietly call over someone he was familiar with to help him celebrate his foundation building. With a daughter-in-law like this, what else could a husband ask for? Chapter 127 Chen Zhuaner. Be a little polite to Yifan in the future. The Empress was becoming more and more interested in him. He, a tall and strong man, was so moved that he cried for joy. He calmed himself down and looked at Su Longyu, who smiled at him. At this time, Su Longyu was already wearing a veil. But even through the veil, Yifan could still feel the smile from Su Longyu. Yifan took Su Longyu's small hand, which was as white as jade, and Su Longyu struggled slightly. After all, there are so many outsiders here, and holding hands in public is really embarrassing. However, after Yifan held her little hand tightly, she stopped struggling, but looked away with her beautiful eyes, and her ears turned slightly red. Su Longyu had already arranged the foundation building banquet, which was set up with 2 tables in the spacious courtyard near the flowing waterfall. Yifan and others sat at one table, and Manager Fan and others sat at another table. There were a lot of delicious food, liquor and snacks on the table. When you look up, you can see green mountains, clear waters, flowing waterfalls and groups of cranes occasionally flying by. The environment is extremely elegant. Because everyone had seen Yifan when he hosted the full-month banquet for the babies before, everyone was very casual at the main table. The people at Manager Fan's table were a little restrained. After all, the people at Yifan's table were either foundation building cultivators or sect cultivators, so they still felt a little pressured. However, Manager Fan always had a smile on his face, and he was extremely grateful that he followed the right person. Look, such a large spiritual vein temple belongs to its master. The power of the master behind the master is so terrifying. He had to speed up the accumulation of spirit stones and strive to build the foundation as soon as possible so as not to hold his master back. Women like Song Qiao Yun Yun, and Liu Ting Ting were also deeply moved. They didn't expect that they would be qualified to participate in the Dong family's foundation building banquet, and that the Dong family was so awesome that they had such a large 3rd-level spiritual vein dojo. They secretly vowed to work hard and practice hard, striving to work on the island of their boss one day. By practicing on a 3rd-grade superior spiritual vein, no matter how poor one's aptitude is, one can practice to the late stage of key training in one go. At Yifan's table, Fatty Wang was talking about the fierce battle between the Zhu and Sang families some time ago. Zhang Nanyang sighed and said that if Du Man had not just given birth to a baby, he would have stayed at home to take care of the mother and daughter and would have gone to Twin Peaks this time. He also said that of the members of the Twin Peaks monster hunting team he knew, only to came back alive. The 2 of them also got the opportunity, and as soon as they came back, they went to King Long Immortal City to rent a cave to break through. After hearing these words, Yifan thought of Du Yi and asked Ji Zibing if he knew about Du Yi's situation. He briefly recounted the time when he met Du Yi in Maple Leaf Market, and Du Yi told him that he was going to participate in the battle between the Sang and Zhu families. Ji Zibing said he happened to have broken through to the level of a 2nd-grade lower-grade formation master at that time. So he was lucky enough to escape from the 2nd-grade enemy trapping formation set up by the Zhu family. Otherwise there is a probability that I will die at Wind Peaks this time. Too many independent cultivators died in Wind Peaks this time. The battle was extremely brutal. But the Sang family still had some conscience and gave generous compensation to the independent cultivators who went to the Sang family to register and help in the war. Fatty Wang said, I originally thought that the Sang family would be exterminated this time, but I didn't expect that the Sang family still had such a strong foundation. I heard that the ancestor of the Zhu family was severely injured by the ancestor of the Sang family who had just entered the Jindan realm with a disposable spiritual weapon. I heard that the spiritual weapon was only a low-grade second-level weapon. Logically, a spiritual weapon of this level should not be able to break through the defense of a Jindan master. But it was able to severely injure the Jindan ancestor of the Zhu family. The Sang family does have some background. When Chen Xuaner, who was sitting at the table, heard this, she suddenly remembered that Fan had gone out several times when he was in Maple Leaf Market, and she also knew that Fan participated in the war between the Zhu family and the Sang family. The spiritual weapon used by the Sang family's golden elixir is a second-order low-grade spiritual weapon. If one wants to seriously injure the Zhu family's golden elixir, one must have a heaven-defying spiritual weapon that ignores defense. It just so happens that among the inscriptions that Fan knows, there is the Broken Blade inscription. Fan happens to be a second-level lower-grade weapon refiner. In other words, this disposable peachwood sword was most likely made by Fan. It can ignore the defense of the early stage of the golden core. If Fan's refining level is further improved, can he ignore the defense of the middle stage of the golden core? Thinking of this, she looked at Fan with a strange expression. Inwardly, I could be a little more polite to Fan in the future. When talking about the Sang family, everyone was happy to say a word or two to express their opinions. Even the taciturn Qiyu said a word or two. Su Longyu did not express any opinion and sat next to Fan gently. After talking about this matter, Fatty Wang told another joke, saying that all the spiritual medicines in the Zhu family camp were stolen under the nose of a faked-in patriarch, and that person also killed the 3 foundation building managers who were guarding the spiritual medicine warehouse at that time. In the end, it was still not discovered who did this. Yuzhan King said, everyone guessed that the Sang family must have hired a fake Danzhen Ren with special skills to do it secretly. Fatty Wang smiled and said, that should be the case. And that expert must have a grudge against the Zhu family. I heard that the faked-in ancestor who was in charge of the Zhu family's warehouse cursed all the way back to the Zhu family because of this matter. Fan listened to these words and took a sip of the spirit wine. This was all done by Taoist Chen Yan and Zhu Qianqi. What does it have to do with me, Fan? Everyone was very happy at the foundation building banquet. There were endless topics to talk about. Fatty Wang was particularly happy and pulled Fan to drink continuously. He was filled with emotion. He was still at the 8th level of key training, while Fan had already established his foundation. He also needs to work hard to cultivate and strive to establish a foundation as soon as possible. Fatty Wang, who had drunk the spiritual wine, talked a lot and uttered all kinds of boasting. He almost said that he wanted to carry a saint home, but Jizi Bing stepped on his shoe and he didn't say that. It was so evening. Su Longyu and Chen Xuaner had left the table. Zhang Nanyang took Du Man Man and her infant daughter to the guest room to rest. Most of the others also went to rest. Fatty Wang also pulled Fan to sit at the table and chat. Jizi Bing coughed lightly and said, 6th junior brother, it's getting late. It's time to go to bed. Fatty Wang, it's still early. Senior brother, if you are tired, go back to your room and rest. I still have a lot to say to Fan. Jizi Bing had no choice but to send a message to Fatty Wang. 6th junior brother, you should be more sensible. Fan and his wife just met, and you have been pestering Fan so much that the couple has no time to talk. After hearing this, Fatty Wang suddenly realized what was going on. He patted the back of his head and said to Fan, I am so happy to see you building your foundation. Come, finish this cup and I will go to rest. You should also rest early after all. You just came back and you have worked hard all the way. Chapter 128. The top-level dual cultivation technique is truly awesome. This is Su Longyu. In the room, Chen Xuaner took out a white silk dress and handed it to Su Longyu. You, I specially asked someone to make this for you. You can use it tonight. Su Longyu took it and opened the skirt. She found that it was extremely thin and transparent. As soon as she put it on, she could imagine what it looked like. Immediately, her face turned red. She threw her skirt on the bed and said, no. Then, her eyes fell on the Dunhuang flying robe that Chen Xuaner was wearing and she said, this one you're wearing is nice. Seeing her robe being praised, Chen Xuaner immediately turned around in front of Su Longyu and said, not bad, right? Fan has a really good eye. He designed and refined this robe. Look, there's an inscription of Broken Blade engraved on this robe. At this point, she complained to Su Longyu angrily. Why didn't you tell me earlier that the rare inscription was purchased for Fan? Otherwise, I would have to ask him to pay more for running errands. Fan is obviously not as nice to you as I am, but I find that you treat Fan better than me. Su Longyu, take off this robe you are wearing. Chen Xuaner? Su Longyu, didn't you say you were good to me? Take it off and give me your clothes? Chen Xuaner looked hesitant. She had obtained this robe at the cost of a secret book. Su Longyu, didn't you say you were good to me? You were so reluctant to give me a set of robes? That's what you call being good to me. Chen Chuaner quickly hugged Su Longyu's arm, smiled innocently and said, "I'm fatter than you. My robe won't fit you. Su Longyu, the robe can be adjusted to its size." Chen Chuaner, "This robe is pink, too bright, you won't like it." Su Longyu, "It just so happens that I suddenly liked the color pink recently." Chen Chuaner said coquettishly, You can ask Yifan to make you a robe. He is very good at it." Su Longyu, "I like the one you're wearing." Chen Chuaner quickly looked out the door and said, "Oh, I suddenly remembered that I have something important to do. I'm leaving first." I'll take care of the babies tonight. You and Yifan can play to your heart's content. Remember to open the soundproof barrier." After saying that, Chen Chuaner immediately slipped away like a gust of wind. When Yifan came back, he saw Su Longyu standing by the window. The back figure is lonely and proud. There is a sense of being detached from the world and independent. It seems as if it will fly away into heaven at any time. "Wife!" he called out loudly. Su Longyu didn't respond and didn't turn around. Yifan's heart skipped a beat, and he strode to Su Longyu's side, smiling and saying, "Wife, what are you looking at?" Su Longyu, "Nothing, the robe Chuaner is wearing today looks pretty good." When Yifan heard this, he understood why Su Longyu suddenly ignored him. But on the surface, he pretended not to know and said, "Well, it is indeed beautiful. I designed it. Do I have good taste, your husband?" Su Longyu didn't reply. The cold aura on her body became stronger. She turned around and walked towards the door. Decided to snatch the robe from Chen Chuaner. Yifan knew that he could not tease the empress anymore. So he reached out and grabbed her wrist, which only showed a white and green part. He smiled and said, "Wife, look." As he spoke, Yifan took out the robe he had prepared for Su Longyu from the storage ring. With a wave of the hand, the robe floats in the air, similar to the clothes worn by the model, and the style can be viewed in 360 degrees. Su Longyu looked over and saw a moonlight white robe in the air. The style of the robe is also done Huang flying Apsara, but it is more delicate and more beautiful than the one Chen Chuaner is wearing. The color is what she likes. The material is also softer. The noble and elegant fairy atmosphere is displayed everywhere. She likes it very much. I won't try to steal Chen Chuaner's robe. Su Longyu, this is a second-level mid-grade robe. Have you made a breakthrough in refining? The robe Chen Chuaner was wearing was a second-level, lower-grade robe. Yifan, well, not only this one, I made many more for you. As he spoke, Yifan waved his hand, and sets of robes of various styles flew out from his storage ring and appeared in front of Su Longyu. There are more than 30 pieces. Each piece has a different style. And although the color is all moonlight white, each robe is extremely distinctive. She is very fond of him. Su Longyu, so many. Yifan, well, this way you can wear different clothes every day for a month. He can appreciate different styles of empresses every day. Visual feast and joy. Su Longyu swept her silk skirt into her storage ring with a sweep of her bare hands. Yifan, wife, it's getting late. Let's go to bed early. During the day, because I had just reunited with Su Longyu, I was too impulsive and forgot to use water cave heaven. Tonight, that's perfect. Su Longyu knew what Yifan meant. Her beautiful face blushed and she asked Yifan to go to the inner room first. But after a while, Yifan, who was sitting on the bed and carefully reviewing the secrets of the Shui Zhe Dantian technique, suddenly widened his eyes. The only person in the black eyes was Su Longyu, who was wearing a flowing transparent gauze dress. The next day, Yifan stood up with the help of the wall. Quickly walked to the cushion, sat cross-legged, and regulated his breathing. The dual cultivation method of making love 10 times a day is really awesome. He now felt that the spiritual energy in his body was so full that it was about to explode, so he quickly adjusted his breathing and refined the spiritual energy. After a morning, the amount of liquid mana in his body increased from 20 to 25. The more liquid mana you have, the more mana you can use in battles. In other words, the fighting is more durable. Greatly improved his ability to protect the road. Not only did his liquid magic power increase, but his cultivation also improved, from the first level of foundation building to the third level of foundation building. The period from the early stage of foundation building to the middle stage of foundation building is very long. There are even some foundation building cultivators who cannot break through to the middle stage of foundation building in their entire lives. Therefore, in order to facilitate distinction, a world of cultivation divides the initial stage of foundation building into the first level, the second level, and all the way to the 10th level of great perfection. After the breathing adjustment, Yifan opened his eyes and looked at Su Longyu, who was still sleeping on the bed. There was doting and a hint of helplessness on his face. The ancients were not wrong. There are only oxen that are damaged when plowing, but no fields that are damaged when plowing. I really need to catch up. My kidneys can't take it anymore. The effect of this top-level dual cultivation technique is really immediate. But it is too demanding on the kidneys. I can't work hard every day. Su Longyu was tired last night. He tiptoed out of the room, closed the door considerately, and then went straight into the kitchen. Make a delicious meal to reward yourself for your hard work last night. After eating the poached eggs and a tonic soup made up of various bull whips, deer whips, etc., Ethan finally felt that his kidneys had recovered a little. You can walk without holding onto the wall. Chapter 129. The Empress is pregnant again. The next day, Ethan prepared a very ritualistic hair shaving ceremony for the 5 babies. Ethan personally acted as the barber. But Daba was very uncooperative and kept moving his little head around. After shaving off the baby's hair, my head looked like it had been chewed by a dog. Some places were black and some places were light black. That's it, pretty cool. Who made you, naughty boy? When the second baby's hair was being shaved, the little girl was very well behaved. Perhaps she saw how ugly the first baby's hair looked after being shaved, so she didn't dare to move. He would even grin and act cute at Yifan. Su Longyu next to her was using a photo stone to record this memorable moment. Fatty Wang, Moo and others were also watching curiously from the side. The second baby's hair was shaved very well, and after that he had a round little head. Just when Yifan drew a water mirror in the air for the little girl to see, the little girl immediately pouted and burst into tears. She cried so heartbroken. The little hands kept reaching out to the shaved hair on the ground, trying to pick it up and reattach it to itself. I would rather have a head full of sea urchin hair than be completely bald. This made Yifan and the others laugh. Yifan and the others laughed, and Erbio cried even louder. Yifan smiled and coaxed. Don't cry, Erbio. After shaving your hair, you will become more beautiful and lovely soon. And your hair will grow very black and smooth. In the future you will be a stunning beauty. After being praised by Yifan, and being carried away from the place where his hair was shaved, to the side to watch the flowing waterfall, and being praised in various ways by Yifan, Erbio stopped crying. After taking care of the second baby and preparing to shave the third baby's hair, the 3 siblings, the third, fourth and fifth babies, started crying together as if they had discussed it beforehand. The crying was deafening. The little arms and legs were still kicking around in the stroller. Su Longyu said helplessly, it seems that the 3 of them can't shave their hair today. Let's do it another day. Yifan nodded helplessly. And I collected the hair of the first and second babies separately and made hair brushes with their hair on the spot. He used the bones of a second-grade low-grade blue wolf monster to refine the pen shaft, and refined it into a transparent white jade state. After refining, he made the baby's fetal hair into the shape of a brush tip, and then fixed it to the pen shaft. A hairbrush made entirely of white jade is ready. Su Longyu held the fetal hairbrush and felt it was magical. It was just an ordinary pen, but it made her feel warm. Yifan, babies only have 1 fetal hair in their lifetime. This fetal hairbrush is very commemorative. Dabao and Erbio have more hair. In addition to using it as a fetal hairbrush, it can also be made into a comb, pendant, and fetal hair fabric painting. Su Longyu's beautiful eyes lit up. Is there anything I can participate in? She, the mother, also wants to get involved. Chenchuaner also spoke up. Yifan, I also want to participate. Is there anything I can do? She is the baby's godmother, so of course she has to get involved. Yifan smiled and said, sure, you can make a fetal hair fabric painting. This requires gluing Dabao's fetal hair to the portrait one by one. It is a job that requires a lot of time and patience. Su Longyu and Chen Chuaner both expressed their desire to do this. Seeing that both women wanted to participate, Yifan took out a refined white second-grade inferior monster skin and painted on it. Draw a picture of Dabao's current appearance. One draws Herbio's current appearance. When drawing the 2 little guys' hair, he deliberately drew cute hairstyles, instead of the bald head they have now or the frizzy sea urchin head they had a few days ago. Ebao and Erbio and the scroll are especially cute. Seeing this, Su Longyu and Chen Chuaner were overwhelmed with maternal love. Dabao's fetal hair fabric painting. Grandparents, please give a thumbs up. Delete if infringement. Momu, who was watching nearby, also kept shouting, how cute. When I have babies in the future, I will also make a commemorative scroll of their hair and a hairbrush for them. Huh. Kiyu was also moved after seeing it. However, she had no intention of finding a Taoist partner and was only devoted to Taoism. Fatty Wang took pictures of the fetal hair brush made by Yifan, as well as the painting scrolls of Dabao and Erbio, intending to make such a set of interesting souvenirs for his children if he had children in the future. 2 days later, the Lan Yugio of the 3 little ones, Sanbao, Sibo and Wubao, was finally shaved off using various methods. Souvenirs of the 3 of them were also made. Looking at the pile of baby's hair souvenirs in front of him, Yifan felt a great sense of accomplishment. I'll show it to them when they grow up. Su Longyu? Yeah. Fatty Wang and the others were about to leave. Before leaving, Yifan told Fatty Wang that he would come to find him when he was ready to build his foundation. Fatty Wang said that he would practice hard and build a foundation as soon as possible. After Fatty Wang and the others left, Manager Fan showed Yifan the account books of Yuliang Xuan for those days and told him about the current operation of Yuliang Xuan. Yifan's island is only 4 or 5 days away from King Long Immortal City. So it's not very far. Manager Fan, the sales of the robes are very good in addition. Now that the battle between the Zhu family and the Sang family is over, the price of monster materials has dropped significantly. Master, should we take this opportunity to stock up? Yifan, I have other arrangements for the monster materials. Manager Fan, okay. Yifan was very satisfied after reading the account book. Manager Fan does his work meticulously and is not greedy. He looked at Manager Fan. Old Fan, you have now reached the great perfection of key training. Have you made any preparations for the foundation building? Manager Fan replied truthfully, we have been preparing all along. In another 5 years, we will find someone to partner with us to refine the materials for the foundation establishment pill, and we will be able to collect all the materials. Yifan, well, what materials are missing? Manager Fan was stunned for a moment, then lowered his head and truthfully told Yifan the missing materials. Yifan happened to have these materials. Before, he had all the materials for refining foundation building pills except the second level demon pill this time. Among the harvest from the Twin Peaks, he also got a lot of materials for foundation building pills. He waved his hand, and the materials that Manager Fan was missing appeared on the table next to him. Manager Fan's eyes widened instantly. He quickly knelt on the ground. Yifan said, these materials are worth 10 middle great spirit stones. You can take them, but you need to sign a promissory note after you succeed in building your foundation in the future. You must return the 10 middle great spirit stones as soon as possible. Manager Fan was so excited that he immediately said, thank you, Master, thank you, Master. Immediately, Manager Fan made a heart demon oath and signed a promissory note with Yifan to borrow 10 medium great spirit stones. In my heart, I must help Yifan wholeheartedly. Such a master is too hard to find. Originally, it would take another 5 years to find someone to cooperate in refining the foundation establishment pill. Now, with the materials lent to him by Yifan, he can return to King Long Immortal City and use his connections to find someone to partner with him in refining the foundation establishment pill. Thinking of this, his breathing quickened. This is Su Longyu. She is accompanying her babies. She hasn't seen them for more than 2 months and she misses them so much. Looking at the people sleeping on the beds with angelic looks on their faces, a loving smile involuntarily appeared on her beautiful face. Suddenly she felt something was wrong. The mind looks inward at the uterus. Chapter 130. Shocking. The empress gave birth to 4 babies. After seeing the situation in the uterus, she was completely shocked. How so? This is impossible. There are 4 fertilized eggs with life in the uterus. In other words, she is pregnant with quadruplets this time. Maybe it's a wrong perception. It must be a wrong perception. Immediately Su Longyu withdrew her consciousness, then closed her eyes, crossed her legs on the bed, and concentrated her mind. After a cup of tea, she used her spiritual sense to look inside her uterus again. The 4 little creatures seemed to sense their mother's arrival and stretched out their little tentacles at this moment. They were just tiny fertilized eggs. Su Longyu withdrew her consciousness, opened her eyes, and then looked at the 5 little guys who were sleeping beside her like little angels. Babies. Mommy is pregnant again. What should I do? Being pregnant with twins meant that during the 10 months of her pregnancy, not only would she have to suppress her cultivation to the key training realm, but she would also not be able to practice during these 10 months. When she was pregnant with Da Bao and the other quintuplets, she could tell the sect that she was going out for training for a year to avoid his parents knowing that she was pregnant and having children. Now, her mother is in this large area and can come to see her at any time. If she gets pregnant again, her mother will definitely find out. By then, Da Bao and the others will also be discovered. Yifan sighed. Zhang Nanyang and his wife, Ji Penggang and his wife, and Manager Fan were preparing to leave today. Zhang Nanyang came over to say goodbye to Yifan. Zhang Nanyang told Yifan some information, saying that there have been unusual movements in the depths of the Lagu Mountains recently. He thought that the price of monster materials would be lower at that time, and suggested that Yifan temporarily suspend the purchase of monster materials recently, and buy them at a low price after a period of time. Because he had to take care of his wife and daughter. He only went to the Lagu Mountains once a month to hunt monsters. In addition, with the end of the tug of war between the Zhu family and the Sang family, many individuals and material stores also began to purchase monster materials from these scattered monster hunting teams. Because the purchase price of monster materials was previously too high, the price of monster materials is now rising every day. Yifan, is there any unusual movement in the Lagu Mountains? This reminded him of the time when he was on his way to Qiuyue Valley by flying boat to attend Jizi Bing's foundation building bank that passed through hills and mountains and saw the scene of his mother-in-law, Wen Qingqing, fighting a fourth-order giant ape. Logically speaking, a Yuanying patriarch-level real person like Wen Qingqing would not linger in one place all the time. But from the time he met Wen Qingqing until now, Wen King has been staying in this place where the southern region and Zongshu meet for half a year. There must be something here that he doesn't know. I just don't know if what Song Nanyan said about the unusual movements deep in the Lago Mountains has anything to do with Wen King and the others staying here. Yifan, okay, I understand. Friend Zong, you told me before that you suggested that I open a monster material purchasing business. Song Nanyan looked at Yifan and said, well, your Yu Yangshuan has a great demand for monster materials. Especially now that Yu Yangshuan is becoming more and more prosperous. If you want to expand in the future, it would be a good idea to open a monster material purchasing company yourself. Friend Yi, have you come to your senses now? Yifan, well, I wonder if Brother Zong has any idea of being the shopkeeper of a store. Zong Nanyang stood up immediately in shock, his lips trembling with excitement. Me? You want me to be the shopkeeper of a material purchasing company? Fellow Taoist Yi, you are kidding me, right? Yifan smiled and said, of course I'm telling the truth. He didn't want to open a monster material purchasing business before because he didn't want to get involved in the battle between the Zhu and Sang families. Now that the Zhu family and the Sang family have finished fighting and have sat down to negotiate, it would be safe for him to open a monster material purchasing business. He also considered choosing Zong Nanyang as the manager of the material store. Firstly, he had spent some time with Zong Nanyang, knew that he loved his wife very much. Generally speaking, men who loved their wives very much were not bad people. Secondly, Song Nanyang is a cultivator in the early stage of foundation building, and he leads a monster hunting team. He also knows many captains of monster hunting teams and has a very good relationship with those captains. In addition, Song Nanyang has an extremely tough appearance and can control the situation. Thirdly, he had to take care of the babies and did not have enough time to personally manage a material store, select people, delegate power, and then supervise and manage. If the other party did a good job, he would keep them employed. If not, he would deal with them according to the circumstances. Just like Manager Fan, after he owns a Yu Yangshuan that lays eggs, he can also be a hands-off manager. You can earn spirit stones. Take care of your family and practice at the same time. Very nice. Zong Nanyang walked back and forth in the living room, clasping his hands tightly together and rubbing his palms together. Finally he told Yifan ruefully that he was a very rough person and had never been in charge of anything, let alone a shop. Moreover, he had no skills in cultivating immortality, and could only hunt monsters in a crude way. All the skills learned were for hunting monsters. Yifan smiled and asked, I just want to ask you one question. Do you want to be the shopkeeper of this material business? Zong Nanyang sat down and said truthfully, I definitely want to be one ever since I had a daughter. Man has been very reluctant and worried every time I go out to hunt monsters. I was also worried that I would die outside and that I would no longer be able to take care of Man and her daughter. I was even more worried that without me, they would have a hard time in the future. Yifan, that's it. Although you have never been a shopkeeper, you can try. And I can give you this opportunity. Zong Nanyang stared at Yifan closely, and immediately changed the way he addressed Yifan. He said in a firm tone, Boss, I want to try. Afterwards, Yifan talked to Zong Nanyang about the details of opening a material store, such as choosing a store address, the purchase price of materials, recruiting staff, etc. Although Zong Nanyang had no experience as a shopkeeper, he had led a monster hunting team and had his own methods on how to manage subordinates, recruit people, handle personal relationships, etc. However, despite this, he still listened to Yifan very seriously, and took out a jade slit to record the key points of what Yifan said like a primary school student. After discussing these details, Yifan and Zong Nanyang signed a contract. Zong Nanyang also took the initiative to swear a vow in front of Yifan, stating that he would do his best to run the material store and would never engage in corruption or bribery. Although the inner demon oath is not an absolute guarantee, because if some people do not want to break through to a higher realm, then the inner demon oath is useless to them. However, most cultivators have a heart that pursues. The Tao. Zong Nanyang is only in his 40s and is already in the initial stage of foundation building. He has a great chance of achieving false elixir in the future. In addition, when the Zhu family oppressed the monster hunting team, Zong Nanyang still refused to be bent by authority. This character of his also shows that the oath he made to his inner demon was sincere. Even if it is fake, it doesn't matter to Yifan. He can just choose another one in the future. Chapter 131. This baby, give birth? Just after chatting with Zong Nanyang, Yifan received a text message from Su Longyu. Let him go to her place, there is something important to tell him. Yifan quickly came to his and Su Longyu's room. And he saw Su Longyu frowning with her beautiful eyebrows, her white hands placed on her abdomen, her eyes gently yet somewhat troubled as they fell on the 5 little ones sleeping soundly on the bed. Seeing this scene, he couldn't help but slow down his pace. Coming to the bed, Su Longyu turned and looked at him. Let's talk outside. Su Longyu got up and went to the living room outside. What's the matter? Yifan asked softly. Su Longyu, I'm pregnant. Yifan? So shocked. He simply walked back and forth across the room for several steps. Because his waist had not fully recovered after practicing dual cultivation with Su Longyu a few days ago, he was very restrained and did not communicate Taoism with Su Longyu again. When using the Shui Zedong Tian dual cultivation technique, the secret method clearly states that using this technique, even if no contraceptive measures are taken, the woman will not get pregnant. He also studied the principle for this purpose. The secret method did not explain the principle clearly, but the general meaning was that when practicing dual cultivation, the yin and yang essences of both men and women would be transformed into special energy through the practice of dual cultivation, and fed back into the bodies of both men and women, thereby improving the cultivation of both men and women. In other words, the pregnancy was not caused by having sex 10 times. That is, he and Su Longyu got pregnant that time in the Sea of Flowers. Yifan was extremely shocked by his own fertility. Hit it, in one try. After realizing this, he looked at Su Longyu with some guilt. Wife, this is all my fault. I didn't take protective measures and made you pregnant again. Su Longyu, this time, it's quadruplets. Do you want to keep them? Yifan was shocked. Quadruplets. He still didn't know that he had the gene for multiple births. Yifan was a little conflicted. He naturally wanted to keep her, but from the last time Su Longyu was pregnant with quintuplets, he knew that if they wanted to have this baby, Su Longyu would have to lower her cultivation to the key training stage, and she would not be able to practice during pregnancy. There were also many other difficult challenges they would have to face. Yifan, wife, it depends on your wishes. I support you in whatever you want to do. If you don't want to stay, I support you. If you want to have a baby, I support you, although we already have Daba on the other 5. Adding for more babies will make things even more chaotic and our expenses will increase greatly. However, I will try my best to take good care of you and earn spiritual stones to provide them with a good life. Su Longyu, then give birth. Yifan, okay, we won't give birth to the baby, but will aborting the baby be harmful to your body? At this point, Yifan was shocked and looked at Su Longyu in surprise. Wife, you just said, give birth? Su Longyu nodded. Well, since she's pregnant, it means we have this mother-daughter fate. Yifan excitedly held Su Longyu's hand, his dark eyes gradually moistened. Wife, since you said you want to give birth, then let's give birth no matter how many difficulties there are in the future. I will always be by your side and the baby's side. As for whether his father-in-law and mother-in-law would beat him to death, when they knew that Su Longyu had given birth to so many children for him, he could only practice hard to improve his cultivation and become even better. Su Longyu breathed a sigh of relief, looked down at her abdomen, and placed her hand gently on it. There was both joy and helplessness on his face. Yifan squatted beside Su Longyu's knees, put his hand on Su Longyu's hand, and his eyes were gentle. Since they had decided to have this baby, Su Longyu began to tell Yifan in detail about the arrangements for the upcoming days of preparation for the birth. The entire warm island was covered with a third-grade high-quality offensive and defensive formation, as well as a formation that could isolate spiritual consciousness. After she became pregnant, she did not plan to leave the island and was preparing to give birth on the island. Because they had already had one baby before, both of them were more experienced this time. Moreover, the living environment is better this time. Yifan said, when I came here, I saw that our island is very large. In addition to the large sea of flowers, there are also large spiritual fields that can be used to grow spiritual rice, spiritual vegetables, and raise and slaughter spiritual beasts. This way we can be self-sufficient. When Dabao and his friends grow up, they can go to these places to play. Because children gradually get rid of their ignorance when they are 5 years old, which is similar to starting elementary school at the age of 6 in modern times. In the world of immortal cultivation, the earliest a child can begin to embark on the path to immortality is at the age of 5. It just so happens that at this time, there is still a congenital energy in the child's body. Before the age of 5, Xian Maya plays like ordinary children. Su Longyu, okay. There happens to be a mortal city on Wian Xen Island, and there are some low-level independent cultivators in it. You can go there to recruit people to grow spiritual rice, spiritual vegetables, and raise spiritual beasts. Yifan. Okay. Before, in King Shu Fang and King Long Ferry City, Yifan also planted spiritual rice, spiritual vegetables and raised spiritual beasts by himself. However, because the planting area was small at that time, he could just make a few puppets and do it himself. Now the entire Wian Xen Island is very large, and large areas of spiritual rice, spiritual vegetables and spiritual beasts are planted. Professionals can be hired to take charge of these matters, and he can just be a hands-off boss. As for the spiritual rice and other things that cannot be eaten, you can stockpile some of them as food reserves and sell the rest in exchange for spiritual stones. Enclosing land and farming, whether in modern times or in the world of immortal cultivation, Yifan likes this kind of life very much. After talking about this, Yifan discussed with Su Longyu whether or not to keep Song Qiao Ziechai and Yun Yun to take care of her and the babies. Although puppets like Li Chun can also take care of the babies, they are puppets after all, so they are not as flexible as humans. They can only do things mechanically and cannot be humanized. Su Lonyu, okay. Su Lonyu took out 2 pills and said, "Give these 2 pills to them, 1 for each of them." Yifan took the pill without asking what it was, for he let Su Lonyu rest and went to find Song Qiaozi and Yunyan, who were about to leave Wuyanexin Island with Song Nanning and the others. When the 2 girls learned that they had a chance to stay on the island and serve Su Lonyu and the young master and young lady, they were stunned. It felt like the happy eggs hit them on the head. There is a 3rd-grade superior spiritual vein under this island. While working on this, you can practice in your spare time, and the speed of practice is very fast. Song Qiaozi immediately kowtowed to Yifan and said excitedly, "I do." Immediately, she didn't even ask what the pill Yifan gave her was, she just picked it up and swallowed it. Yunyan was a little conflicted, worried that there was something wrong with the pill, but she finally swallowed it. Yifan saw the 2 women take the pills, and signed a contract with them and asked them to swear a vow. At this moment, outside Wuyanexin Island, under the clear sky, a beautiful girl about 13 years old, with 2 pigtails and wearing a bright yellow dress, was being bounced away by the power of the formation above the island. After she steadied herself, she touched her chin, her big, watery eyes flashing with slyness. Sisters Aura disappeared after arriving here, and the island is still blocked from spiritual sense scanning. There must be something wrong. Chapter 132 Sanbao can call me daddy. But the little girl was only at the middle stage of foundation building, and after trying many times, she was unable to break through this 3rd-grade superior formation. His little cheeks are puffed up. Put your hands on your hips. The girl looked somewhat similar to Su Longyu when she was angry. They all have gorgeous faces. The beautiful little Lolita looks very cute even when she is angry. Anyway, my sister must